ABC News, good evening, I'm Yvette Gray. Controversial union boss John Setka has quit the CFMEU effective immediately after 12 years as Victorian Secretary. Costa Haratos reports.
Mr Setka says his decision to leave the Construction, Forestry and Maritime Employees Union comes after multiple allegations. It isn't clear what those allegations are, but Mr Setka says they do nothing but harm the work of his union. He's been a union figure for close to 40 years, including 12 as the Secretary of the Victorian Tasmanian branch. The controversial figure was expelled from the Labor Party in 2019 over comments he made about family violence campaigner Rosie Batty. In the same year, he was placed on a good behaviour bond after pleading guilty to harassing his wife over text messages. He was set to retire later this year.
A seventh Australian has been killed on the front lines in Ukraine's war against Russia, one of an unknown number fighting without military experience. 24-year-old Queensland man Brock Greenwood died during an exchange with Russian forces on the 6th of July. It's understood he had no military training before leaving Australia to become an infantry team leader for the Ukrainian International Foreign Legion. Australia's Department of Foreign Affairs is now providing his family consular assistance, including help to ensure his remains come home to Australia. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says he's been briefed extensively on the Russian-Australian couple from Brisbane who've been charged with spying offences. Oliver Gordon reports.
40-year-old Kira Korolev, who's serving as an army private, and her 62-year-old husband Igor Korolev were arrested in Brisbane yesterday. Authorities are accusing them of accessing sensitive information from defence networks and then attempting to pass that on to authorities in Russia. The married couple have been charged with 1 count each of preparing for an espionage offence. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says he's been briefed on the matter and says Australians should have a great deal of confidence in the country's security agencies. The Korolevs remain in custody following brief court appearances in Brisbane.
US President Joe Biden insists he's still fit for a second term in office, despite a growing chorus in his party calling for him to step down. Dono Wakely has more.
Joe Biden told a press conference that he's still the best candidate to take on Donald Trump in November. But minutes into the conference, he referred to his deputy, Kamala Harris, as Vice President Trump.
I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be Vice President, but I think she's not qualified to be President. So let's start there.
However, these were Mr. Biden's only obvious mistakes in his unscripted news conference. He discussed the conflict in Ukraine and Gaza, as well as economic policy and his own election prospects. He's making it clear he has no intention of pulling out of the presidential race, despite repeated calls from members of the Democratic Party for him to step down.
Police are searching for a couple and their newborn baby who left a hospital in Melbourne's northeast. The trio was last seen at the Mercy Hospital in Heidelberg about 2 o'clock on Wednesday morning. Police say the newborn requires medical care and supervision. Officers believe they have links to the Mildura area in Victoria's far northwest and may have travelled into New South Wales. 3 people have been arrested in relation to an alleged firearm manufacturing ring in Melbourne's west. Police say they've seized more than a dozen handguns, including some that were homemade, a 3D printer and knives at an address in Melton. 2 men, aged 33 and 41, and a 30-year-old woman were arrested earlier today. They remain in custody as police continue their investigations. Paralympics Australia has named 2 gold medal winning veterans to carry the flag for the country at the Paralympics opening ceremony in Paris this August. David Mark reports.
Wheelchair athlete Madison de Rosario and swimmer Brendan Hall will carry the flag for Australia at the Paralympics opening ceremony on August the 28th. The pair were announced at a ceremony in Sydney by Australia's new Governor-General, Her Excellency Sam Mostyn. De Rosario has competed in 5 Paralympic Games, winning 2 gold medals in the marathon and 800 metres at the 2021 Games in Tokyo. Hall has also competed in 5 games, winning 3 gold medals, a silver and 2 bronze medals in freestyle and backstroke events. David Mark, ABC Sport, Sydney.
To the weather for the state, cloudy with isolated showers about eastern districts, clearing overnight. Scattered showers in the southwest extending to central coast this evening. For Melbourne, showers increasing tomorrow, a top of 13 after an overnight low of 7. Sunday, showers 12. Monday, also showers and 12. Tuesday, showers easing 13. It's currently 9 degrees. ABC News.
The ABC Tennis Podcast is your Australian serve of tennis all year round, be it on grass, clay or hard court. Join myself, Catherine Murphy, and former Australian tennis players John Millman and John Alexander as we unpack results and storylines from the Grand Slams and beyond. It's the podcast Australia's Alex Demonor listens to.
I know Alex is a big listener to the ABC Tennis Podcast.
Find the ABC Tennis Podcast on the ABC Listen app.
ABC Sport.
We begin this broadcast by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which this match will be played today and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. We extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples listening.
And the moment of truth has arrived.
If you think you have anything other than a split second in this game right now, you're kidding yourself.
It's all to play for.
Every single bloke has stood up.
They are leaving nothing out there.
I wouldn't want to be anywhere else on earth.
Welcome to ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL Premiership season.
From 55, side bottom, launches, goal! The Craze Magpies are on top of the AFL world. They win a spellbinding game of footy. Collingwood are breakfast.
This is ABC Sport.
The umpire holds the footy up.
You want your very best players having the ball in the moments that matter.
Take your moment. This is that moment.
Something's in the air. Listen to the roar.
The pressure's certainly gone up.
Feel it on your skin.
Punches the air with the right hand.
Feel the electricity.
That's why we love football.
Brilliant to watch. Stand by. The arms are outstretched as he pumps his chest out. Fill your lungs, fill your lungs. Are you ready for it?
Wherever you are, do not move.
We're going the full journey. 'Cause here it comes, here it comes.
This is the 2024 AFL Premiership season.
From outside 50, goes bang with everything he's got.
Former bad boy looking to redeem himself with kicks like that.
Something big is coming, something big is coming.
One step nonchalant banana finish. Wow. Charlie Cameron snaps. Goal.
Something big is coming.
Hey Siri, play John Denver.
AFL.
From deep in the pocket.
Oh,
that is amazing.
Fill your lungs, are you ready for it?
This guy looks at home on the biggest stage.
And Gordon can finish from 35. Oh, Errol.
It's there.
Superb finish.
What a hanger.
He joins the party.
Whacks through the goal. Oh, what a moment.
Brilliant, wasn't it?
There's nothing this man can't do. Rioli with some magic. The check side finish. He seizes the moment. Stolen. Snapped it. Over his shoulder. He's kicked an absolute ripper.
Spins around and buries it.
Lightning speed, Bobby Hill. He's Bobby Thrill.
This is just football at its best.
Weaves around an opponent and gets a brilliant goal.
Gathers, snaps. He'll bring the house down. Time to steady and pull the trigger. Right foot drop punt is pure. We're not done yet.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season on radio, Sport Digital, and take us with you on the ABC Listen app. Just look for the AFL button.
Something big is coming, I know.
The challenge of the Premiership defence from hunter to hunted. It was Geelong's road last year. This season, it's Collingwood's plight. The last two premiers have trodden a very similar path in their Premiership defence. Both 0-3. They were both the oldest group in the competition. Geelong were 8th at this stage of the season and ultimately fell away to miss finals. Collingwood are currently 9th. Can they rally to take their flag defence into the spring? They need to win tonight. It shapes as a virtual elimination final for the Magpies. Collingwood and Geelong under the Friday night lights. It's great to have you with us on ABC Sport. My name's Corbin Middlemass. We've got a couple of changes in our team. Ben Cameron is in to call the footy for Kelly Underwood, who is sunning herself up in the up on the Gold Coast, I'm pretty sure. A little bit of Queensland sun for her this week, as it is for Tim Hodges and his family. So no Hodgie on the boundary tonight. Lauren Borden is down on the boundary for us. The box is very empty at the start. It is Collingwood's 2010 Premiership reunion, the famous 14th year anniversary. They missed out during COVID, so they are celebrating that tonight. So Michael Moldhouse is downstairs. Ben Cameron's inside the Collingwood camp. Lauren Borden's on the boundary for us, which means at the moment it's just me and the legendary cat Cameron Ling. Hello, Lingy.
Hello, Corbs. I'll hang up with you up here and we'll hold the fort while the others are down there having a whole lot of fun at ground level. I know we're going to chat with hopefully Scotty Pendlebury pretty soon, which would be great to talk with the Collingwood champion. This will be an interesting one. How do Collingwood respond? I mean, pressure is what comes to mind because They were so poor in that area last week against the Bombers, very un-Collingwood-like under Craig McRae. Essendon just controlled the footy with easy, uncontested marks. I'm expecting that to change. I reckon that's the thing that will be dialed up massively for the Pies. And then how do the Cats handle that? They've got back to a little bit of form, knocking off the Bombers themselves, and then a nice comfortable win against the Hawks last week on their home deck. But how's that going to stand up to the reigning premiers? Don't know. It'll be a fascinating night.
There's no late change in the game, so Reef McInnes is going to start as the sub for Collingwood. Meanwhile, for Geelong, not only is there no late change, they are unchanged from the team that beat Hawthorn last week. And Ollie Henry's going to be the sub against his old side, so playing against the Pies for a third time. He's yet to win against the team he was drafted to. Now, the changes for Collingwood this week, so Noble in, McInnes in as the sub, Jamie Elliott back for the first time since round 8, so we haven't seen him in a minute. But it feels like this has been the story of Collingwood's years. Collingwood's year. Get a few back, lose a couple more. So Myercheck and Howe drop out and Dean loses his place in the side. But they just can't. They've just been banged up all year, the Pies, haven't they? They haven't been able to get their best group out there.
Yeah, and that's what happens when you're trying to defend the championship, defend the title. And when you get off to the start that they did, that 0-3 start that you touched on, Corbs, you're always chasing then. So you almost just, maybe you'd love to give that guy a week off because you're sitting at 6-1, fantastic. But no, in fact, you're behind the ledger and you're chasing a little bit. So let's play him because we just got to grab this win. And then a month later, perhaps a little soft tissue injury happens to that player. And we're talking about fine lines there. Yeah. You drew the parallels to Geelong last year and what they went through. Very similar. You had players breaking down all the time. Myercheck and Jeremy Howe are crucial to Collingwood. And Myercheck's a worry for whether or not he even comes back with the power that's needed to play the position that he does with that pec muscle. How does he come back from that? Elliott's obviously a huge in, but yeah, because they're behind the ledger, it's so hard now to chase those crucial wins.
Quick word on the Cats. So Chris Scott believes they're playing their best footy of the year right now. This is a team who started 7-0, fell away horribly either side of the bye. They won only one game in the middle, and now if they win tonight, it'll be 3 straight for Geelong. Do you see it that way? Is this their best footy of the year?
Yeah, I think it's pretty good footy because I love the changes that they've made, the subtle changes, and Tom Stewart's been the most high-profile one coming into the midfield. It's worked really well. But I've liked some of the other ones around the fringes as well. Max Holmes, very good at half-back in the first run of 7 games, goes into the midfield and becomes their best player. But they're losing games. They lost his drive off half-back, pushing now him back to half-back. I think that's helping them. I love the fact they've brought in Lawson Humphreys. I love the fact that they've thrown a couple of opportunities to younger players. Ollie Dempsey's form's gone up again and certainly got him favourite to be the rising star this year. I think that forward line looks a little different with Tom Hawkins being out. Just gives a different look to the opposition. So those little moves I've loved, Corbs, and that's coincided with getting back to the type of footy that set up their season. But I would say this, I don't think they were at all tested last week against the Hawks. And the win against Essendon was a good one without being a great one. I want to see it against a red-hot, high-pressure Collingwood tonight to be fully convinced that it is their best form of the whole season.
Incredibly, Patrick Dangerfield too, even at an advanced age. When he plays, the 34-year-old, they're 6 wins and 1 loss in the season so far. So he's a couple of weeks back from his latest hamstring. Corbin Middlemass and Cameron Ling upstairs. Lauren Borden and Michael Moldhouse wandering around downstairs. It is the premiership reunion for the Collingwood Football Club. More on that in just a moment, but we can go straight inside the Collingwood camp with Ben Cameron. Ben.
Well, Scott Pendlebury, the 397 gamer as of tonight, Collingwood's field general, as I like to call you, and a 2010 premiership player as well. It is the reunion tonight. We've heard all about it from Mick Malthouse. What, if any, do you get to take part in as part of that?
Well, we had a few of the guys in on our main day. So on Wednesday they come in. So I interviewed actually a few of my past teammates just about what 2010 meant to those guys and, the bit about their journey. So I was just Dane Swan, Thomas and Nick Maxwell come in and me and Sidey interviewed them. So that was cool. And then, they're all, I think they're all rolling in now tonight, which is great. And, premierships are so hard to win. So, I'm glad that they're celebrating it tonight. And then me and Sidey will be able to join in tomorrow for a lunch. I think we're going to have somewhere in the city.
Well, I hope you get to enjoy that. The reality quickly comes back to this season and a 2-game skid. You're an incredibly smart football mind. We know that you're likely transitioning to coaching. Where has it gone wrong?
I think our team defence has been something that we were trying to, claw back, even not just the 2 games that we've given up recently, also probably, ever since sort of the Bulldogs game. So we've been working on it. There's just aspects that we're getting wrong, and like good sides do, they're challenging us in that aspect. So we feel like we've learned the right lessons from Essendon, and hopefully we don't let Geelong control the ball as much as we did Essendon last week.
So what we're having pointed out to us are the pressure numbers. So is that accurate, and how hard is it or easy is it to get that back?
It's very easy to get the pressure numbers back, but it's, if you let a side, I think we've let 143 uncontested marks last week, so you can't pressure them because they've taken marks everywhere, so it's a low-pressure game. So, I don't want to get too technical with it, but there's so many ways that sides are defending now, whether they're pressing up, whether they're folding back, whether they're defending with ball in hand. So each week presents a different opportunity, and, we know at times tonight Geelong are going to want to control the ball, but they'll also be pretty aggressive with where they kick the footy. So we want to put heat on the game. We want the game to look pretty messy and ugly and chaotic, and if it starts looking like that, regardless of the result, it's a Collingwood-style game.
You've had a little bit of an arm complaint this year. There's no strapping on it at the moment. I don't know if that's still to come. Are you still managing that a little bit?
It's something that I'll have to manage for the rest of the year. But it's only just, I will go get it strapped shortly after this interview. And but in terms of how it's functioning, it's fine. And it's probably the first soft tissue I've ever had, and it was a really strange bicep injury. So it's a little bit different, but it's all fine now.
I mentioned how I call you the field general for Collingwood, and it's something that you're renowned for. I heard Sam Mitchell, the coach of Hawthorn, speak about the fact that he studied how other clubs use their runner, and he noticed that with Collingwood, primarily or almost exclusively, the runner goes out to you, and then you're able to disseminate the message. How does that work between yourself and Craig McRae and the coaches?
Well, obviously, if we wanted to try and change different messages or speed things up, I don't think it's just me that it comes out to, but it will come out to somebody in the midfield, because obviously we can look forward and back, and you can talk to the next line, and then it's almost like Chinese whispers where you're standing there, and I'm not sure what message sometimes Jamie gets in the goal square or Darcy gets it full back, but it sort of goes to the middle, and then we try and spread it out as quick as we can. And it's why the limiting of the runner, it's so important that guys take responsibility when they hear something, that they pass it on pretty quickly.
Brent Harvey works with us. He's getting very nervous. We are waiting for your contract next year. Where's that at?
We're in talks at the moment. So, I'd say it's looking more than likely that I'll play on next year. But, we've still got a couple of things that we need to get through, and just, I need to get through the year as well. So, as I said, I've always said, why I feel like the club's around contending and challenging, and, our group's pretty special at the moment just in terms of our day-to-day environment. And I'm still loving football and still feeling like I can contribute. So, I hear a lot of ex-footballers say, play for as long as you can, and I'm going to try and do that.
Yeah, you're a long time retired. Pre-match for a 397th time. It feels like when we do these pre-match interviews, this is a standard fare in terms of questions. But how has it changed over the journey? I imagine Mick Malthouse to Craig McRae is a little different, but what does it look like?
When I first started, I would have been nervous as anything walking out here, and I still get the butterflies and the anxiety of coming out, and just the unknown. You don't know what to expect, which really excites me. And I think the game's grown tremendously over my time. Even being able to have access to players and media and stuff like that, I think the access, and it's only going to grow and grow. But before every game, I look around, take it in. I think how lucky am I that I get to go out there tonight with 90,000 people watching us do what we love.
And we certainly appreciate the availability of yourself and players from Collingwood. Just a quick one. I noticed your young lad, Jax, in the change rooms earlier this year, had number 2 on his back. Like 397 games, and can't even get your young lad wearing your own number?
Yeah, well, he loves Geordie, and Bobby Hill's quickly catching him. So, I think it's just a sign, seriously, of our environment, though, because, I'm just his dad, which I love, and I love the fact that he loves our team and he loves other players. And I'm quite proud when he walks in, he wants number 2 or Bobby Hill's number or Sidey or Howie, Darcy Cameron. So all the boys, make both my kids feel really welcome.
Go well. Thanks for the time.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Scott Pendlebury from the Magpies downstairs with our own Ben Cameron, who'll be up here to call the footy in a few moments. In his 19th season, Pendles, as he disappears down the race to go and get that bicep strap. So 397th game tonight.
Wow.
Due to play game number 400 in what will be a reasonably big clash against Carlton on a Saturday night in a few weeks.
How good's that?
God willing, he makes it through there unscathed. Then the next question is, and Ben mentioned his name as part of that interview, mate, Brent Boomer Harvey sits at the top with 432. Is it within reach for Scott Pendlebury, do you think?
Let's say Corbs Scotty ends at about 405, all going well, give or take. 405 at the end of this season. That leaves him with he needs to play 2 seasons because, managed to maybe give him an injury or 2. He's allowed to have one of those next year. He manages 20 games next year, so we're at 425. That's still... Oh, yeah. Can I put it this way? If he plays next year and he gets 20 games, then yes, I would be all for him going on, even if his powers were starting to greatly diminish, to get the 7, 8, 9, 10 games that he would need. I think he has deserved that honour. If next year, I don't want to put a moz on him, but he ends up with 8 or 10 games because he cops a couple of bad injuries, then I would say finish there because he'd almost needed a complete season the following year.
It's like when people say all the time where they say, it wasn't his form, he basically just got hurt at an advanced stage. Well, that's what happens. The older you get, basically, you're only one catastrophic injury away from feeling like it's pretty hard to piece together at what age is he? 36 at the moment. So, as we say, he's played a lot of continuous footy, and fingers crossed that keeps going for him.
You're right, because at that age, a what you used to call a 3-week hammy is probably a 5 or 6 week hammy, just to be so he doesn't get the reoccurrence. So it's a big ask, but I'd love to see him. Sorry, Boomer, I know we work with Boomer, but Boomer's a thoroughly deserving games record holder. But if anyone's going to knock him off, Scotty Pendlebury is someone pretty special.
And you always want to hand it over, don't you? Like, if you're the record holder, I imagine...
I don't know, do you?
You'd be happy just to...
I reckon Boomer, when he got to 432, he probably thought how tough the game is.
Yeah.
I'm pretty safe for at least a few decades here.
And since then, they've had Sean Burgoyne join the club, and now Scotty Pendlebury, first of all, 400, the next major milestone for him. We'll see him play game 397 tonight. Corbin Middlemass and Cameron Ling in the box. Mick Moldhouse is wandering around downstairs. Lauren Borden is down there as well, and Ben Cameron... he's on his way up to join us in the box. It is Collingwood and Geelong for Friday night footy. There is no late change for either team. Reef McInnes is the sub for the Pies, and for Geelong it is Ollie Henry. Jackie from Adelaide off the SMS. Hi guys, tucked up in bed with a block of chocolate for a great night. Why do Geelong always wear white shorts, even for home games? Tonight is technically their away game, so they will be in the white shorts again, but I remember people at Geelong used to talk about them being the premiership shorts, that you'd always seem to wear them in big-time grand finals, but you would have spent a lot of time wearing the white shorts, Lingy?
Yes, I think you're right. We won our flags in the white shorts. I can only assume it just added to not clashing as much, perhaps.
Yeah,
it was the best thing.
It's a lighter base jumper. It's mainly a white jumper with blue hoops, and so if you wear white shorts, the other team can be the dark team and wear predominantly dark colours.
Anyone who says the whole clash thing's ridiculous and players are fine. No, it is hard when they clash. Right at the start of my career, it used to be the Geelong home jumper, traditional jumper, hoops, and the Collingwood traditional jumper with white or black shorts, and obviously very similar socks as well. And if you're in a whole mess of people and it's a little bit hard, and you just look at, all you are hoping to see is a glimpse of a dark colour and white.
Yep.
And when you're playing Collingwood, it was always that moment's hesitation, like, hang on, is that? And that's enough to get you caught with the ball when you're playing against a good team. So I love the fact they went to a bigger difference between the two jumpers and shorts.
I think the other thing is we want to see teams wear their traditional jumper as much as possible. So the shorts is a small sacrifice to make, isn't it? If a team has to wear light shorts at home, so be it. Nick Dacos tonight, it feels like he snuck up on people, which is incredible, and it's probably he's a victim of his own high expectation to think he polled the most votes ever in the Brownlow for a second-year player last year, was for every bit the best player in the premiership team in his second season. And yet with Isaac Heaney's suspension this week, all of a sudden the groundswell's back around him as the best player in the game and the new Brownlow medal favourite. Chris Scott was asked about him during the week. He said, look, if Nick wasn't in the team, we wouldn't have to waste 5 hours going through the what-ifs. So he looked a little frustrated too to think, damn, this kid who's in his third season of AFL footy has taken up so much of our time.
He's truly special, isn't he? He's a joy to watch because of the way he plays. He gets so much of it, but he breaks the game open, he kicks goals. Don't get me too fired up about the Isaac Heaney decision, Corbs. Otherwise, you won't stop me, and we won't get down to talk to Mick or anything like that. But you're right, now that Heaney's out of the race, the Nick Dacos, I think, certainly in my eyes becomes the favourite, because when he plays well, it's pretty much a guaranteed 3-vote game. And He is a superb footballer, and even when tagged, and he's been, the last month, there's been teams who've tried some things with him, he still finds a way to influence. He might be somewhere off his absolute peak best, but he can still influence games, and they were always the best I played on. The ones who, even when you had them covered, you relax for even a 5 or 7 minute patch, and all of a sudden the game's flipped because of that player's influence, and that's what Nick Dacos does.
Cameron Ling, the legendary Geelong figure, of course, 3-time premiership player, premiership cat, myself, Corb, Middlemass, and now Ben Cameron, who's got here huffing and puffing up the stairs. How are you, Ben?
Well, thanks, Corb. Dare I ask about your thoughts on the Isaac Heaney case then?
Oh, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
You're not happy with it?
No. But,
I think you and I are going to say this differently.
Okay. So...
got him going.
He's trying to get away from Jimmy Webster. Yep. Granted. Jimmy Webster's in a crouch position. So he has gone to try and whack off or push off an opponent to make a lead. Now, he is hit at what I would consider stomach, torso height. How is he supposed to know that the guy's in a crouch position and he accidentally clips him in the face and he cops a bit of a blood nose for it? It's not a suspension. I'm sorry. You could call it off the ball, everything like that. There is no moment where Isaac Heaney turns and looks at his opponent and thinks, I'm going to have a bit of a wild swing here and I might get him in the head, I might get him in the chest. He is just trying to, like so many players have done in history and everything, he's just trying to push off, get off, chop the arms a little bit so you can get that metre break. And Webster's in a different position to what he expected. He's in a crouched position, his head's at a height that he didn't expect. And we're going to suspend him for a week for that. And some of the other ridiculous ones that players get away with, where they give little elbows to the head or punch people in the guts or give little open-palmed punches to the jaw, and we're going to give them fines? It's a ridiculous decision in my eyes, Corbs.
The Cats are on their way out. Patrick Dangerfield leads them through the banner. They are the designated away team tonight, so all in white with the blue hoops and the white shorts. I guess I flip it, and I'm trying to look at it a lot of the way through Jimmy Webster's perspective. So is it reasonable if he's trailing someone to the footy that a player can fling his arm back and he all of a sudden gets busted open in the nose, and that's just the price of doing business as a defender in this competition? No. Everything that we've spoken about with head trauma and everything else, isn't the actual onus, if Heaney's going to whack his arm back in a striking motion, let's call it what it is, the onus is on the player, isn't it, to make sure that he doesn't hit anyone in the face?
Okay, it's a great point you make. You're absolutely right. Jimmy Webster is unfortunately copped something and shouldn't have to cop that. However, I just see it differently if Heaney swings at a certain height. Now, if Heaney had gone from, and I know this isn't a visual medium, but gone from low in front of him to high behind him, so swung in a real upward motion, then Heaney's got to expect he's going to make head contact somewhere with Jimmy Webster, and Jimmy Webster does not deserve that. But the fact that he has gone what I would classify as a reasonable height with his arm, I think is okay. And an accident has happened. And if you want to say, hey, come on, guys, cut that out because the responsibility is on you, fine Isaac Heaney for that. It is so different to me, Corbs, when it is we are eyeball to eyeball, and then I can, with an open palm, which is basically the same as a fist, smack you in the jaw and not get a week for that or get fined for that. Or I can punch you in the guts and they say, it was insufficient force to warrant a suspension. No, I'm looking at you and I'm choosing to strike you facing each other. This is different to me.
Yeah. So your opinion carries a lot of weight. You've been out there multiple times. I'm just a dude watching on from the sidelines. But I just think if you ask a lot of guys like Peter Wright and Callum Brown leaving the ground to go and take a mark, and then all of a sudden you're asking them to adjust in the air, all in the goodwill of trying to reduce head trauma, surely we can ask the player that strikes and swings his arm out that, hey, you've got to be more aware when you throw your limbs back. And if you are, I accept that he didn't intentionally try and do it. But ultimately, he's busted a bloke's nose open and he's culpable for that the same way that someone like Callum Brown or Peter Wright is if they can cuss a player leaping into a marking contest.
If they go into a marking contest and get it wrong, fair.
It might be harsh and it's very different, I know, but I feel like we're going to see it differently.
Yeah, and that's the good thing. And it is one of those line ball ones as Collingwood come out into the MCG. Big crowd starting to build up here that it's so line ball. I absolutely respect your opinion. I suppose the frustration for me, Corbs, lies in the fact that other things have been gotten away with that I feel are worse than what Isaac Heaney did. So therefore, if you're suspending Heaney, the other guys should have gone. or if you're giving them fines, Heaney should get a fine.
I don't disagree with that. More from Cameron Ling coming up in just a moment. We'll see if we can find Mick Moldhouse downstairs. All of that coming up next on ABC Sport.
Tennis goes all year, and now so do we. Join me, Catherine Murphy, every Friday on the ABC Tennis podcast. I'll be joined by former players John Millman and John Alexander.
Well done, JA. You picked the winner.
We'll bring you up to date on all the big stories, as well as how the Aussies are faring on the tour. You'll find the ABC Tennis podcast on the ABC Listen app every Friday, with bonus episodes available during Grand Slams.
Wimbledon 2024 on ABC Sport. Hear it live every night on the ABC Listen app. Just search for the tennis button.
ABC Sport.
Welcome to ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL Premiership season.
Footy's biggest weekly stage, Friday night footy.
Footy's back now.
Oh, footy's back, baby.
Pulls the trigger on goal and goes bang.
'Cause here it comes, here it comes. AFL. This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On ABC Radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Something big is coming, I know.
The last two premiers going at it under the Friday night lights. It is Collingwood versus Geelong. The Pies, after going on an 11-game stretch where they lost just one of those, if they lose tonight, they will have dropped 3 on the bounce, while Geelong, on the other side of things, if they win this evening, they'll make it 3 straight. There are no late changes. The subs, first of all, for Collingwood, Reef McInnes on his return, and Ollie Henry against his old side is the sub for Geelong. Corbin Middlemass and Ben Cameron to call the footy in for Kelly Underwood. Lauren Borden will be with us in place of Tim Hodges on the boundary tonight, the legendary cat Cameron Ling. And I'm very pleased to say we can swing it down boundary side to the coaching icon himself, the coach of Collingwood's 2010 premiership team that they're celebrating tonight in Mick Moldhouse. Good evening, Mick.
G'day, Corby.
How was it all?
Oh, it's fantastic. It's going to go on a lot longer than the game. But anyway, I've got a couple of people here. One's Alan Tuvey. Alan has got the young girls. He's got in the car, driven 8 hours to get here from Merimbula. So, Tuve, what's it like? And how do you feel about the evening?
Oh, it's great to see everyone after such a long time. See a few faces I haven't seen for a long time and catch up with the boys. So,
how long's it been since you've seen all these boys?
Oh, it'd be probably 6 or 7 years since I've seen most of them.
Are you involved in footy at all?
Nah, not at all. Not since I've had these 2 girls. They keep me pretty busy, so no footy at all.
And we've got the man who I believe has been instrumental in getting this group together, Nicky Maxwell. Turn around, Nick. You should know the procedure. Nicky, what's it mean to you?
Mate, to be honest, it's probably the most special part is to bring back all the staff and all their partners and everyone who doesn't get recognised, like as players and yourself and a lot of the major coaches and that. We always catch up every year, so it's great to actually have everyone else get recognised, and good for the kids as well, because I don't think anyone had kids when we won the premiership, so for them to come out, understand what it's all about, it's pretty special.
And Heath Shaw was recognised as the greatest smotherer in the history of the world, but I go back 1 week, without your great smother in that goal square, we would probably be we wouldn't be here tonight. So tell us a bit about it.
Well, Heath wasn't even a smother. He didn't actually touch his boot. All he did was knock it out of his hands. Like, that happens 1,000 times a game, but somehow he's claimed it as this big special thing. And it was in a game where we won by 10 goals, so it's irrelevant. He keeps claiming it's pretty special, but we all know he's full of it.
Any questions up there, Corby? What about from Lingy? Lingy been on holidays a couple of weeks?
Oh, I have been on holidays, Mick. It's great to hear from you. I love the fact that you've gone and picked your 2 favourites out of the group.
No, they're all my favourites, Lingy. So how'd the holiday go?
Very good holiday. Very good holiday. Enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to you coming back up here and telling you all about it. But who are you most nervous about down there, Mick, as far as who might carry on a little bit late into the evening?
Oh, well, let me tell you, they've all got kids, so that's one step, and all their wives are here, so I would say the bravest bloke will be the one that actually breaks from the wife and gets away. I might just ask Nicky one thing about how far some of these players have come. So just off the top, a few of the players have come a long way. Nick?
Yeah, we have Tubes obviously came from interstate, Sharrod's interstate, Goldie's interstate, and Dawsey's actually flown in from New York. So he's only here for 2 nights. That's pretty special to have him here, given that he lives so far away. So good to have such a good group, and even some of the staff and that have come for a long way. So again, just means shows how much it means to them all.
Yeah, it's pretty special. Corby. I don't know whether we've got a lot of time.
I was going to say, don't hold him too long after the game. We want to get him up there, get a couple of red wines into him. So as soon as that siren goes, I want him back in the function, boys.
If the game's over at 3/4 time, Corby, we might just arrange it.
We'll let you run, Mick. I'll see you up here in a few moments. Thanks to Nick Maxwell and also Alan Tuvey downstairs. Mick loves telling a story to our own Brett Delidio when Alan Tuvey went to Lids and just clamped him down as well. I know Lids was an unbelievable player for 275 games, multiple Australians. I feel like between Mick talking about Alan Tuvey and Lingy being part of our crew, all we talk about is the days that he got stopped down on the footy field where he's clearly had more good days than he had bad days.
I don't think Lids enjoys the story quite as much as Mick.
Mick does, yes. There's no late change. Corbin Middlemass and Ben Cameron calling the footy. Lauren Borden on the boundary. The coaching icon, Mick Moldhouse, is on his way to join Cameron Ling, the legendary Cat. Reef McInnes, the sub for Collingwood, and Ollie Henry is the sub for Geelong. So there's no late change for either team. Both sides out on the ground conducting their preliminary warm-up. Set it up for us, Lingy. What are we in for tonight?
Well, I'm expecting a huge response from Collingwood last week against a fierce rival in Essendon. They didn't bring the heat, they didn't bring the pressure, and it's what has made this Craig McRae team so good. It's what won them the premiership. Yes, they have superb players with unbelievable skill, and their attacking prowess is excellent, but their high-pressure game right across the field is what built their game and caused the turnovers and then allowed them to slingshot back through like lightning. So I'm expecting that, and how Geelong responds to that will be really interesting. So yes, they've built their form back with a couple of weeks, Corbs, of some better footy, with a couple of those changes in personnel and changes in position that we spoke about earlier on in the broadcast tonight. But how does that stand up against a Collingwood team bringing the heat? Now, with all the injuries that Collingwood have suffered, maybe they can't sustain that pressure for as long as they did at their absolute peak. But it is so relentless, and I'm expecting it tonight, that does it grab Geelong, and does it give Collingwood a really great start and give them a lead on the scoreboard and actually put Geelong on the back foot?
Is that something you can flick a switch with? Or is it something that, if you haven't had that attitude throughout the year, it's difficult to regain?
I think there can come a point where you finally hear the message from the coach and you finally start having some more honest conversations and saying, oh, hang on, okay, now I see it. And for me, that happened last week. So I reckon Collingwood have been a little bit off their best pressure game and their best all-round outnumber game that then helps their attack. But they were probably of the mindset of, oh, yeah, but we'll get it right. We'll be fine. No, we're doing a lot right. And you convince yourself you're still going pretty well. Last week's really poor performance against a really good team, big stage, fierce rival, and all the stats show them, hey, you guys were terrible, were poor in this area, and that's what cost us. That's probably the moment where it hits home hardest, and they can respond then. You almost need a borderline rock bottom moment to finally go, okay, I see it, I'm going to do something about it, let's get on with this. And that's what I think it was. For Geelong, though, if they can handle it early, and if it can be 3 goals all at quarter time with Collingwood throwing their best punches at them, then maybe you can find out whether or not it's fully sustainable for the whole game or not, and Geelong can look to finally break them down over the course of the game.
Does it feel a little sharper tonight for the Pies than Geelong? Obviously, Geelong are a game ahead of them on the table, but you feel for Collingwood, if they lose tonight, the race for 13 wins that they're going to need, they probably need to win something like 4 of their last 6. And on that run home, the only soft touch is really Richmond. Then they play Hawthorn, who are still in the mix, Carlton, who are in premiership contention, Sydney in premiership contention, Brisbane, who are coming with a bullet, and Melbourne in the last round. So there's not too many that you just say, yep, that's an absolute given.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. So it is huge for the Pies, but I also think from a Geelong perspective that they, whenever there's an opportunity to put a nice big buffer and potentially a nail in a coffin of the reigning champ, then you feel that as well. You can keep that serious contender far enough away from you that you might not have to deal with them in September when they get some of their players back. That's pretty big motivation. So I think there's a lot on the line for both teams. That run home you talk about for Collingwood is a tough one, so they would feel that as well. It sets up a ripping game of footy with pretty big crowd to watch it too, Corbs.
Lauren Borden is with us on the boundary tonight for Friday Night Footy. Loz, great to have you with us.
No, it's lovely to be here, Corbin. Like you just said, Lingy, it's starting to fill up a little bit. So about 75,000 expected. And boy, were they late getting in. I think 8,000 were in the first hour. So it's slowly filling up down here. It's about 9 degrees. It's not going to get much lower than that. So in terms of winter in Melbourne in July, it's probably a nice temperature to be at the footy. It's Reece McInnes and Ollie Henry, again the sub for the second time in a row. It'll be Geelong kicking towards the left-hand side of your radio dial, the punt road end of the MCG to get things started today.
Thanks, Loz. We had the gifts exchange at the centre bounce as well with Nathan Kruger, Bobby Hill, accompanying the captain of Collingwood, Darcy Moore, and of course Lawson Humphries and Tyson Stengel, the two First Nations players, alongside Paddy Dangerfield at the toss. Who are you tipping, Lingy?
I'll go with the heart for now, of course, but this is going to be a close one. Cats.
The last two premiers to go at it under the Friday night lights. Particularly sharp for the reigning champs. It's Collingwood and Geelong on ABC Sport. You're with Ben Cameron.
Down it goes, underway. Cameron winning the opening tap, getting after it. Atkins. De Koning goes in for the Cats. Unable to gather it. Atkins tries again, picks it up. Handball away to De Koning. Clear and kick towards half forward for the Cats. Unable to mark it. Noble. He goes again at ground level. He's wrapped up immediately. Umpire says holding the ball. Free kick to Geelong. They come away with it. The shot on goal is through. Manners kicked it. 40 out on the run. It was a tackling machine last week and he's kicked the first goal of the game tonight. A dream start for the men in hoops. 1 straight 6. Collingwood yet to score. We've played 40 seconds. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Yeah, it looked to be a bit of a rough call on John Noble at ground level. No prior opportunity. Was immediately pounced upon by Brian Myers, and the umpire saying he had one arm free, so you expected to do something with it. I don't know about that when you're lying on the ground and you haven't had the prior opportunity, but advantage was paid, and Sean Manor said thank you very much and kicked the goal. Looks like Tom Atkins was trying to go to Nick Dacos at the last centre bounce, but now it's Stewart next to Dacos, so I'll watch closely to see if Atkins is going to play the role on Dacos around the ground.
Corbin Middlemass and Ben Cameron, Lauren Borden on the boundary, Cameron Ling and Mick Moldhouse on Friday night footy. The catch straight out of the middle again. Dangerfield with that burst speed to the top of the goal square, spills through to Neal, pops it through. It's taken less than 40 seconds on the game clock and the Cats have kicked the first 2 of the game. Oh, this is not what Craig McRae wanted, and it could not have started any better for Chris Scott and his men. Geelong 2 straight. The Pies yet to score. Cats by 12 points. Mick Moldhouse, you sit down and turn the headset on. It's all happening early.
Well, I'm just looking at it. Clearances are the key. Clearances are the absolute king, and if you've just been able to get a clearance, get the team in behind it, keep the ball where you want it, in the front half, well, in fact, it didn't have to be defended. Both of them have just sort of gone in and been virtually goals straight away. So, no, it's not. Just saw Craig McRae as I was coming up. He looked relaxed, and I just thought the side looked relaxed. So they've got to start to spark up.
Back in the middle, opening 2 goals going the way of the Cats. De Koning trying to take it out of the ruck, doesn't get a kick away. Coming through Pendlebury, dispossessed in the tackle. Loose ball in the middle of the MCG. It doesn't come out just yet. Has been their MO, Mick, hasn't it?
Well, I just wonder, Benny, about starts and in the room beforehand and how switched on you really got to be switched on.
Pies yet to have a disposal. Coming through Holmes for the Cats. Spins out of trouble, dumps it on the boot, tumbles it inside 50 again. Bouncing ball, Markov drops it. Neil there for the Cats. Coming through is Rowan, gathers in the pocket, gets rid of it to Stengel. He'll snap it back centrally and Neil can mark. Plum in front, 15 out. And should go back and kick the Cats third.
And again, it was a sort of chaos ball inside there. Just a bit of a hack kick from Max Holmes and ground ball not allowing the intercept mark. And ground level gets inside that forward 50 have been crucial early on. It's been a frenetic start by the Cats.
Chaos ball, though, thingy. Backline players can't read it.
In comes Neil. Directly in front. He pops it through. That's Neil, and the start has been the real deal from the Cats. He's got a couple. It's 3 straight 18 to no score. And Collingwood have had 1 disposal, a Nick Dacos kick, which was a soccer through 4 minutes. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
And right now, Mick, you can see the Collingwood mids, key mids, leaders all getting together. Tight little huddle, just working out. Scotty Pendlebury came up from half forward to have a little bit of a chat in that conversation. So a little bit of on-field coaching, on-field leadership there. Just trying to sort it out. They need a centre clearance.
Well, they need a sweeper for a start off. They need a sweeper, then they need a 9 and 12 and just force the ruckman to make a play.
10 disposals to 1 soccer kick, 3 straight 18 to yet to score. Haven't had the ball in hand yet. Crooked bounce up, lets them roll. Cameron wins it down. It's going Geelong's way again. Dangerfield hand pass to Atkins. Kicks inside 50. Maynard double fisted, knocks it away. Loose footy scooped up by Myers. High half forward. Handball to Atkins. Hand pass to Holmes. All Geelong again. Handball to Myers. Turnover. Picked off by Josh Dacos. Hand pass away to Goey. Just clears the danger area. Cat's well set up and Jack Henry's on it. Defensive side of the southern wing.
Wants to poke it short. Gets it away to Zach Guthrie. Handball to Holmes running by. Chips it for De Koning. Wide out. Great Southern stand wing. 3 straight 18 to no score. Inside 50 again go the Cats through to Koning. Dangerfield launching. Off his hands. Markov knocks it away. Atkins onto it inside 50 for Geelong. Handball errant. Schultz taken down in the tackle. And held in. Will get a ball up. Umpire Chris Donlan, who's out there with Brendan Hosking, Simon Meredith and Robert Finlay. Ball up, 40 out from the attacking goal for the Cats.
A jaw-dropping start to Friday night footy. Stengel bowled off it. Picked up here by Pendlebury. Kicks from centre-half back out to the wing. And Hoskin Elliott hugs it to his chest for Collingwood. A lot of people still taking their seat in the first 10 disposals. The Cats had 3 goals before Collingwood had the ball in hand. Hoskin Elliott, hand pass out to Josh Dacos. Kicks back inboard on the 45. It's a good one. And De Goey takes the mark.
Yeah, they need a settler, Collingwood. It doesn't matter how long it takes. They just need to steady, take possession of the football.
Short to Ned Long, hands it back to De Goey. Still 55 out, kicks inside 50. Sat it on Harrison's head, no mark. Spills through to Schultz, half forward for the Pies. Handball in front of Elliott. The ball ricochets out of bounds. Collingwood fans wanted a free kick as Schultz was tackled in possession. Says nothing doing, boundary throwing.
I felt like Schultz had a fair claim on a push in the back too. Because Mitch Duncan just fell straight into his back.
Hardly pay it, do they, these days? That sort of stuff.
That's the Pies' first entry. Geelong have had 6. It's the Cats by 18 points. Collingwood yet to score. 6 in.
Cameron works to the front, brings it down for Schultz. He's tackled immediately by Duncan. Ball up, 55 out from the attacking goal for the Pies.
It's a good setup by Collingwood outside, although Geelong have kept their forwards in place.
De Koning with the tap. It spills out to Pendlebury. Kicks short inside 50. Elliott gathers on the half volley. Slick handball to Lipinski. Kills it through. A much-needed hard starter for the Pies. Late arriving, they're here now, their first of the evening. Geelong 3 straight 18, Collingwood 1 straight 6, 7 played opening term. Mick Malthouse, Cameron Ling, your experts.
When they're under the pump, Collingwood, you just hope that the right player ends up with the ball in his hands. And Pendlebury down back gets an exit kick, the kick to Hoskin Elliott. Absolute perfection. And then coming out of that stoppage, was just able to put the little touch kick into the path of Elliott and quick hands. Great finish by Lipinski. But just when everybody else is feeling the heat, when everybody else is feeling the oh no moment of the start to the game and the crowd and all of that, you just want your calm ball users to settle everybody down. That's exactly what Scotty Pendlebury's done.
Matt, the Nomad Collingwood supporter, high team tuning into the game on the free train Wi-Fi in Zurich, Switzerland. Go the Pies. Nice to hear from you, Nat, and wherever you're listening across the country on the SMS line. Boundary throw in. Cameron down to Nick Dacos. Hand pass to Chris. Spun around in the tackle from Stewart. And a ball up still inside the centre square. So 0437 774 774 the SMS number. Of course, if you're listening around the world, just chuck a +61 in front of that. As Cameron down to side bottom, whacks it on a second time. Still no clean pick up. De Goey goes and gets it. Middle of the G, hand pass to Cameron. Floats a high up and under to centre half forward. Long, bangs bodies with Stewart. Ball hits the deck. Atkins for the Cats. Handball to Tui, handball to Holmes. Kicks wide and Blitzarps marks half back for Geelong.
Gives the handball to Clark running by. Stabs it short for Stengel. A long-term deal recently for Tyson Stengel, locking him into the Cats until 2029. Has it on the wing. Kicks up towards Cameron at half forward. Quaynor right there with him. Can't mark. Comes down at ground level. Picking it up, Cameron. Spits out. And Harvey Harrison snaps around the wing for the Pies. Richards, low down, can't gather. Able to Lipinski, it works out eventually. Richards back to Nick Dacos, handball out in front of Long. Dangerfield's there though for the Cats, worries him out of it.
Picks up the footy, he's tackled, immediately taken to ground by Harrison and Long, and the ump calls for it.
Yeah, some good, really strong tackling there. Collingwood are trying to make a statement at the moment.
Pies 6-1 when Dangerfield plays so far this year. Obviously missed twice due to the same hamstring injury as from the restart. Blitzup's handball ends up out of play. Is that cause or effect, do you think, Dangerfield having such a good record when he plays?
I think he certainly contributes, Corbs. But I also think it happens to be when they've played certain teams.
Certainly looks like he's still got his burst speed. We saw him with that dynamic clearance already. Boundary throw, and he's at this stoppage here and gets to it first and right on cue. Bursts away, kicks Geelong down to half forward. Tangle between Neil and Frampton. Ball slides inside 50. Rowan can't collect. Darcy Moore does for Collingwood. Oh, handball to Noble. His hand pass went in behind Quaynor. Now they're in trouble. Collingwood soccers off the deck. Nick Dacos trying to fend off the tackle. Got it away to the smooth moving Pendlebury.
He'll kick around the members' wing up towards half forward to Goey bursting, getting there first. Jack Henry loses it. Kruger coming through. Pies in possession half forward. Clever kick for Bobby Hill. Takes the mark, 45 out. Has Elliott on. He'll chip it short. Not the required distance, says the umpire. Play on. Elliott didn't know. Kolodjasny's got him holding the ball.
Oh, my goodness.
It probably was 15 metres too.
Compared to some of the other ones they pay me.
Yeah, that's... I just reckon under those circumstances with a crowd like this, he's clearly taken a grab. You're better off going, OK, well, you didn't hear me. We'll give you the benefit of the doubt. We'll ball it up.
Jamie Elliott looked completely bereft, and the Collingwood faithful not happy about it. They trail the Cats by 12 points early in the first.
Holmes comes out of defence, kicks in front of the interchange, and Josh Dacos slides out of bounds with the footy in front of Blitzarps. Boundary throwing in front of the benches. Remember the last time Geelong played a game at the G? It did get the little rub of the green against the Bombers here a fortnight ago. There was a few little ones that went their way.
That was an ordinary decision-making kick by Holmes, by the way, off the back line. He had a player right in front of him he should have used. He's trying to chew off a little bit more than what he could.
Geelong by 12 points, 11 minutes into the opening term. Boundary throw-in, clearing kick from Atkins down to half forward. Neil shakes Frampton, left the footy behind. Frampton collects for Collingwood, kicks down the wing. Richards the target, and Blitzarps knocks it out of bounds. Hot start, we love that on a Friday night. Geelong kicked the first 3 goals inside the opening 4 minutes. Collingwood got the last. It's Geelong 3 straight, Collingwood 1 straight. A dozen minutes played opening term. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Drag the stats back a bit, Collingwood. There's only 29-35, so the stats are starting to show up as an even competition. Inside 50s 8-9, which makes it even more even.
Blitzarves in the ruck. Cameron wins it down. Bowes gets the handball away for the Cats to Clark. Kicks into the pocket. Neil through his hands it goes out the back. Close in the pocket. Sockers it back. Quaynor there for the Pies at fullback. Picks it up. He's buffeted off his kick. It jars free. Clark onto it in the pocket. Here for Geelong. Held up. Ball up to come. Left forward pocket. Cats lead it by 12 points. 12 minutes in.
Shannon Neal just causing a few headaches there, but has just missed a couple of chances.
He's got to take. He's getting in a good position, but he's marking. He's let him down.
Oh, he's rucking here, knocks it down straight to Nick Dacos, kicks out wide, 2 wide, 1 bounce out of play in front of young Richards. And a boundary throw-in half forward for the Cats.
So the Nick Dacos matchup doesn't look to be a really hard. I mentioned earlier that it might have been Tom Atkins, and now is Jack Bowes, but
they're swigging around, aren't they?
Yeah,
whoever goes that stop. So he can't get a target. I reckon they're just going, I will share this.
Cameron palms it down, half forward for Geelong. Cats on it. Myers, hand pass out to Manor. He feeds it through to Bowes. 52 metres out. Kicks inboard. Rowan the target. Bounces off his chest. Tries to follow up. Does so. 55 out. Tackled. Somehow got it away. Kolodjasny up in the front half. Kicks wide. Bounces out in front of Dangerfield. The greasy footy scoops it up. Can head inside 50 for Geelong.
Goes with the low ball. Josh Dacos gets a hand to it. Blitz up. Slaps it cleverly to Manor. His handball errant. And there Noble gathers for the Pies, kicks into the middle of the ground. The Cats have the numbers. Tui had a little fumble. It allows in Hoskin Elliott through the bullseye for Collingwood. He'll kick out in front here of Richards. Bouncing ball. Half forward it finally sits. Looks at the goals. Eyes the goals. And kicks a great goal. One finger up to celebrate. And the Pies are moving now. It's back to 1 straight kick. 3 straight 18, plays 2 straight 12. 13 and a half minutes into the opening term. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Mick Malthouse, Cameron Ling.
Geelong had a perfect setup, Lingy, behind the ball. They had 2v1. They had the extra 1.
Yep.
Both players were hesitant. They sort of thought, well, which one's going to go? It was an awkward ball, chaos ball coming in, bouncing all over the place. They both looked at the moment they looked at each other, calling the play, cut in the middle, got the ball, and all of a sudden, instead of 2-1, it became 1-2.
Yep.
Now it was a game kick at goal because he had 2 targets he could have hit Bridges, but if you're going to kick them, and he did. That's a goal that really would go back to those 2 senior players at Geelong and go, what are we doing?
That moment of hesitation,
absolutely.
Wasn't it?
Disposals inside 50. You just saw that on our monitors. 13-4. And so from those 4 touches inside the attacking arc, Collingwood have kicked 2 goals. Geelong by 6 points. Back in the middle. Cameron knocks it forward to DeGoey. Hand pass to Pendlebury. Handball to Long. Kicks inside 50. Getting back. Kolajasny spills a mark. He should have taken. Hoskin Elliott scoops it up and makes him pay. And like a microcosm of their season, Geelong have given up their early start. They kicked 3 before Collingwood could blink, and now scores are level halfway through the opening term. 3 straight 18 apiece. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Nick Moldhouse and Cameron Ling.
So just a couple of moments again, Mick. Kolajasny just spilt that. He almost like he tried to bring it down to himself and make it an easy chest mark rather than trusting his hands, and Hoskin Elliott straight onto it. I think this has flipped though because of Collingwood's ability to win 50-50 balls across their half-back line.
Absolutely.
There's been ground ball opportunities for the Cats, but the Collingwood defenders are the ones who've made that ball their own and then hacked it forward and started winning some of those 50-50 balls back level on the scoreboard.
I've seen Quainar on Cameron. That's an interesting move.
The Koning wins the tap in the middle. Bowes just trying to soccer it on. Gets it to half-forward. Myers takes it. Not the required distance. Stealing it side bottom. Gives it off to Frampton. To Long. To side bottom. Across half-back. Kicking out towards Harrison. Bouncing ball. Can't run it in. Trying to come. Half-forward flank here for the Cats.
It's been that kind of night where there's the hot start. It's almost like the game's finally settling. You think, hang on, he's playing on him, and it's trying to get your bearings this far in.
Well, I'm watching Quainar. Now, he's elected to take him. That would be set up from the bench. So that's a very interesting move, that one.
Throw in half forward for the Cats. To Koning taking it out of the ruck. High ball inside 50. No mark. Bouncing ball. Coming through Clark. Wrenched down in the Moore tackle. Umpire quick on the whistle. Wants to ball it up. 45 out from the attacking goal for the Cats. Scores level. Geelong the first 3. Collingwood the next 3. That's how we arrive here.
Neil inside the forward 50. Whacks it forward for Geelong. Pack forms, though, in that spot as Manor is tackled immediately in a ball up.
And Cameron, being smart, has gone straight to the goal square. Now he's giving away a foot. So this will be interesting.
Pies black shorts, black and white stripes. Geelong in the white shorts and the blue hoops, of course, and their white jumper. We'll have another stoppage here. The third one inside Geelong's forward 50.
Darcy Moore is just the protection at the back of the stoppage, Mick, not protection on Jeremy Cameron.
Frampton wins it down, but straight to Stengel. Hand pass out to Myers. Hooks through, way behind, straight into the post. And about 35 out. Keeps Geelong in front. They lead by that point, 17 minutes in. Oh, that's As Stengel hurriedly trying to take the kick out, put it out on the full and didn't just missed by about 10 metres.
Quainar.
Yeah, Quainar with the kick in. Out on the full, free kick going to Clark. Runs around quickly. Low ball towards the goal square. Off hands, it goes to the goal line. The Pies keep it in initially. And then Maynard knocks it through.
So I'm just wondering about Maynard. Why doesn't Maynard take Cameron? He's got the bulk, got the height.
Has he got the aerobic capacity? I don't know what Quainar's aerobic capacity is like. Jeremy Cameron's an aerobic machine.
Absolutely, but he's not going to do a lot of damage outside of 50.
No, true.
Cats by 2, kicks to Frampton, who takes a mark on his chest out wide at half-back. He was on Neil earlier. Billy Frampton in his defensive role. Cats by a couple of points. They kick the first 3, Collingwood the last 3. Cuts back inboard, outer edge of the centre square. Flying Kolajasny spills down to Schultz to the Pies. Kruger, hand pass to Hoskin Elliott. Handball downhill to Richards. Just needs to control the footy. Snaps but misses near side.
Not a good choice.
Good chase by Duncan. Forces the error. So Geelong by 1 point on the back of the Richards behind. 19 gone opening quarter. It's Geelong 3-2. Collingwood 3-1. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
It's a hot game at the moment. Down the southern wing go the Cats. Dempsey short to Manor. Just backward of the centre line. Manor will kick around that great southern stand wing. Stengel in space, takes the mark. 2 kicks from home, very wide out.
De Koning drifting down here. He's got a good mismatch if they can get it to him.
Oh, he takes on Quaynor on the mark, kicks into the pocket, close. He just takes the mark in the field of play. Maybe in row 1 of that pocket down there around Bay 13.
I was watching the boundary umpire right on the line there, so it's going to be tight. For those that are interested, Cameron has now got a different opponent again, so there is a hook around, roll around if you like.
I reckon row 1 was generous, but
the mark set right on the boundary line. The drop punt is missing to the right-hand side. A minor score. The Cats lead it by a couple. 19.5 played opening term. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
It nearly knocked the beer out of the hand of the guy in the 5th row.
Jeez.
Side bottom goes short to Nick Dacos. Hand pass bank to side bottom. Still inside the defensive 50. Turns it over. Stengel with the intercept mark. He's about 60 out. Centre half forward. Looks inside the attacking 50 for Geelong. Puts it straight back on the chest of side bottom.
Waxing.
He goes wide out to Quaynor and marks at half back. Geelong by 2 points. 20 minutes gone opening quarter.
Quaynor goes short to Noble. He stabs it really short to Maynard. That wasn't the 15 on the standard we've seen tonight, Mick and Lingy.
No, if both of those kicks are marks, Jamie Elliott still deserves his.
Maynard kicks it into the man on the mark. It ricochets to Harrison. Pies on the wing. Here's Nick Dacos coming infield to Pendlebury. Gives it to his mentor. He kicks towards Frampton. Off to a running to Goey. Looks into the pocket. Hoskin Elliott. The rangy Hoskin Elliott reaches up to mark. 45 out, 45-degree angle, right half forward.
They're causing some massive damage in their Collingwood players.
He'll go short again, closer to goal, a slightly worse angle, and Josh Dacos bobs up to mark.
But you take Stewart out of that line. It just doesn't look the same. And the interesting thing about it, I reckon Stewart could become an extra player down there. Like all year, they've been going 6-6-6. Collingwood will drop that off.
Yeah.
So this is a time when Geelong can actually play him back.
Josh Dacos on the approach. The drop punt is across the face. Off hands through for a minor score. So back to 1 point. Geelong's advantage. 21 minutes into the first. Your experts Mick Malthouse, Cameron Ling, Corbin Middlemass, myself Ben Cameron and Lauren Borden downstairs.
Couldn't miss at the start. It was 3 straight to 3 straight, and now Geelong with 3 straight behinds, and Collingwood with 2 of their own. Long kick straight down the pipe from Zach Tui. That'll work. Straight towards Neil. Marks kicks to half forward. Stengel's got 3 to beat. He can't. Moore knocks it down to Markov. Hand pass away to Maynard. Kicks to the wing. And here's Harrison with a bit of room. Getting some work further up the ground. Runs a long way. Kicks inside the forward 50. Elliott the target. Kruger dropping back. Against his old mob, Nathan Kruger reels in the mark at left half forward for the Magpies.
Yeah, very, very good mark too.
Just he's been good for them.
He has
come in,
held his ground. He's always going to be a good footballer. He just couldn't get going at Geelong with his injuries. So, and he's had injuries at Collingwood. So this is his first real run at it, the way I see it.
Yeah, and obviously an opportunity now, Brody Myercheck out for a big chunk of time, actually to be that real workhorse contesting key forward.
And he does that. He's got big legs. He's strong.
Kruger on the drop punt. The lefty misses near side. Scores level again. 3-3-21 apiece. 6 to go before quarter time. Lauren Borden on the boundary.
An MCG attendant told me 20,000 people came into the game last Friday when Essendon played Collingwood in the first quarter. It looks like it's building again. They're expecting a lot of people to come in the first quarter late. So you just hope they haven't missed this hot start.
Humphreys with the long kick up towards the wing for the Cats. At ground level, Blitzarv soccers it out. Close is there to pick it up on the wing. Handball to De Koning. Handball for Clark. Trying to get involved Atkins. Side bottom back there. Gathers for the Pies. Gives it off to Frampton. Then to Josh Dacos. Now to Noble. Look out, Myers is right there. Gets a handball away. Humphreys steals it for the Cats and a clever little kick.
Finds Rowan, who marks on the wing. We had one of the moments of his career against Collingwood in that qualifying final, that towering mark and goal a couple of years back. Kicks across the ground, finds Holmes. That's a dart into the forward pocket, bounces up the chest of Dempsey. Thought Cameron was going to take it. He left it late, and in the end, Dempsey was surprised by it. Not to be, ball spills out of bounds.
That's the sort of thing you do to your younger brother. That sort of
leave it and don't.
Yeah, let him hit him in the face.
Vice versa, yeah.
Boundary throw-in deep forward for the Cats. Scores level, 23.5 minutes into the opening term. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Neil and Cameron. Cameron works his way to the front, taps it straight back boundary side, and out it goes again. We'll do it once more, same spot.
Geelong seem to be labouring inside their front 50. Collingwood look dangerous. The Cats it just seems to be really crowded and lacks one touch. There's been a double grab on a number of occasions.
Thoughts of Mick Malthouse. Cameron palming it down onto it. Nick Dacos cuts a swathe through them, then drops his bounce. He'll hack it away towards centre half back. Humphries there for the Cats. Tackled immediately by Richards. Ball spits out. Clark goes in and gets it. Richards turns tackler. And we'll get a ball up. 45 out from the attacking goal. Scores level. 24 minutes played.
Well, I don't know how he got rid of it. I don't know if he had it charging forward for about 1.5 metres.
Cameron palms it down to Nick Dacos. Hand pass to centre half back for De Goey. Sweeping polyfarmer hand pass to the wing for Richards. Kicks Collingwood up into the front half, and here's Elliott.
Jack Crisp has left this stoppage all air. Brilliant play.
Elliott finds him. Crisp marks. Back inboard. He's got it. High half forward for Collingwood. 55 out. Goes along to the goal square. Kruger looping up. No mark, and it's whacked through. Nice bit of work last line of defence.
Nick Dacos is absolutely dominant at the stoppages, and the Collingwood other players around him, they know that, and they're just choosing to leave and leave hard.
He's up to 9 for the night. Collingwood in front for the first time after trailing by 18 points before they'd had the ball in hand. It's Collingwood by 1 now, 25 gone opening quarter.
One of the best backline players in the game at the moment. He's just had his first kick, and I don't know whether he's even playing the backline. That's Tom Stewart just had his first possession for the game.
I reckon he's drifted back there, Nick.
I think he has
similar to what you were saying, that they realise there's a chance that he won't be locked down.
Yeah, so I can't see him being locked down against Collingwood the way they play. So the interest to me is that he stays there.
Here he is again, trying to kick into the middle of the ground. Spoilt down by the Pies. Holmes picks it up. Cats back in possession, pokes it out very wide. Mark taken by Duncan.
They'd consider that a win, though, wouldn't they? 25 minutes in, and the only 2 players without a touch are Cameron and Stewart.
Yes.
For Geelong.
Duncan runs around the mark, kicks up towards the attacking arc for the Cats. It spills out the back for Rowan, gives it off to Close. Centering ball for Blitzarves, a good one. Hugs it to his chest. 35 out, slightest of angles to the left-hand side.
Well, it's the first time since the first 3 goals have kicked that they've got the ball in there and Collingwood are facing the wrong way. So that's just quick ball movement, and Collingwood still didn't have the chance to get themselves organised. Now, I'll just go back on Stewart. I just still can't see where he is on
He's just come to the bench.
He's come to the bench, yep. Right. So I'll be interested to see where he goes back on the ground.
Mark Blitzarves on the runway. His drop punt is out to the right. Minor score. They draw level again, the Cats, and maybe it's going to be one of those nights. 26.5 minutes into the opening term. Scores level.
Just a recap, Geelong had kicked 3 goals in their first 10 disposals before Collingwood had the ball in hand, as the exiting kick out here from side bottom finds Blitzarves at half back. He knocks it out of bounds, so we'll have in fact it was Tacone knocks it out of bounds, and then Blitzarves took it out. Boundary throw-in after all that, 60 out from the Geelong goal.
They've thrown Atkins back onto Nick Dacos now for this stoppage and maybe for this little patch, just with Dacos being so dominant in the last 10 or 15 minutes.
Tacone ruck in, Cameron outpoints him here, wins it down, but straight down to Bowes. Tries to take on the tackler, does so successfully. Kicks down to half forward, and the mark is going to be paid here to Noble. Got it at half back for Collingwood. Scores a level.
De Goey and Crisp keep leaving hard into the corridor. Noble just missed them both.
So a kick around the members' wing, up towards the logo. Kruger works to the front, takes a chest mark. Fires down the members' side of the ground. Handball to Nick Dacos. Handball with running room away to Hoskin Elliott. Floats a kick inside 50, and Elliott's there. 45 out, 45-degree angle.
Nick, it is the biggest thing. Your point's a brilliant one around Tom Stewart, because they've done it for a couple of weeks. It's been a move that's worked. But they push Mitch Duncan to the back line in place of that. Yep. Mitch Duncan is getting lost and a little bit exposed as a defender.
Absolutely.
I think there's a need to push him back up into the middle of the ground and Stewart back there. Just settle it back down
and
there.
Take what's made, because who's going to tag Stewart from Collingwood?
Yep.
No one.
One of 3 inclusions. Back from the vascular issue. His kick is out to the right. Never coming back enough. So it was 3 straight apiece. From that point onwards, we've had 9 behinds. 5 the way of Collingwood, 4 the way of the Cats. 3-5 plays 3-4. Collingwood lead, closing in on quarter time.
10 degrees in Melbourne, but it is clear after it got to 15 today, but no rain expected. The kick goes out wide from the Cats, and Off the boot of Tui, finds the lap of Dempsey, who marks half-back for Geelong.
Interesting kick by Tui. He chose somewhere where there was going to be a contest, and he had someone totally clear.
Dempsey back to Tui. Tui goes long to Guthrie in a one-on-one. Jamie Elliott breaks it up, keeps his feet. Ball hits the deck. Elliott's onto it. Shoots goalward. Jamie Elliott! A superb moment. Had to break up the kick that should have been marked by Guthrie. Instead, he was able to get himself in there to force it to ground and then did the rest. A spectacular moment from the Collingwood small forward on his return. The Pies 4-5-29, Geelong 3-4-22. Pies by 7 points, half-hour mark opening quarter.
I reckon you go no further than, and I'm a fan of Zach, so I love Zach Tui. His 2 kicks were, I really, in my mind, I just can't see what he saw. Now, I know the first one was marked, but he had someone to the left who could have played on the first kick. Then the second kick, his kick that's so shallow.
He just hung it up there, didn't he?
Oh, and he had someone 20 yards behind him. It was just remarkable that, decision-making very ordinary.
He read it like a book, Jamie Elliott, and the Pies faithful love him. Out of the middle, Bowes for the Cats, kicks to half forward, side bottoms back there. Defensive mark for the Pies.
He's been outstanding the last few weeks in the half-back line.
Yeah, and that's where and Collingwood are chopping them off at the moment.
Absolutely.
At the half-back, the entries of the first 3 or 4 minutes of the Cats were really deep ones.
Yep.
Now they're just getting chopped off at about 60 out from goal.
Cameron still hasn't had the ball. No. So this is where, if you're going to tag anyone on the half-back line, Steele Cyberham doesn't like getting tagged as a winger. He would be far worse for him to be tagged as a half-back, because then you've got to create the play.
Isaac Quano kicks the Pies to the wing. Lipinski robes the pack. Handball to the goal kicker, Elliott. Handball too hot for Harvey Harrison. Out of play. Of course, the Cameron you're speaking about there is Jeremy.
Yeah.
Darcy Cameron with a couple of disposals and a number of hit-outs to start this game. So Geelong, the first 3 goals of the game, inside 4 minutes. From that point on, the Pies have kicked the next 4. They lead by 7.
Interesting start to Friday night footy. Pies by 7, as Ben mentioned. Boundary throw in. Dangerfield can't take it clean. Slips down to Bowes. Hand pass out wide for De Koning. Tries to get a handball back inboard. Crisp knocks it over his head, but straight the Cats' way. Bowes. Hand pass forward to Dempsey. Handball out to Dangerfield. Against the boundary line on the wing. Kicks down to half forward. Neil the target. Markov spoils it away. Hits the deck. Frampton for Collingwood now. Handball back to Markov. Oh, good chase there from Stengel. Forces the error on the kick. And instead it's Close who marks it. 25 metres out, just left of centre. There were 3 Collingwood players there. And the pressure applied to the kick of Markov forces the error.
That's what you've got to do when you're a small forward. You obviously want to kick the goals, but when your time comes, you've got to bring that heat. Stengel affected the kick. It's a huge kick for Brad Close, just to give the Cats a little bit of a settler heading into the quarter-time break.
They kicked 3 goals for their first 10 disposals. They haven't added one since, and that won't change here. Close misses near side. Collingwood by 6 points at quarter time. And who'd have thought that after the first 11 disposals of the game? Collingwood found themselves 18 behind. They're now 6 on top at quarter time. It's the Magpies 4-5-29. They've settled here. Geelong 3-5-23. The goal kickers in that opening term, 1 for Sean Manor, he kicked the opener of the game after 40 seconds, 2 for Shannon Neal, while for Collingwood, we got 1 each down the page. Lipinski, Jamie Elliott, a superb goal. Bit of individual work, breaking up the switch, and then was able to follow up as it ball hit the ground and then finished on the run from 40 out. 1 for Richards and 1 for Hoskin Elliott, who has started well. It is Collingwood and Geelong Friday night footy on ABC Sport, and appropriately we've got the 3-time Premiership captain Cameron Ling, and the coaching icon, Collingwood Premiership coach Mick Malthouse, with their thoughts coming up in just a moment here on ABC Sport.
So what's the most entertaining thing about sport?
All the stuff that goes on beyond the final whistle, of course.
Correct. In a brand new show, Tony Armstrong and Catherine Murphy go deep into the weekend's biggest stories with special guests and self-confessed fanatics.
Join us for the weekend that was in sport.
Heads up for Monday's Experts.
That's us, Tony.
Of course it is.
I knew that.
Monday's Experts, 9:35 Monday nights on ABC TV and streaming on ABC iView. This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match
match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
No ball. He goes again at ground level. He's wrapped up immediately. Umpire says holding the ball. Free kick to Geelong. They come away with it. The shot on goal is through. Manners kicked it. 40 out on the run. A dream start for the men in hoops.
Catch straight out of the middle again. Dangerfield with that burst speed to the top of the goal square. Spills through to Neal. Pops it through. It's taken less than 40 seconds on the game clock, and the Cats have kicked the first two of the game.
Kick short inside 50. Elliott gathers on the half volley. Slick handball to Lipinski. Curls it through. A much-needed hard starter for the Pies. Late arriving, they're here now. Their first of the evening. He'll kick out in front. Here of Richards, bouncing ball, half-board it, finally sits, looks at the goals, eyes the goals, and kicks a great goal. One finger up to celebrate, and the Pies are moving now.
Handball along, kicks inside 50, getting back. Oh, Kolajasny spills a mark. He should have taken. Hoskin Elliott scoops it up and makes him pay. And like a microcosm of their season, Geelong have given up their early start. Dempsey back to Tui. Tui goes long to Guthrie in a one-on-one. Jamie Elliott breaks it up. Keeps his feet. Ball hits the deck. Elliott's onto it. Shoots goalward. Jamie Elliott! A superb moment.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Oh, he showed Collingwood fans what they've been missing. Jamie Elliott with a goal on his return, his first game since round 8. It is the Magpies by 6 points at quarter time. Your thoughts on the SMS 0437 774 774. Zach Tui misses that tackle. He's doing special comments with the ABC. It makes you guys look soft. From Luca at Port Adelaide. He's our man, Zach Tui. We're very defensive of him. Enjoying the call, guys. Listening poolside from a glorious morning in Santorini from Giard. Nice to hear from you. And from Frank in Winthrop, listening to the game on the ABC Listen app, running around Piney Lakes in Western Australia from Frank. Nice to hear from you. So out for a little trot on it'd be earlier on a Friday evening there, wouldn't it? But entertaining start. The thoughts of Cameron Ling and Mick Moldhouse. It is Collingwood by 6 points at quarter time.
Well, what a start by the Cats, Mick. It was unbelievable. Those first 3 goals, great centre clearances. The ball was flying around in that forward line. But I wonder if we could look at the stats, Mick, and just exclude the first, let's say, 6-7 minutes, because the Cats still looked dangerous up to that point. I reckon from that point onwards, if we saw where Geelong got their entries, because they still ended the quarter, with 15 inside 50s, but I reckon a big chunk of those were just inside 50, maybe at 49, 48 metres, especially after that 7-minute mark of the quarter. And the amount of times that Collingwood were able to win the ball across there and then flip it back the other way. And, gee, Collingwood looked dangerous when they went forward. They had options everywhere.
Lingy, I know this sounds strange, but I'm not used to watching Geelong not have Hawkins leading at them.
Yep.
And Cameron not being involved. Now, right now, we know Hawkins is not playing, but his replacements kicked 2 goals, but they were deep.
Yep.
And Cameron, to this moment, still hasn't touched the football, which was quite remarkable because he was slid around with 3 different opponents that I saw, but he never ventured any higher than, say, 20 or 30 metres out. He'd come out once, but for him to get in the game and to give Collingwood a little bit of heartache, he has to come up the ground because right now they're getting smashed across the half-forward line. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to get every football, but what he is, he's going to drag someone up there with him and someone else is going to drag back. Right now, Collingwood's team are cutting holes through the corridor and streaming into that forward line. Geelong can't go with them.
No, and some of Geelong's decision-making has not been great. I mean, you highlighted a couple of kicks from Zach Tui, and it certainly turned it over and it ended up with that Jamie Elliott goal. But even another time, I think it was Shannon Neal marked a nice big strong mark in the middle of the ground from a kick-out and just wheeled and went and kicked the ball to about 55, 60 out from goal. And it was Tyson Stengel against Darcy Moore and 2 other Collingwood defenders as a high ball. Well, that's immediately going to be turned over. So if Geelong are going to get over the line against a good Collingwood team, their decision-making has got to be better than what it was throughout that first quarter. On the flip side, Collingwood are able to make such great proactive decisions on the back of, again, a superb quarter footy from Nick Dacos. He's had the 3 clearances, 11 disposals. But it's his movement around the stoppages and the confidence that he's going to win it. Other players can just go bang.
Mentioned that 5-hour planning meeting during the week Chris got for Nick Dacos. He's had 11 in that opening term. Into quarter number 2 we go. Collingwood by 6 points. Dangerfield hunting out after it. Puts his head over it and earns a free kick. Against side bottom, took him front on. Hand pass away to Stewart. Kicks inside 50 to Cameron. Well, there's the Stars combining for Geelong. It's Dangerfield to Stewart to Cameron, and his first touch coming up is a shot at goal in the left forward pocket.
And Frampton's on him, so I'll say he's one of the 3, maybe 4 players that have played on him so far. Going right foot.
First minute of the second quarter. Cameron's first touch is a goal.
I reckon they're going to look at that.
There was a appeal on the line for a touch on the way through. Cameron hasn't gone up. Moore's claiming he touched it. The goal umpire says to the field umpire, I need to have an extra look at that, and the camera on the goal line.
Darcy has touched it, but it is over the line. When he did touch it, the soft call is a behind, I was seeing on our screens, but I think that'll be overturned by the replay we're watching.
Yep, all the balls over all the line, and we can see a bit of daylight before it touches the fingertips of Darcy Moore. So just waiting on the confirmation from the arc. But after going in at quarter time with donuts next to his name, Jeremy Cameron.
The goal line before being touched. Decision on the scoreboard.
Starts his night with a goal early in the second quarter. Geelong 4-5-29, Collingwood 4-5-29. Scores a level again, 90 seconds into the second term. Cameron Lang and Mick Moldhouse on ABC Sport.
If I can just say one thing about that, Lingy, just on that, I'm disappointed in Geelong's case that someone wasn't on the line backing back into Moore. Clearly he's the only player that could have touched that. Gary Rowan's not only in front of him, he's a body length off him. You've got to protect the goal line. You've got to protect that 1 or 2 inches.
Well, the one player who's 203 centimetres with a giant leap, Darcy Moore, you think, if I can just lock his body down, maybe I risk a Quainer trying to touch it, who's obviously a foot shorter.
Exactly. Yeah. Look, it was a good goal, don't get me wrong, but I still think that there was no switch on down there to think, well, this might just get over the line. He's a left footer kicking right foot, so there's no guarantees.
He did boot 7 in their last meeting. Got the 2 Brownlow votes on that occasion. A little bit stiff there, perhaps. Restart in the middle. Both rucks miss it. Whistle on the play. Free kick. Going the way of the Cats.
That's just a bad bounce.
Sam de Koning with it. Drives it for the Cats. Long inside 50. Neil launching at it. Hands to it. Doesn't mark. Comes down for Cameron at ground level. Gets a kick away into the pocket. Bouncing ball. Hoskin Elliott there for the Pies. Handball misses Nick Dacos. Crisp will go and get it. He'll soccer it forward. Straight to Sam de Koning. Mongrel punt back inside attacking 50. Off hands. It spills for the Pies.
Markov, hand pass away to Hoskin Elliott. He's had a good start for Collingwood. Kicks down the boundary line. Hill, no mark. Falls off his chest, and Nick Dacos just soccers it 50 metres further afield. Up into the front half for Collingwood. Schultz collects, shoved out of bounds. And a throw in between wing and half forward for the Pies.
Yeah, that's the way to get distance. There's no need always to have to pick the football up. As long as you can control the football, that's gone the length of the centre square. So we're looking at 50-plus metres. Now Collingwood are in a good position.
Particularly into a forward line, Mick, where Kruger's their only big, so they're a little small tonight, Collingwood. Up front, keep the ball low to ground from the boundary throw in. Cameron wins it down. Crisp hand pass back to Cameron. He's met front on.
Yeah. Had to be there. I think it was Paddy Dangerfield just came in. Got him right in the top of the noggin.
Darcy Cameron takes it by hand away towards Josh Dacos. Gives it to his little brother. Kicks back to the hot spot. Kruger leaping for it. No mark. Slips down towards Schultz. On his knees. Hand pass out for Collingwood. Live footy. 15 out from goal. Kolodjasny met heavily. Pat Fon's behind him. He's getting a free. He was taken high in all of that. It was the contact that came in from... in fact, it was the late tackle. I think he's penalised. Lipinski coming over the top with the front-on tackle. So free kick for Kolodjasny at full-back for Geelong.
Where's Stewart playing, Lingy? Because those Geelong players, all they did was just look around at each other.
Jack Henry in the back pocket. Long kick for the Cats up to the wing. Moore launching out a couple of bites. Doesn't complete the mark. Hoskinello picks it up. Loses it. Stengel. Quick kick around the corner. Pies back with it through Markov. His little dribble kick goes straight to Stengel. Off to Tui, and he'll snap. Geelong around the wing, a bouncing ball. Cameron gathers on the bounce, gets a handball away to Rowan. Forward of the wing, kicks long inside 50. Back leading is Neil, bouncing ball in the pocket. Can't run it in. Trying to come deep inside the attacking 50 for Geelong. Scores level, nearly 5 played second term. Hot game, Friday night footy.
It looks like Stewart's definitely still on the ball, Mick.
Well, I just think it's a waste of time. He's just not getting enough of the football.
Duncan still marshalling the troops in the back six for Geelong. Boundary throw in. This is inside Collingwood's forward 50. Darcy Cameron. It's Geelong's forward 50. Darcy Cameron wins it down. Maynard Sockers to centre half back, and another Soccer attempt. Hoskin Elliott off the ground up to the wing. De Koning for Geelong. Hand pass to Jack Henry. Handball goes back to Tui. Greasy, sort of dewy footy, picked up by Tui. Kicks down to half forward. Backpedaling his blitz halves. No mark. Falls to Markov. He's tackled. Taken the ground and the ball up 55 out from the Geelong goal. They're kicking to the city end of this second term. Scores are level again, 29 apiece, 5.5 gone, second quarter.
So I'll harp on it, but Collingwood have got genuine midfielders.
Yeah.
And Stewart's not a genuine midfielder, and he's not a massive ball getter.
Free kick from the ball up.
Off the ball, Dacos' ball.
Been busy early. Nick Dacos running up a tally again. Disposal number 14 coming up. We're 6 minutes into the second term. High ball to the logo. Massive pack forms. No one able to mark it. Suckered forward by Kruger. Towards half forward for the Pies. Arriving Kolajasny for the Cats. Picks it up. Runs into trouble. Just gets a handball away to Stewart. Tackled quickly. Josh Dacos has got him. Umpire wants to ball it up between wing and half forward for the Pies. And scores level 6 into the second.
Is that Schultz down there?
Yeah.
You seen the glasses? Yeah, just copped one. He saw, but he's going to get up and jog away. Going the forward line for the Pies.
Up it goes. Darcy Cameron wins it down to Bowes. Hand pass going forward. Manor Sockers at another 10 metres further afield. Nick Dacos collects. He's got one arm being held in the tackle. He's in trouble holding the ball.
Okay, so can I comment on this? There's no prior opportunity there. So are we asking Nick to just drop it?
He's done his hamstring. Grabbed his left hamstring there, Nick Dacos.
I reckon he might have hurt his hamstring.
He's standing right in front of the benches. He's grabbed his left hamstring twice. So just on that scenario, Close lays the tackle, had one arm pinned, and Dacos was on his knees, penalised holding the ball. Cats go deep inside 50. Cameron grabs it, shakes the tackle, kicks his second. Jeremy Cameron didn't have a single touch in the opening quarter, and he burst to life in the second term. He's had 4 disposals in 7 minutes and kicked 2 goals. Cats back on top. Geelong 5-5-35, Collingwood 4-5-29. The premier player in the game, Nick Dacos, a close watch. Lauren Borden's on the boundary, Loz.
I've just watched him after you mentioned he touched his left hamstring. He's probably touched it another 2 or 3 times as he's made his way into the centre of the ground. Looked up to the sky a little bit just to sigh a bit in frustration, but he's chatting to the physios at the moment.
I just wonder whether he got a knock on it, because there it is, knee. We've got a knee right on the top of the hamstring by Close. If you have a look at that, we slow that down. There's no question it's a bruise. Oh, well, it's a corky. Now, yeah. But with corkies, when your muscle is strained like that, sometimes you can actually get a little bit of a tweak.
At risk.
Yeah. But that's what he's got, though.
I hate that being called a free kick too, Mick. I've got to say.
Yeah.
We're asking out of the middle.
Drop it. Out of the middle go the Cats. Stewart shoveling a handball forward. Onto it, Noble, and nowhere to go. Ball up.
So if he just puts that on the ground, the umpire is meant to call play on.
Because he hasn't had prior opportunity yet. That's asking him to do something ridiculous foreign to the game.
Yeah, and imagine the reaction from the crowd. Everyone would go ballistic if he just threw it on the ground.
And I bet you, if he threw it on the ground, I reckon there'd be a risk that they'd pay it as dropping the ball. Yes. It shouldn't be.
Yep.
Geelong get it moving forward again. Gary Rowan half forward, back to goal. Hooks over his shoulder. High ball into the forward pocket. Cameron's there. Moore punches it away. Spills to Pendlebury for the Pies. Handball towards Maynard. Slaps it on cleverly. Josh Dacos wide out on the boundary line. Kicks on his left boot up towards the wing. Schultz can't gather it. Sockers it out. And a throw in alongside the interchange gates. Yeah. Cats by 6 points. Mick Malthouse, Cameron Ling.
Yeah, putting for a free kick there was Humphries, but there's no way that was it bounced before. I'm with you. We should talk about that at half time. That sort of free kick. It's not a good look.
Boundary throw in. Blitz ups, wins the hit out for Geelong. Scooped up by Nick Dacos, who's straight back out there. Hand pass away to Noble. Handball away towards Josh Dacos. He hooks a kick up into the front half. Long and Stewart fly for the footy. Ball spills down to Kolajasny. Handball a turnover. Long for Collingwood. Hand pass back to Nick Dacos. Hand pass out in front of Elliott. He's taken without the ball. Free kick for Elliott.
That's a substitute for pace there by Zach Tui.
Yeah.
He knew he couldn't get him. So it's a professional free kick, but nonetheless it's now giving Collingwood the football. Now they're only 50 metres out.
He goes wide with a kick to Josh Dacos. Man on the mark stands almost right on the blue paint for the 50. get down to Loz in just a moment too. We'll be able to fill us in as to exactly what happened with Nick Dacos, but he's back out there now, that corky in his hamstring. Josh Dacos to the hot spot, punched away close to the boundary line till he's tackled out of bounds by Richards. Loz.
Dacos ended up staying on. He stayed in the centre square and had a conversation with the physios and stayed on. It's a concern for Geelong actually on the bench. Shannon Neals had to go down into the rooms. A few people have followed after him. Looks like he copped a knock to the throat.
Yeah, he got crunched in a marking contest, Loz, when it led to that Jeremy Cameron goal.
4:50 stoppage for the Pies. Cameron laying it down, bending over and picking it up. Blitzarves worried out of it. Richards coming through. Blitzarves knocks it out. And then quickly another ball up.
So were you saying because of his corky on his left hammy, he's at more risk of doing a soft tissue injury?
Well, you can, because its blood goes into it. Depends how hard. Look, if he's copped a decent knock, that's you're more vulnerable because your muscle fills up with. When you get a bruise, you bleed.
Is it a risk putting him straight back out?
Oh no, I don't think so. No. If only if you're prone to that sort of stuff.
There he is again, trying to come through, win the tap, or receive the tap from Cameron, and get a third ball up. It's going nowhere.
Atkins is certainly doing work on him though.
Yeah, he's being warned by Atkins, and then another Geelong player's got. And he should get a free kick here. High contact.
Advantage applied. Richards racing away, kicks the goal. Free kick of the stoppage. Umpire blew his whistle. Everyone stopped, and Richards hooks through his second of the night. We're level again, as we've been so often through the first quarter and a half. Collingwood 5-5-35, Geelong 5-5-35. Fascinating Friday night encounter on ABC Sport. Nick Moldhouse, Cameron Lee.
Sorry to jump when I jumped in there, Corbs. So it's happening off the ball. Atkins is putting a whole lot of work into Nick Dacos, but Dacos continue to move through that stoppage. Lawson Humphreys tried to help, as Geelong players trying to do. Got Dacos high, clearly high, free kick. The umpire blew the whistle, and Richards took the advantage and finished nicely, but it's the threat of Nick Dacos that is causing so much havoc at the moment. Brilliant player. We're all watching his hammy where he copped the corky, but Geelong players, they've got more to worry about than his hammy. He's dominant at the moment.
Bounce back in the middle. Blitzarves and also Cameron. It spills down back to Cameron. There's a whistle on the play somewhere. It'll come back and go to Dacos again. Nick Dacos, disposal number 6 in the quarter coming up. He's running rampant at the moment. 17 for the match. High ball to full forward for the Pies. No one able to mark. Lipinski roves the pack. Handball out to Josh Dacos in the pocket. Left foot kick. Hard up against the boundary line. It's out on the full. Very nearly. It would have been in the name had he kicked it. He's done a marvel at those, we know. Scores level. 13 minutes played in the second term. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
The Cats with the footy, swing it across the goal face. Guthrie marks and then goes short to Duncan. The two-time premiership Cat wanted to come back out the northern side. Collingwood well set up here. Duncan some indecision and eventually goes across the ground to Humphreys. Played in a premiership reserves level for Swan Districts in the WAFL last September, and now in the big time on the G. Goes short to Dangerfield. Short kick broken up by Noble. Loose footy hits the deck. Humphreys has got it. Tackled by Richards. Ball up.
Brilliant work, Noble and Richards. The combination. Dangerfield's kick just hung it up a little bit long. The spoil came in and then they swarmed all over it. That's the Collingwood play that made them the premiers last year, right across the ground.
14 minutes gone, second quarter. Scores level at the G. Bowes desperate, whacks it forward, but straight to Josh Dacos. Hand pass to Darcy Cameron. He can't trap it cleanly. He's tackled to ground by Dangerfield, and there's a free kick. It's a throw going against Darcy Cameron. Free kick, Cats at half-back. Scores level. 14 gone, second term.
There's no real movement with the Cats at the moment, Lingy. They're very... When Collingwood move it, they're moving it quick. But Geelong are moving it into a wall, and now they're going to go around the Cape, and if they have another target, all they do is play in the hands of Collingwood. It keeps the ball basically in the front half.
Geelong complete the switch. Ends up with Kolodziejny, half-back flank on the southern side of the ground. Goes short to Holmes.
That's a fourth kick, and they got the ball to the wing, which is not much different when it was in front of us here.
On the centre line,
I reckon they just...
on the 45 to Duncan.
They don't want to turn it over at half-forward, Nick. That's the threat for them.
Kicks towards centre-half forward, and Dangerfield just impeded. He'll get a free kick. Mark set on the attacking edge of the square. Long into the pocket. Cameron's down there. So too Darcy Cameron, who punches it away from his namesake. Out of play. And a throw in the left forward pocket for the Cats. Scores level, 15 minutes played, second term Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Remember, Lingy, in the pre-game, Scott Pendlebury, about the chaos and the pressure.
Yep.
That's how you'll know it's a Collingwood game. We've seen a bit of that you referenced.
We certainly have. And the Cats don't want to turn it over too far out from goal.
Boundary throw in from the stoppage. Stengel got a kick away, smothered. Ricochets out to Clark. Hand pass to Rowan. Half forward for Geelong. Handball to Humphreys. Greasy footy, can't collect it, eventually does. Hand pass to Close. Hooks it back to the hot spot. And Darcy Cameron is back there to take the intercept mark for Collingwood. Immediately they want to go. Hand pass to Noble. Kicks out wide to Harrison. Slips over but marks. Moves it quickly to Quaynor. Pies off half-back. Gives it to Josh Dacos. Kicks for DeGoey, who takes the mark defensive side of the wing. Scores level at the G. 16 gone second term. Long kick from DeGoey to Bobby Hill in a one-on-one. Brings it to ground in front of Guthrie. Shoved out of bounds. Umpire says boundary throw in between wing and half forward for Collingwood. Lauren Borden on the boundary.
It's good news for Geelong fans. Shannon Neal's just come back up the race. He's getting ready to go on as soon as he can if the play comes to this side of the ground.
It's been a hot game of footy.
Yeah.
Straight out of the gates.
Cameron and DeConing. Darcy Cameron lays it down for DeGoey. He's wrenched off it there by Dangerfield. No free kick. Umpire lets them rumble. Bose picks it up for the Cats. Kicks around the southern wing in the Stengel direction. Markov out the back. Picks it up for the Pies. Handball to Quaynor. Handball to Moore. Handball to Josh Dacos. Running down that southern wing. Gives it to side bottom. Loses possession of the footy. Loose ball inside the centre square. Pendlebury pinches it. Handball to Crisp. He slaps it on. DeGoey coming through. He's clean. Looks inside 50. Elliott slides into mark.
Just too clean, Collingwood at the moment. Really one touch. Sharing the ball. They're carrying, and this might sound strange, they're carrying the ball without taking steps. What they're doing is one in the hands, out of the hands, in the hands, out of the hands. Geelong are caught in between the tackler and the ball getter, and that's why they're able to get the last player out. In this case, it was DeGoey. So really good with their hand supplies.
Slide angle to the right. Mark set 40 metres out. Elliott comes in. His drop punt is pretty good off the boot. Doesn't have the journey on it. Slapped through on the line. So a minor score is enough to hand the Pies the lead. 5-6-36 plays 5-5-35, 17 and a half into this second term.
We've only had one lead change tonight after Geelong got out of the hot start and Collingwood have mowed them back. But the score has been level on 5 different occasions since the start. So since the scoring started, 5 different times has it come back to be all even. Collingwood by 1 point here, 18 gone in the second term. The Cats kicking it around the defensive arc, and now the exiting kick from Holmes up to the wing for Dempsey. And the bright pink boots, one of the All-Australian, the Rising Star fancies more so. Hand pass out towards Duncan, handball back towards Dempsey, left it behind, side bottom intercepts, Collingwood back the other way. Short kick to Lipinski, handball inside to Chris. Tackled, dispossessed. Long puts his head over it. Geelong with some numbers. Humphreys extracts it, gives it to Stewart, kicks down for Dempsey at half forward.
Bouncing ball, side bottom, slaps it over his head. Getting involved Myers. Now loose footy. Dangerfield makes it his. Wins it. Half forward for the Cats. Kicks towards full forward. Needs a mark. No one can mark it. Close is there. Rove snaps. Goals. And Geelong snatch back the lead through Brad Close. They lead it by 5 points. 6-5-41 plays 5-6-36. 18 minutes played in the second term. Mick Malthouse, Cameron Ling.
Everything is earned.
Yeah.
There's no freebies, Lingy. That's what we come to, is see a great game of football. Two sides. I think it's Collingwood ninth. I think that belies the fact that they're really a top 4 side.
When they play like this, this is actually finals footy we're watching right now.
Yeah, too right.
Both, every single little ball is crucial. There's good pressure from both teams. Geelong's pressure's gone up a notch, but Collingwood were handling it really well and getting through cleanly, as you said. On this occasion, Geelong, a couple of clean touches. They get a goal out of it. Yeah, this is our first look at a bit of finals footy, I think, Mick. Still 6 or 7 weeks out.
I'm just looking at Stewart's 2-1. Just not the Geelong stuff that we know that where he plays his best footy.
The last two premiers putting it on show as a hurried kick forward from the Cats, picked off by Harrison. Kicks out wide. Clark drops the mark, follows up. Now bangs it deep forward for Geelong. Moore punches it away for Collingwood. Wants the boundary line close, runs out of room, trying to keep it alive. And Markov shoves him over the white line. Boundary throw in forward pocket for Geelong.
The players who are getting the ball for Collingwood are the main players. They're the ones they want the ball in their hand. And if Geelong, I know Geelong are in front, but their midfield is the one that's got to get into the game. Otherwise, they will be, well, they'll get torched at the right time.
Frampton trying to take it out of the ruck. Loses possession of the footy, picking it up side bottom. Nowhere to go. Anywhere fast, holding the ball.
I can't have this. So because Steele side bottom has got one arm free, umpire is saying, regardless of prior opportunity, you've got to get rid of the ball.
That counts as your prior. If you've got an arm free...
Well, you're going to find players who are going to throw it. They're going to put it on the ground. They're going to put the ball straight to the ground.
And even pretend to swing a leg at it. I think that's what we're asking them to do.
Basically,
and just drop it.
Yep. And we remember that Elliot Yeo moment against North Melbourne late in the piece, got tackled, and basically they said in that instance he should have just left it, dropped it on the ground.
Well, I reckon he got his boot at it anyway. So
Brian Myers, the beneficiary, comes in and slots it. Unwraps an absolute gift. And Geelong lead by 11 points. 7-5-47 plays, 5-6-36. 21 minutes into the second term. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Lauren Borden before Mick Malthouse and Cameron Ling.
I've just been watching Nick Dacos since he came to the bench. He didn't indicate to any club doctors or physios that he wanted any help, so he should be okay to go. The doctor has gone out to Jai Clark a couple of times from Geelong just to check on him on the field, so he's not pulling him off, but he has gone after him and made a beeline for him at the end of just following the goal.
Thanks for that, Loz. So effectively on those holding the balls, what they are now saying, and a lot of players watch the Friday night game to get a gauge of what's going to happen over the course of the weekend. If you're one arm free, almost immediately just drop the footy. Drop the footy. You don't even really need to make an effort. It's just, you haven't had prior opportunity. We're going to pay a free kick if you hold on to that and also just drop it.
Yeah. And players now are becoming very accustomed to grabbing one arm. And don't let that arm go.
Bose with the centre break. Hurried kick to Myers. Marks front edge of the square. Looks for Stengel. Kicks it over his head. Ball hits the deck. Inside 50 for the Cats. Rowan left it behind. Frampton looking for a stoppage. He's locked up. Umpire says, I'll have it. 15 out from the Geelong goal.
That's right, Mick. Players will adapt quickly and go, I'll just grab the one arm because I might get a holding the ball out of this. So maybe players adjust and just start dropping it, but I don't like that being what they've got to do.
Darcy Cameron palms it down. Josh Dacos collects for Collingwood. Hand pass to Crisp. Kicks to half back. Taken though by Bose. Gives it to Myers. Short kick finds close. Told to keep moving. 35 out. Jams it on the boot. Kicks goalward. Misses the whole set.
All right, if you're keeping track, two players over the course of the weekend, they're going to be hot on the 15-metre kick rules.
Well, some 15-metre.
Geelong by 11.
Well, there it is. They've called it again.
23 gone, second term.
Noble short to Dacos. That's Nick who gives it back to Noble, who gives it to Josh Dacos. A little fumble picked up by Bose, and Noble worries him out of it. Out of play, thrown to come.
Well, this is... I'm going to repeat this. Lynn, you can correct me on this one, but I cannot see an extra Geelong play behind, which is normally a Stewart. He's off the ball now, Stewart. He's still at the stoppage, but you don't think he's going to put his head right over. He's just going to stand and protect the back half of the stoppage.
But the trouble is he leaves and then they're wide open to go out the front, which they nearly did.
Nearly did through Nick Dacos, but he overran it. Picked up by Bose. His quick kick marked by Josh Dacos. Pies back in possession.
Kicks it to Goey, who marks on the logo. Got it. Broadcast wing or member side where we're situated. Northern side of the G. Short kick to Bobby Hill. Marks between wing and half forward. Closes to 55 out. Shanks the kick. And Max Holmes, who's dropping back in the hole, takes the intercept mark.
Yeah, that's a poor kick by Hill. Mind you, he didn't have a lot of spare targets. Collingwood players were right up the ground protecting that back half. I think they're trying to stop the next goal and just see if they can bring it back a bit. They've only kicked the 1-4 this quarter.
Well, Stewart gets 2 touches in the back half and then picks off a dangerous ball, trying to link up with Duncan. Turnover. Noble centre half forward, gives it to Long, kicks inside 50 and Crisp marks. 40 metres out, slightly left of centre. And the error coming out of defence from Tom Stewart will result in a Collingwood shot at goal.
It was a risky kick. Watching that on the replay, I think Mitch Duncan's going to mark that.
Oh, he should have. But
he tried to take the Collingwood player's body and then pretty much just completely missed the ball. I know it's a risky kick, and I know Collingwood defended it pretty well, but I think you have to mark that.
Jack Crisp to the goals at the punt road end. The AFL's Iron Man sneaks it through. Back to a one-score game again, where we've been so often tonight. 25 minutes gone, second term. It's been a pulsating Friday night encounter. 7-5-47 Geelong. Collingwood moved to 6-6-42. Cameron Ling, Mick Moldhouse on ABC Sport.
Lingy, I don't want to harp on Stewart, but you know his personality better than me, but when he was starting getting tagged as a half-back, his confidence just dropped right out. Now he's in the middle, and that kick, now, admittedly we say he should have been marked, but he'll see a goal come from that. Will that dent his confidence? Is he a confidence player, or will he be able to grunt that and get through it?
No, he's not someone who can ebb and flow that much with the confidence.
Right,
he gets grumpy if he makes a mistake. His intensity is enormous out there, so he will want to make up for it. But no, he'll still bite off that kick.
And as we said about that stoppage of him, he was through the stoppage and left his man on the other side, so he will pay a penalty.
Here is Stewart out of the middle for the Cats, kicks into the pocket, looking for a marker in Stengel, unable to take it. More spoils coming through. Harrison wrapped up immediately, and a ball up the left forward pocket here for the Cats.
That's a good example of Dempsey looking after an opponent. He could have slung him there. Really good play.
Cameron wins the tap. That's Darcy Cameron for the Pies. Spills out towards Nick Dacos under pressure. Gets it away to side bottom. Pies in their back pocket. Harrison with a long kick up towards the wing. Kruger and Stewart both with hands on it. Spills out the back to Jack Henry. Rolled in the tackle by Schultz. And a ball up, southern side of the ground. Cats lead it by 5 points. 26 minutes into the second.
Had a hot start to the night. First 10 disposals for Geelong resulted in 3 goals before Collingwood had a disposal out of the hand. Ball up on the wing here. Nick Dacos, hand pass to Crisp. Handball away to side bottom. He gives it to Noble. Back edge of the centre square. Kicks out the broadcast wing. Scooped up by Hill. On the bounce. He steps around Humphreys. Puts on the Jets. Kicks inside 50. Elliott leaps for it. Kolodjasny spoils. Down into the path of Stewart. And he kicks inside the centre square. And Myers marks for Geelong.
Goes for a little canter. Pokes a kick to just grass. No one there. And the Pies will run onto it through Quaynor.
That was 4 Collingwood players there. 4 Collingwood players. I don't know what.
Nick Dacos gets involved. Gives it back to Quaynor. Runs past the centre line. Kick smothered. Ricochets to Markov. Now he's under the pump. Picks it up. Tackled by Myers. Umpire wants to come in to sort it out between wing and half forward here for the Pies southern side.
Yeah, you can't afford to fumble the football, nor doubt how quickly players can make up ground when both players made mistakes, but it's a neutral football in the end.
Cats by 5 approaching half time. Blitzarps wins the hit out. Ball comes back to him and he's locked up on that southern wing.
So Collingwood have got the +1 and Geelong, it is Stewart behind the ball.
Darcy Cameron pumps it down to Markov. He's tackled on the wing.
Yeah, I reckon in the last probably 2-3 minutes, Mick, Stewart's just drifted back there.
So they put a forward up to be on the ball and Stewart just drops back. OK, that gives Collingwood no target.
Ball up again. Repeat stoppages as inadvertently socketed by DeConey out of bounds. Ump says throw it in between wing and half forward for the Pies. Story of the night. So first 3 goals for Geelong. They led by 18 points after 4 minutes. Collingwood worked their way back. It was level on 5 different occasions. The Pies led by 7 themselves, and now Geelong winning the quarter 4-2. They're up by 5 points in the game. Geelong 29 played second term.
Darcy Cameron, beautiful tap down for the goey. There's a whistle somewhere in amongst all of that.
That was a ruck infringement going to Collingwood.
Yeah, so it'll come back to Darcy Cameron.
All over his shoulder.
Even though he's infringed, still was able to put it on a platter for the goey. Now takes his kick to Markov.
Darcy Cameron's drifted forward here.
Gives it the Babe Ruth. Points long, goes into the pocket towards Darcy Cameron. Big pack forms Nick Dacos. Ends up with him. Handball errant gathered by Holmes. He was caught holding the ball. Umpire says you took the advantage. Side bottom drops the mark. Centre half forward for the Pies. Frampton picks it up, gives it back to side bottom. Kicks inside 50. Schultz swivels, snaps, misses.
These umpires are having a howler. Oh, sorry, but deep in defence, and there's been a quick whistle and someone hacks the ball out the split second the free kick is paid. That's not advantage.
No, not at all.
6-7 to 7-5. It is Geelong by 4 points. Half-hour mark, second term.
And don't worry, both ways has been the howler.
Yeah. At the Wolves half-back, Geelong knock it forward through Myers. Humphreys hand pass away to Dempsey. He's off and running. 2 bounces. Gives a handball over to Dangerfield. Kicks inside 50 and Stengel marks. How about that for a bit of transition work from the Cats from half-back down to half-forward?
I don't think he's too far out. Yeah. He's not a long kick.
Forward 50 fills up now. Man on the mark's about 48 out.
Yeah, he's going to have to kick from 50. It's going to be just watching the goal square. It's well covered, so he hasn't got a lot of options. Now he's the only option really he's got. So there's no big Hawkins leading at him. Cameron's not moving, so he's compelled to kick this.
Took his full 30 seconds late in quarter number 2. Stengel from right on 50. A premiership and all-Australian small forward. He's drop punt, sails right to the goal line. It's there, but it's off target. This is near side. They're behind. Geelong back out by 5 points. 31 gone second quarter. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Noble brings it in quickly. Up to Bobby Hill. Marks it. The half-back flank for Collingwood. Chips it infield short for Crisp.
They play on well. Collingwood really move that ball from fullback. They don't give you too many chances.
Crisp driving ball around the wing. Punched away by Duncan. Comes down. Clever tap there from Bobby Hill. Taps it down towards Schultz. Handball looking for Hoskin Elliott. Spills to Harvey Harrison. He'll kick the Pies into the pocket. Elliott goes up. Roving Hoskin Elliott. Loops the handball over the top. Knocked on by Long. Getting across Jack Henry. Spills out towards Elliott again. Wrenched off the footy. Came off his boot. Not deliberately. It just landed on his boot. Dribbled towards goal. And hit the post.
Was it his boot?
Might have
or
hit Stewart's boot. Yeah.
Might have been Stewart.
They came off the studs of a boot. Trickled into the post. And they lead it by 4 points, Geelong.
Could have been a contender for accidental goal of the year.
Could have been, yeah.
There was Stewart's boot.
See that in the world, in the
Euros.
Euros, yeah.
Is it coming home, Mick, or?
Well, what do you mean coming home? It's between England and Spain. So I mean, so where do you come from?
I've got an English grandmother, Mick. So
goes long down the line to Tui.
He spoke Spanish.
The mark's in front of the bench. Kicks down to Neil. Strong pack mark with Frampton coming back at him, and Neil's got it. 70 out at half forward. Inside the final 30 seconds of the first half. Hand pass away to Dangerfield. Dragged down as he kicks right to the behind line. Hands on it from Markov. No mark. Hits the deck and Moore hits it at speed. And then just hooks his kick out wide in front of the interchange. Bobby Hill, the target, slides out of bounds. Not a bad result for the Pies with 11 ticks left on the clock before the break.
Being close to the bench, this boundary throw-in, I think both coaches would just be yelling, or both benches would just be yelling, settle it down, lock it down. I think both teams happily, with the last 10 seconds, get into the break. No mistakes.
Cats by 4 points. 33-minute mark. Quarter number 2 from the boundary throw-in. Atkins gets a hand pass out to Coney. Soccers it away, out of bounds. Umpire says insufficient intent. Free kick for the Pies. There's 1 second left. That'll do us. It's half-time as Sidebottom sends the ball down the wing. And what an eventful half of footy. To take you through the night, Geelong kicked 3 goals from their first 10 disposals. Collingwood had not had a single touch out of the hand at that stage. They'd had 1 soccer kick and were already 18 points behind. They kicked the last 4 at the term. They led themselves, the Magpies, by 6 points at quarter time. And in that second term, Geelong kicked 4 goals to 2. And it's the Cats who lead it by 4 points at half-time. So Geelong once led by 18, Collingwood once led by 7. At half-time, the Cats by 4 points in a match that has been tied on 5 different occasions since we started. 2 goals for Jeremy Cameron, 2 for Shannon Neal, and then singles for Manor, who kicked the first of the night, 1 for Myers and 1 for Close. While for Collingwood, Joe Richards has 2. Their only multiple goal kicker, singles for Lipinski, Elliott, Crisp and Hoskin Elliott. On the injury front, Shannon Neal did go down the race after getting a whack on the throat at one stage, but he came back out and has played out the remainder of that second quarter, so he's okay. And the biggest name in footy at the moment, the man who polled more votes than anyone and than any second-year player in history last year at the Brownlow Medal, Nick Dacos, copped a cork early in that second term to his left hamstring after he was pinged holding the ball right on the stroke of half-time. We'll get to that in just a moment with Lingy and Mick. He did come back onto the ground moments later and has continued to play out that half of footy. He is the chief Possession winner on the ground with 21 touches to the break, Nick Dacos. Collingwood, though, trail the game. It's Geelong by 4 points at half-time. Friday night footy on ABC Sport with Corbin Middlemass, Ben Cameron, Lauren Borden on the boundary, and the thoughts of our ABC Sport experts, the three-time premiership cat Cameron Ling and the coaching icon Mick Malthouse.
Throwing 8 clearances for Nick Dacos as well. He's had a superb first half despite that little scare with that hammy. Mick, obviously Geelong had the great start to the game, but since then it has been a real finals-like game. There's been ebbs and flows where Collingwood have had real control of the game, then Geelong get it back for a little bit, then Collingwood again. Any fumble is costing you, any little skill error is costing you, and both teams are really high with their pressure. Probably you give the big tick to the Cats when it comes to centre clearances.
Yeah.
That's been giving them the advantage. For Collingwood, the big tick has been when they've been able to turn it over at half-back, and then their counter-attack and their hard run through the middle and linking up. And clever ball use at times has looked like some of their best footy, not quite finishing their work perfectly with their kicking for goal and some of their polish inside forward 50. But both teams have had wins in that first half.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the win for Geelong is to work it, and I know I've harped on this the whole hour, is that Stewart's got, I think, 8 possessions that quarter compared to 2 in the first quarter, mainly because he got it behind the ball. I've watched him closely. I haven't seen a lot of Geelong with him on the ball, but what I've seen, he's not versed in that type of game. He with Dangerfield, Bowes and these sort of players, and Atkins they can do something around there, but he's a goalkeeper at a stoppage, and when you're a goalkeeper and the ball goes past you, you are lost. And Collingwood move the ball very quickly through a stoppage. I know they're getting beaten in numbers on the stoppages, Collingwood, but when they come out of the stoppage, they look really, really clear. And I think that Stewart's best position now is, and if they haven't done their homework now, they should have worked it out that who was going to go to him if he played as a half-back. I cannot see any Collingwood player doing that, given the fact that they've lost Myercheck and Elliott's only first game back, etc., etc. Maybe Geelong just haven't got enough good midfielders. I don't know.
And obviously that's how he ended up there to begin with, wasn't it? Basically opposition coaches were sitting someone on him and he was basically getting tagged.
That's it.
And he was freeing an ability to free himself up a little bit, impact. And Mick's right. When we say goalkeeper, it's basically a sweeper at the stoppage.
Yeah.
Your job as a sweeper is they get tighter into the contest than they have in years gone by, but it is still to keep the stoppage play in front of you.
Yep.
That's your job in that role. If you get too tight to the contest, or in some cases actually think, I'm going to go and win the ball, what you are leaving behind is a big open pocket of space.
And they run through it.
And Collingwood, you're right, Mick, when they've looked dangerous at stoppages has been when they've exited the front of their stoppage. So where the sweeper was or should have been for the Cats, and it's been Stewart. I think you're right. I think towards, let's say, the second half of that second quarter, Mick, Stewart drifted back
absolutely
to half-back and started setting up a little bit more as that loose defender in what we would call his traditional role.
Well, I can only think, it's a traditional move. You settle, your half-forward comes up, becomes a midfielder, you drop out, and what they're trying to say to Collingwood, if you're going to tag Stewart, now you've got to get him as a clear halfback, and when you come to me, I'm going to move into the midfield, into that stoppage, so therefore you're dragged all over the place like a caravan. And I personally think, on a night like this, when Collingwood clearly are just going to run their 6 forwards, for Geelong point of view, Stewart should play back. Collingwood then get the bonus of an extra player back, and then they can set it up through Maynard, even more they can set up through, because there's no real damage being done up there by any one particular player. Cameron kicked 2 that quarter, but for some reason or another they think that Quaynar could do the job on him.
Yeah, from Collingwood's perspective, Mick, the big one for me is I think they are doing a lot right. A lot around stoppages, a lot of winning the ball off half-back. It is simply some of their kicking efficiency has been surprising. Currently, in that first half, they're going at 56%. Now, you aim to go at mid-60s% to have a good game. An outstanding game is about 70%. At 56, it's pretty poor. Now, Geelong's pressure's been okay, but if Collingwood could fix that area of their game up and even just get it up to a a solid kicking efficiency, not a poor one, I think they can get through the Cats a little bit.
So interestingly, their last for disposal efficiency in the last 7 weeks, guys, leading into tonight. Is part of that a personnel thing, that when your top flight players are missing, clearly you're digging deeper in your list?
Of course. They can say what they like about players playing positional football, but put the ball in. Say Dacos doesn't play and you put Harry Khan play there. Okay, well, he knows how to play the position, but you reckon he's going to get the ball 30 times and actually use the ball like Nick Dacos? No, clearly not. The other thing is, too, Ling, those figures, they always bother me because I reckon midfielders get a bum deal because you're under pressure. Yeah. It's a slippery ground. You kick the football out. There was a beautiful kick to sideboard and he fell over. Yep. Now, that's because he slipped. Now, I want to see what they rated that.
Yeah,
because it didn't hit the target.
Yep.
But if he had stood up, I'm not blaming Steele sideboard, so that becomes an effective kick. By not marking it, becomes an ineffective kick. No, look, you only need your eyesight to work these things out, not a number on a screen.
Can we have a little referendum about the holding the ball rule and how we're going with that as a footy community at the moment? So it felt like the flashpoint that came a couple of weeks ago where the attention was turned to the umpires. And then we had all these inconsistencies about how they were adjudicated. Andrew Dillon cleared that up, told us the umpiring's as best it's ever been. We went away from talking about it for about a fortnight, and now it feels like it's been well and truly front and centre tonight. And in particular, the rule where when a player is tackled and has one arm being held, their prior opportunity disappears. So then they are holding the footy, and the umpire is telling that player, whether they're on their knees or standing up, there's players around them, locking their legs, whatever it turns out to be, that they must try and dispose of the footy. Even if they're unsuccessful, they're better off just dropping it in the direction of their foot. I don't know what Nick Dacos is meant to do when his foot's behind him and he's on his knees.
That's exactly right.
And we've seen a couple of times tonight that player has been penalised holding the ball. So I know for a fact the umpires will say that was officiated correct, that is how they're told to interpret the holding the ball rule. I guess the broader conversation for us as a footy community and as a game, is that what we want our game to look like?
No, we don't, because what we're saying of them, let's take one further step forward, is effectively the umpires are saying, when you get that, the moment your one arm's pinned, just let go of the ball. Before you are then adjudicated to have had prior opportunity. So while you're still in the no prior opportunity phase of the tackle, just let go of the footy.
And you can't be penalised under the rules for incorrect
disposal. And I don't like that. We're pretty much saying, hey, just let it go.
And that's not what we're taught at junior level.
No. That's where I'm coming. That's where I was going to come from. Is the fact that
it goes against inherently everything we believe in the game, just to give the ball up and drop it.
And the warning and I joked about it, but I'm actually quite serious. Bomber Thompson used to tell us, I'm sure you did the same to your players, Mick, watch the Friday night game because you will get an understanding of the theme that the umpires are focusing in on. All other players, there's going to be that rule locked in on clearly, and the 15-metre kick rule, where we've seen a number of occasions what looked about 15 called play on. They're going to be hot on that for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah. And you say that to the umpires, and they go, no, we didn't. Well, you know full well it's a massive point.
It's been a half full of talking points. Second half action around the corner. The Cats by 4 points over Collingwood. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. It's the depths of winter, the middle of winter, and yet it feels like September's come early tonight. What a half of footy we've had in front of us, and hopefully another one still to come. Third quarter action around the corner, but first the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
ABC News, I'm Clive Huntsam. An Australian man has died on the front lines in Ukraine's war against Russia. Patricia Teano has the details.
Queensland man Brock Greenwood died during an exchange with Russian forces on July 6, almost a year after he left Australia to fight in the war. It's understood that while he had no military training, he became an infantry team leader for the Ukrainian International Foreign Legion. DFAT is now providing Mr. Greenwood's family consular assistance to help bring his remains home. He's the 7th Australian to have died fighting in Ukraine since 2022. Experts have told the ABC a loophole allowing Australians to join the Ukrainian Foreign Legion is lulling people with no military background into a false sense of security.
Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says he's been briefed extensively on the Russian-born Australian couple from Brisbane who've been charged with spying. Oliver Gordon reports.
40-year-old Kira Korolev, who's serving as an army private, and her 62-year-old husband Igor Korolev were arrested in Brisbane yesterday. Authorities are accusing them of accessing sensitive information from defence networks and then attempting to pass that on to authorities in Russia. The married couple have been charged with 1 count each of preparing for an espionage offence. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says he's been briefed on the matter and says Australians should have a great deal of confidence in the country's security agencies. The Korolevs remain in custody following brief court appearances in Brisbane.
Only this month, the Australian Defence Force started allowing non-citizens with permanent residency to apply to join. ANU Professor John Blaxland anticipates that recruitment will continue.
I don't see this having that effect. Russia has always been a country that Australia has been wary about, going back to the early days of the Cold War and even during the Second World War when we were allied to them. This is the whole reason why ASIA was established, was to actually identify the nest of spies who'd been active in the Second World War and who remained active.
Victoria's powerful CFMEU boss John Setka has quit effective immediately. Costa Haratos reports.
In a statement, the union says Setka's resignation comes in response to what it describes as ongoing and relentless media coverage. Setka was the State Secretary for Victoria and Tasmania for 12 years and an official for almost 4 decades. He began his working life as a labourer at the age of 19. His father also worked in construction and was among those injured when the Westgate Bridge collapsed in 1970. In 2019, Setka's personal life came under scrutiny when he was placed on a good behaviour bond after pleading guilty to harassing his wife over text messages. The former leader thanked members and said it had been a privilege to be their secretary.
Joe Biden has defended his decision to continue his bid for re-election at a crucial press conference at the NATO summit in Washington. He pointed to his success in securing support and finances for Ukraine's war against Russia as proof of his leadership ability, but mistakenly referred to Deputy Kamala Harris as Vice President Trump. From Washington, here's the BBC's Sarah Smith.
Over the best part of an hour in his unscripted news conference, he confidently discussed the conflicts in Ukraine and Gaza, as well as economic policy and his own election prospects, stressing to reporters the virtues of his age and experience. He made it clear he has no intention of pulling out of the presidential race, despite repeated questions about his fitness for office, and there was nothing in this performance that would force him to change his mind. But after the event, more members of Congress said they thought he should step aside.
Staying overseas, talks to achieve a ceasefire in the war-ravaged Sudan have failed after only one party attended the UN-brokered meeting. Sudan's army chief and de facto leader of Sudan, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, says he won't join meetings until the opposing Rapid Support Forces withdraw from the cities they control. The war has sparked waves of ethnically driven violence blamed largely on the RSF. The UN says nearly 25 million people, or half of Sudan's population, need aid. New data suggests Gen Z has a strong entrepreneurial spirit, with 79% of young workers wanting to ditch the office and be their own boss. McCrindle research has found only 56% of Australians generally have that preference. Gen Z will account for just over a quarter of the worldwide workforce within a year. Entrepreneurship expert at Swinburne University of Technology, Bridget Engler, says conventional workplaces may not appeal.
It's often down to having a real connection with the kind of work that you're doing or having the right people around you. But the other thing that we hear a lot about is flexibility and being able to work from home.
And the ASX 200 gained 0.9% today at 7,959. ABC News.
Time to steady and pull the trigger!
Have you heard the latest AFL podcast from the ABC? Join myself, Catherine Murphy, and AFL legend Paul Roos as we discuss all the big storylines. Feed your footy obsession or just learn more about the game as we bring you all the latest news and analysis. Find the ABC AFL Daily Podcast on the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Head pass away to Stewart, kicks inside 50 to Cameron. Well, there's the Stars combining for Geelong. First minute of the second quarter, Cameron's first touch is a goal. Cats go deep inside 50. Cameron grabs it, shakes a tackle, kicks his second. Jeremy Cameron didn't have a single touch in the opening quarter.
and he burst to life in the second turn.
Getting involved, Myers. Now loose footy. Dangerfield makes it his. Wins it. Half forward for the Cats. Kicks towards full forward. Needs a mark. No one can mark it. Close is there. Rove snaps. Goals. And Geelong snatch back the lead through Brad Close. Brampton trying to take it out of the ruck. Loses possession of the footy. Picking it up side bottom. Nowhere to go. Anywhere fast. Holding the ball.
I can't have this.
So Brian Myers, the beneficiary, comes in and slots it. Unwraps an absolute gift.
Turnover. Noble centre half forward. Gives it to Long. Kicks inside 50 and Crisp marks. Jack Crisp to the goals at the punt road end. The AFL's Iron Man sneaks it through. Back to a one-score game again.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Sounds there from the second term. It was one controlled by the Cats. They kicked 4 goals to 2. And after trailing by 6 points at quarter time, Geelong now lead it by 4 at the half. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Corbin Middlemass and Ben Cameron calling the action. Well, Lauren Borden is on the boundary. The Geelong legendary Cat, the 3-time Premiership Captain Cameron Ling, and the coaching icon Mick Malthouse with you for Friday night footy. The SMS number is 0437 774 774. An eventful half of footy in which the Cats led by 18 points after 4 minutes and 11 disposals into the night. They were pegged all the way back. Collingwood led by 7 at one stage themselves, and now Geelong lead by 4 at the half. Shortened weekend in the NRL, round 19, given the fact that the deciding State of Origin game is on Wednesday night. You can hear it on ABC Radio across the country, and of course ABC Sport through the Listen app or on digital radio. So the only game tonight, the Cronulla Sharks currently lead the West Tigers 5 minutes after half-time. The Sharks 24, West 6. Off the SMS, Tom and Benalla. Hi team, loving your call. Question for Mick. Hit-outs at 39-11. Scores are basically level. What does that say about the importance of hit-outs?
Well, it tells you if you're a very good ruckman and you know where to hit the ball and you can clear the area, then you're like a ingot of gold. If you are a tap ruckman that tries to pinpoint it and the opposition know we're going to hit it, then you're either dopey or just the midfielders just don't know where to get it. So it depends on what you do with the football as opposed to how many times you hit it.
Marcus in Townsville asks off the SMS, so are we back to the future with the old KB drop the ball tactic?
Well, he used to get it and just throw it in front of him. He got grabbed, that was a free kick. It was almost a KB rule that said if you're in possession, if you throw it out in front of you. So I think Lingy's right on the money here. This is about when you get the football, but I'll say players now are going to just grab that arm and hold. Instead of slinging the player now, they're just going to grab him and hold him and lock their body against his body so he can't dispose of it. We've got to come up with something a bit different from what we are. And I think you said, Corby, this is what you get taught when you're 7 or 8 years of age. We can't take that out of the game.
Tonight, of course, Wimbledon. There's only really 4 matches to go. We've got the women's final tomorrow night. Tonight are the 2 men's semis. And then, of course, on Sunday night is going to be the men's final. So Djokovic versus Musetti tonight and Medvedev versus Alcaraz. You can hear it all through the ABC Listen app. Look out for that tennis button and follow along the whole tournament. All the key points and, of course, every point of both semi-finals tonight and the men's and women's final to come over the next couple of days, all available on ABC Sport through the Listen app. Second half upon us here, Friday night footy on ABC Sport. It is Geelong by 4 points. The battle of the last 2 premiers. Friday night footy in round 18. You're with Ben Cameron.
Umpire Hosking puts it into the turf. Neither ruckman touches it. There's a shepherding free kick. It'll come back and go to the Pies. Free kick going to Darcy Cameron. Gives the handball away to Nick Dacos. Running through the middle of the ground. Kicks inside 50. Zach Guthrie attacks it. Drops the mark. Push out. Free kick going to Zach Guthrie. Has it at fullback for the Cats. Kicks laterally. Short to De Koning. Breaks the painted defensive 50. Kicks around the wing. In the direction of Stengel. Juggles the mark. Doesn't quite complete it. Goes again. Now it spills out for Lipinski. Pies in possession on the logo. Gives it to side bottom. High ball to half forward.
hanging in the night sky, eventually falls. No mark as Kruger contested along with Tui. Tui taken front on, Ump says keep going. Loose footy, throwing their body at it. Two Geelong players, Guthrie and Holmes, and in the end they left the footy behind. Tagoe hands it to Kruger, kicks inside 50 for the Magpies. Ball hits the deck, Richards out after it, will sit for Bobby Hill, jams it on the boot, misses. And behind for Bobby Hill, a Norm Smith medalist. Geelong by 3 points, 60 seconds into the third term. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Collingwood got exactly what they wanted deep then. Jamie Elliott dragged Mitch Duncan deep to the goal square. A one-on-one marking opportunity. Elliott would have been a bit dirty on himself that he wasn't able to mark that one.
Short kick into the pocket for Stewart. He'll go back to the defensive goal square, and mark taken by Duncan. Who made the original kick in, pinpoints it away to Tui. Gives it to the runner here in Holmes, cruising down the southern wing. Stabs it short to Ollie Dempsey, gets it back. He'll give it back to Dempsey. Now Dempsey goes for a little run, couple of bounces. Fluffs his line, drops it momentarily, then gathers it again. Kicks inside 50, Cameron's there. That's Darcy Cameron bringing it down in front. Frampton picks it up for the Pies and a clearing kick. Dangerfield drops a mark he'd ordinarily take. Gets rid of the handball away towards Atkins. Goes back towards Danger. He'll get a handball away to De Koning. Cuts it half forward. Atkins back to Holmes. Pinpoint pass. Jeremy Cameron. Right on the elbow of 50 in the boundary line. Jez has got it. Right side for a left footer.
That Frampton hurt himself when he tried to make that spoil. He's up now. He looks okay, but
I think he might have landed on Jeremy Cameron's heel. So as Cameron sort of kept his feet, and then Frampton was trying to spoil, and at full stretch sort of landed on the back heel of Cameron.
Well, we thought young Stengel wasn't going to make the distance. This is well within his distance, but it's one of those kicks. It's an awkward kick because you still got to get the ball across your body to get in there.
Jeremy Cameron, drop punt from right on 50. It'll go right to the goal mouth and off knuckles through for a minor score.
Is that a little bit? Is it drizzle out there, or am I just looking at a different sort of sky?
A little bit of mist.
Yeah, I reckon that's dragged that kick down a couple of metres because he just didn't. That was well under 50 metres, that kick.
Just looking at Frampton too, it was just grazed the studs on the back of the heel from Cameron after taking that mark. Completely inadvertent, but a little sore Frampton. He's up and moving. The kick out to half-back for the Pies. Josh Dacos gathers and jams it into the shins of De Koning. Inadvertently rolls out of play, so throw in 60 out from the Cats goal. 3.5 gone third term. Geelong by 4. Low and Borden on the boundary. It's not raining, is it, Loz? Is that a bit of fog?
Yeah, it is just a little bit of fog coming across. You can see the ground glistening, though, so there's a bit of dew on it. And it was pretty slippery underfoot. Mick, you might have noticed when you were out there. You could feel it a bit soggy under your foot when you were out there earlier.
Thanks, Loz. From the boundary throwing. Comes down to Atkins. Hurry ball to the top of the goal square. Frampton throws his boot at it. Still alive for the Cats. Moore settles it down. Hand pass to side bottom. Kicks looking for the boundary line. Finds it. Insufficient intent. Free kick Geelong. 60 out left, half forward.
Yeah, it was a bit of a panic kick by Steele, which he didn't realise he had a little bit more time. Good play by Moore to get the ball to him, though.
60 metres out, Geelong by 4 points, early third term. Myers kicks to the hot spot for the Cats, reaching for it, Neal. No mark, hits the deck, falls through to Cameron. Cameron got boot to ball, and Jezza shows us what he can do. Hooks through his third. He's got a happy knack of kicking a bag against the Pies, and he's well on his way here. Early in the third term, Cameron disposalless in the opening quarter. Now up to 3 for the night. The Cats by 10, 8-7-55. Collingwood 6-9-45. 5 gone third term. Cameron Ling and Mick Malthouse.
And in these slippery conditions, Mick, sometimes just playing the basics, playing the hits is a good idea. Long to a dangerous part of the forward line. Get after it at ground level. And all you need with a player like Jeremy Cameron and some of the other quality out there at both ends of the ground is just that little half a metre break, and the goals will come.
Just his body shape, because he's got such long legs and he pushes that ball out, he's always going to get a lot more leverage around his body.
Yeah.
So he is massively dangerous. Have a look, he's got him. Quaynar's got him again out of the goal square.
Back in the middle to Koning, somehow tapping it down onto his boots, squeezing a kick forward. Josh Dacos marks for the Pies. Defensive point of the square, kicks around the edge of the square, looking for Darcy Cameron, slides into mark. Upended Humphreys there. It's like a slide tackle in the World Game. Cameron gives off the handball to Josh Dacos, to Noble, short kick. Elliott leads up and marks. He'll poke it over the top, and to Goey. He's got it 40 out, 45 degree angle, right half forward.
I'll tell you how he's got that. Hard gut-busting running, but Collingwood's first thing is lead up, take the mark, and then drop into the same spot. It's a well-rehearsed thing. Is as you lead out, you create a little vacuum. You jump in that spot, you take the mark, and you kick it to where you've come from. It's so simple, but effective.
Geordie De Goey. We know he's a big shot taker. He's a big shot maker. It keeps Collingwood coming in the game. 8-7-55 Geelong, Collingwood 7-9-51. 6 minutes into the third term on Friday night footy right here on ABC Sport.
You're right, Mick. With Collingwood's ability to have multiple ways of scoring, taking it forward. So on that occasion, Geelong pretty well set behind the footy, but then just some excellent ball use. Darcy Cameron to Noble, Noble to Elliott. Yep. Elliott drops it into De Goey there with, as you said, that little pocket of space that was created
by him.
They want to go fast when they can go fast, but also just use that controlled, clever ball use.
Well, if you haven't got a midfield that works hard, the jury's out for me with Geelong's midfield, because it's okay when ball in hand, but how hard does it work back? We know that Stewart will work back in the hole, but does he work back where his opponents are?
To go his first of the night. Geelong by 4 points where we were at half-time. Darcy Cameron wins the hit out in the middle, or collected the footy, took a while to get rid of it. Bose tackles him. Ball comes out to De Goey, high up and under to half forward. Guthrie got a hand on it. Ball hits the deck inside 50 for Collingwood. Just inside the arc, no clean pick-up. Long is clean. Sweeps a hand pass forward, but straight to Jack Henry. Kicks out of defence for Geelong, and Dempsey marks. So many have fumbled coming out of the air tonight. Dewy evening at the MCG. Currently 9 degrees and dropping as Dempsey goes long down the wing. Punched away by Blitzarves. Ball will come back to him as Darcy Cameron hands a handball out wide. And in the end, the ball out of play, ushered over by side bottom. We'll have a boundary throw in high half forward for Geelong.
Darcy Cameron been very good to start this quarter. Just his follow-up work. He's had 3 handballs, so a couple of hit-outs, but then at ground level, he's just been getting straight after the footy.
DeConey's done okay too, though. Yeah. As his opponent, he's had the 4.
Darcy Cameron slaps it down, coming through the front. Crisp can't gather the footy. Stewart steals it for the Cats. Handball away towards Atkins on the wing to Coney. He'll kick a high ball to half forward. Needs a marker down there. Markov outpoints Rowan to take it.
He's been nothing, Rowan, so far this game. He's very disappointing.
Geelong by 4 points. They go back towards Moore, who completes the switch to Frampton. Half-back flank for the Pies. Members side of the ground.
One of 16 premiership players out there for Collingwood, Billy Frampton. He's short to Noble. Meanwhile, the Cats have 15 from their side that won it the year earlier in 2022. Here's Noble. Kicks out to the wing, and Darcy Cameron's the only one that flies. There's a reason for that. The umpire says Stewart was being held. Free kick, Tom Stewart, outer edge of the centre square. He wants to go back and across to Colin Jasney at centre half back and works it out to the southern side. Here's Jack Henry, a free agent for Geelong, still yet to re-sign. At half back, kicks out to the wing to Conan and Richards as the ball hits the deck. They both go to ground. Side bottom, first one there for Collingwood. Hand pass to Elliott, he left it behind, gives it back to side bottom. High half forward, hand pass forward to Richards, who keeps on running. Kicks inside 50, Stewart punches it away. That's what he does best. Knocks the spoil out of bounds. We'll have a throw in 48 out from the Collingwood goal.
Now that question is, has he now started the centre now? Has he drifted behind? Who's come up as a fourth mid, if you like? And that's the question.
Maybe Holmes is crossing over now. That's what I'm seeing. Holmes is at the stoppage trying to get to Pendlebury.
Collingwood with their turn, with the momentum. Forward 50 stoppage. Darcy Cameron down for Pendlebury and then picking it up. Long is rushed out of play. Trying to come 30 around from the attacking goal for the Pies, attacking the city end in this third term.
Well, looks all over the ground, looks one-on-one to me right now.
Cats by 4 points, as it was at half-time. Umpire brings it back in. Blitzarves hooking the tap down, spills to Jack Henry, clearing kick up towards the wing. Frampton marks.
Wants to keep moving too. Brushes aside close. Kicks it back deep inside 50 for the Magpies. No mark. Falls down in front of Elliott. Clever. Palms it to the advantage of De Goey. Hooks it goalward but misses. Far side. A little too much curl on his left-footed snap. Geelong by 3 points.
They're pressing Collingwood, and they're pressing because the mistakes have been made across the middle of the ground at the moment. Geelong can't clear the middle, and it's basically been mistakes. It's been either a drop mark, a poor kick, poor decision to hand pass, and Pies will bring it straight back in.
Holmes with the kick in. Darcy Cameron marks. The Pies should go back inside 50. Here's 2 kicks from goal. A little bereft. Looks laterally and then eventually goes to Noble. 80 out from the attacking goal for the Pies. They're pressing, as Mick said. Noble driving ball towards full forward, launching Hoskin Elliott. No mark taken. Zach Guthrie's kick smothered. Soccers it away. It lands in the lap of Humphreys. A little reprieve for the Cats. A moment to catch their breath. They lead by 3 points. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Oh, Humphreys comes wide. Great kick. Finds Taccone.
And I'm told he's one of those players, Humphreys, you won't know what foot he kicks with. I know he's a right footer and that was a right, but equally as good on the left. A genuine equally as good.
Kicks down the wing. Ball spills down Collingwood's way. Side bottom. Hand pass away to Harrison. He gives it to Nick Dacos. Draws a defender. Handball over to Schultz. 60 out, half forward. Pulls it back to the 50 and finds Crisp. He marks. Got some contact from Stewart. Says it's all okay.
That's a beautiful kick inside forward 50.
Not only that, Lingy, I just watched a wave of Collingwood players. That was 3 and 4 players who stayed separated by 10 to 15 metres, pushed themselves into a position where any one of those players could get it. Geelong were caught in between, not knowing where to go. Just can't seal the deal on the wings.
Kicked 3 goals last week without Essendon touching the footy. He's looking for his second here. Decides to lay it up. Elliott! Upstairs, brings it down.
Superb, Jack Crisp.
Yep.
Superb. It was clearly a play they practiced, set up at training, but the kick was to the perfect spot, low and hard, and sat it on Humphrey's head just enough so that Elliott was the only option to have a go at that footy. Great play.
So comfortable in the air. Jamie Elliott onto the shoulders of Humphrey to finish his work, pops it through and returns Collingwood to the front. A couple for Jamie Elliott. And they turn a 3-point deficit into a 3-point lead. The Magpies 8-10-58, Geelong 8-7-55, 13 goal and third term. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Well, I hate to say this to you, Lingy, but again, the Geelong midfield is just totally missing. It's just not being able to get the football where if you look at Sidebom's a half-back, DeGoey next is getting the football. Even Frampton off a half-back one. But what Collingwood are doing is running the football at Geelong. And I don't think the Cats are settled with a side that runs the footy at them. They know okay to pick the football off. When it gets rushed at them, they're found wanting.
So springs in his boots, doesn't he, Jamie Elliott? Jeez.
Restart in the middle. Blitzarves tapping it down. Dangerfield trying to hack it forward for the Cats. Nowhere to go. Out of the middle, Manna wrenched down into tackle.
It's probably not even top 10 on his list. Jamie Elliott, the marks he's taken.
Umpire puts it up. Blitzarves again with the hand to it, but it comes down for Crisp of the Pies. Squeezes a kick out towards the wing. Tui's there for the Cats. Gathers the footy under pressure, running across half-back. He'll work it out, a neat kick out to Clark on the wing.
Jai Clark, who was the late in last week for Mitch Nevitt, holds his spot. Goes back to Kolajasny. Collingwood by 3 points. Third lead change of the night. It's also been level on 5 different occasions. Now to Duncan. Duncan works it up the wing to Humphreys. He kicks inside the forward 50. Cameron the target. Quaynor knocks it away from him. Finds the safety of the boundary line and a throw in half forward for Geelong. And the Magpie Army are involved.
That's a brave move to have him on him, and that's a very, very good, great one-on-one. He's obviously very strong, and he's got a bit of a leap about him.
Collingwood by 3 points. Both rucks miss it. Spills down. Nick Dacos hacks it. There's a volley up towards the wing. Kolajasny there has a lot of it. Not paid the mark. Josh Dacos comes through. Soccers it on. Bouncing ball on the wing. Richards. He soccers it forward. And then it's close to the line and eventually carried out by Richards for a throw-in. Is it a concerted effort by the Pies this week? It feels like there's been a lot of Soccers, and we heard Pendlebury mention the chaos in that interview.
I think it's also them that it's their surge. Mick's right, they are running hard forward. So if you got a chance to keep the ball flowing that way, even that hit out, hit it forward and then get the numbers going onto it and overwhelm Geelong.
Kruger whacks it forward. Myers squeezes a kick out but turns it over cold. Given to De Goey from Markov. Goes long into the forward pocket. No mark. Tui scrapping for it in the forward pocket. Hoskin Elliott trying to get it out. Does to Hill. Knocks it out in front of him. Tackled by Guthrie. Guthrie does really well. Goes back, wins it for Geelong. Hand pass forward and Markov runs it out of bounds. Boundary throw in half forward for Collingwood. Lauren Borden is on the boundary. Loz.
Just confirming it was a corked hammy for Nick Dacos, his left hammy, and Jai Clark still having trouble with that lower left leg. He looks to be moving okay, but the doctor is out to him a lot.
Thanks, Loz. We'll keep an eye on that. Dacos had 21 to half time. Nick's got just the 3 to add to that in his third quarter so far. Boundary throw in. Pies by 3 points. From the stoppage, hand pass from Pendlebury, away to De Goey, kicks into the forward pocket for Collingwood, shoots the target, spoiled by Colin Jasny, and in the end, Hoskin Elliott is beaten by the Sherrin over the boundary line. We'll have a throw-in right next to the behind post for the Magpies, deep forward, Collingwood by 3. They've travelled 16 and a half minutes in the third quarter. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Ben Cameron, Corbin Middlemass calling the action. Lauren Borden downstairs, Mick Moldhouse and Cameron Lean.
Kruger taking it out of the ruck, gets a handball away, spills towards the goal square. The Cats there, Tui, handball away, Dangerfield. Shovels out a handball, still inside 50 for the Pies. Coming through Atkins, he wants it, just gets a handball away. Nick Dacos keeps it in. Little 1-2 with Pendlebury. Gets a handball back infield. Crisp can't gather it. Side bottom arrives again. Handball out towards Maynard. Dumps it on the left boot. Kicks to full forward. Humphreys going back. Good, brave defensive mark for the Cats. Has it at fullback. Collingwood lead by 3 points. 17 played third term. Friday night footy on ABC Sports.
Sorry, Benny. Great way to win a lot of respect from your teammates in your third game. Humphreys going back overhead to take that type of mark in your defence.
Gives it to Colin Jasny, opposite back pocket. Hand pass to Duncan. Kicks to half back and Bose marks just in front of De Goey.
It's been okay, Bose.
Pies on top in the game at the moment. We've got about 8 and a bit minutes to play in this third quarter. They lead it by 3 on the scoreboard, but all the momentum with Collingwood and the game played in their front half at the moment as Bose goes back to Colin Jasny, kicks to the wing, great one-on-one victory. Dangerfield outmarks Richards, gives it to Humphreys, trying to give them some run, kicks up to Manor on the wing, collects on the half volley, hand pass to Humphreys, back to Guthrie, kicks to centre half forward and Stengel marks. He's trying to draw the man on the mark up, says you moved off your line, heads inside 50 now and the sprawling mark to close. Skids through on his knees and has it about 48 out at right half forward.
That's what you were saying, Lingy, about those just on 50, 49 metres, not comfortable kicking for goal, but another 10 metres in, yes, this is not 10 metres in, this is probably 3 or 4 metres in, so it still tests the kicker.
Kicked a goal now in his last 10 games, Brad Close, up to 23 for the season.
Is he good for it, Lingy?
Oh, just from here. This will take his best distance.
And the customary long sleeves, runs out to his right, drives his drop punt goalward, searching for the extra distance, tugs it out to the left, it doesn't score, stays alive. In the forward pocket now at half forward, Clark fighting on, knocked away to Quain, or he's tackled by Blitzarves, and we'll have a ball up 48 metres out, opposite half forward flank now on the northern side.
They want to review this, and I was going to ask that question, can they? So they're just going to hold here, pause, because we all thought that hit the post, didn't we?
Well, it's been the kind of night where a point might matter either way.
I think they need to see whether it hit the post. It's from this angle, we're only seeing whether it been hit by a player, but you'd like to think that you could have another angle from behind us to see if it has hit the post.
No score.
No score. We go back to a ball up.
Which doesn't really clarify, does it, whether it hit the behind post or not? No. It just tells you that it's we're going to go back with the on-field call, which is a ball up half forward for Geelong.
Kruger comes away with it for the Pies, puts his big left boot through it, kicks up towards the wing. Off the hands of the pack, Zach Guthrie's there, gives the handball to Bose. Geelong in possession, kicks to half forward. Mark taken by Holmes, stabs it short. Clark has it. 60 out from goal for the Cats. Looks at a congested 50. He'll veer out to his right, set it up towards the hot spot. Cameron comes in from the side. Can't take the mark. Stengel flashing by. Doesn't gather the footy. Now he goes again. Has it. Off to Jezza Cameron. Snapping for his fourth. He's floating it on goal and off target. Just sneaks it through for a minor score. Collingwood lead it by a couple of points. 20 minutes played, third term.
Same play, kick to a dangerous part, big pack, Stengel hit it at pace, and Nilly gather, then Cameron follows up. So when Geelong is slowed up outside 50, that's the play they're looking for.
Pies by 2 points. Side bottom, takes some ground and then kicks long to Darcy Cameron. Strong mark.
Well, great play by Hill, just holding Blizzards out so he couldn't get to that contest.
Well, that won't be 15. Short kick from Darcy Cameron to Maynard. He's got Holmes to worry about, holding the ball. Geelong take the advantage. Moyers hand pass to Blitzarves, and Blitzarves, like a quarterback, threw it back to Holmes, thinking they wouldn't take the advantage, and the ump said, no, I've already called advantage, that's a throw.
Right. No, I just don't get the advantage these days.
Your best Danny Dimes impersonation is not wanted in our game. Collingwood will swing it from one back flank to the other through the hands of Pendlebury, Frampton, and now with Quaynor at left half back. Collingwood by 2, 22 gone in the third.
Did you pick Danny Dimes out because it was such a bad pass?
Yeah.
It's a bit of a
would have been sacked if it was Danny Dimes. Shoots on the logo, floats it inside 50, nobody there, and the mark taken by Bowes for Geelong.
I won't hear all this slander about the mighty New York Football Giants.
Collingwood leading by a couple of points. What a game. Friday night footy here on ABC Sport. 22 minutes into the third term. Zach Guthrie sending it towards the members' side of the ground, and Duncan marking. He'll kick infield, misses his target, Clark. It works out okay for Holmes under pressure. Gets the handball away to Clark. Chips a kick to the wing. Close, Pendlebury the other way. Close does enough. Knocks it down. Gives it to Blitzarves. Cats on the wing.
Handball away to Myers. Ugly kick down to half forward. Turns out okay. Manor takes a mark. Centre half forward. 52 metres out. This kick's a high bomb to the hot spot. Hands to it. Jezza Cameron, no mark. Falls down to Quaynor. He's tackled. Just got a handball away. Dempsey scoops it up. Gives it to Dangerfield. There's that burst speed. Kicks goalward, the champ. It's across the face and he misses. Behind for danger. Collingwood by 1. 23 gone third term. It's been that kind of night. 8-10 to 8-9. Magpies by just a point.
Corridor on for the Pies, but Noble's going to choose go long towards the boundary.
In the direction of Darcy Cameron. Gary Rowan flying in from the side. Blitzarve stands up, gathers on the bounce. Cats with it half forward. Close to the boundary line. It's out for a throw in on the full.
No, it just come off a leg, but I'm not sure.
Off the leg of Ned Long as Holmes goes inside 50. More coming through, gathers off a couple of hands, gives it to Nick Dacos, who shoots away with it, gives it to Frampton by hand. He's a little bereft, goes up the middle to Pendlebury, loops a handball for Nick Dacos, arches the back, gets it to Long in the middle.
Handball away towards Markov, Collingwood over halfway, they're out the back here, long kick to Hoskin Elliott. He takes the mark, right forward pocket, slips as he tries to kick goalward and turns it over. Jack Henry marks in the defensive goal square. There's a heavy tackle on Nick Dacos in the middle, almost did a cartwheel as he was being tackled. Geelong now start the counter-attack the other way. And so rare in the modern game, we have players spread across every single zone. Cats come down the wing, Clark to Holmes, then to Stengel, short kick to Close, 55 metres out, Dempsey lurking, kick to the goal square, Quaynor in front, no mark, spills through to Josh Dacos, takes it with him out of bounds, and a throw in next to the behind post, deep forward for the Cats. Collingwood by 1, time on third term.
I reckon if Chris Scott will be looking at that on Monday morning and going, why did Dempsey run to the goal square, take his man with him? It was one-on-one, and it was Cameron versus Quaynor. It was, and Geelong had the ball in.
Forward 50 stoppage for the Cats. Darcy Cameron hooks it back boundary side. Stewart coming through. Can't gather first time. Out of play. Throw in 30 around from the attacking goal. Collingwood by a point. Would not look out of place in the finals this game.
Exactly, Benny. It's a great call. Both teams running so hard forward. They're getting waves, almost an outnumber in the forward line at each end of the ground.
Nose 2 is right behind the ball now. He's not next to the last player. He's actually 20 metres behind.
Darcy Cameron down for Pendlebury. Dumps it on the boot. Kicks up towards the wing. Deconing a lot of it. Not paid the mark. And now the Pies run away with it. Hill, little 1-2 with Schultz. Gets it back. Kicks it out on the full. Right in front of the members. Free kick to the Cats for Zach Tui, half-back flank.
Collingwood by 1. 26 minutes played in this third quarter goes back to Duncan. Duncan kicks in the centre square for Bowes. Geelong shift it out to the southern side for Humphreys. Pokes his pass to Dempsey at full stretch, reels it in. He's got the footy right on halfway still for the Cats. Late in the third term, it's been close all night. Geelong kicked the first 3 goals in the opening 4 minutes.
Oh, dangerous kick.
Picks one off Humphreys into the centre square, links up with Atkins, wants to play on, he's tackled by Long immediately, got it away to Duncan, hand pass to Bowes, slick hands to Koning, almost mowed down, gets the kick inside 50, Stengel clean, drops the footy, regathers, goals! All clear, Geelong back in front.
Oh, and he got away with the drop because it wasn't classed as a tackle.
Tyson Stengel, that's his first of the night, just dropped the footy out in front. The tackle didn't quite stick, and then he cleaned up his own work. And at the 27-minute mark of the third term, the Cats moved to 9-9-63. Collingwood 8-10-58. Cats by 5. Mick Malthouse, Cameron Ling on ABC Sport.
Well, I want to see that, Lingy. I just haven't seen...
Well, I mean...
He had the ball and dropped it, but was it a tackle? Or?
No, it was a push. If you, we're going to have to watch it again on the screen. The crowd's getting into it, fair enough, that what they see is a player dropping the ball, but a tackle still has to be laid for it to be dropping the ball. Yep. The ball can leave your hands, it can fumble out of your hands, but if a tackle's not laid, then it's not. Watch this, Mick, here, as it goes, that's just a push.
No, there's no tackle. No, that's fair.
Back in the middle, trying to come away with it, Pendlebury, right there with him, Stuart Atkins, wins the footy for the Cats, handball to De Koning, handball to Stewart, out on the logo. High kick to half forward for Geelong. Manor out points Markov to take it. 49.5 metres out. On a 45-degree angle, just spinning the footy in his hands at the moment.
Doesn't have the distance.
So he'll stab it short. The kick is a good one. And Ollie Dempsey bobs up to take it. 40 out. Slightly improved angle.
Probably the rookie of the year.
I would say so, given the suspensions to to Harley Reid and to Sam Darcy, I'd say.
Well, they're out, but this kid's played in one of the best sides and not only held his spot, he's kicked multiple goals when they've needed him. He's a
George Wardlaw concussion too. He's missed 2 games.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Here comes Dempsey. Past the arc of 50. And he shows us exactly why he's a rising star. A goal right when the Cats want one. They lead by 11 points. 10-9-69 plays 8-10-58 on the stroke of three-quarter time. Mick Malthouse, the coaching games record holder. Cameron Ling, the premiership captain.
I reckon Collingwood had an opportunity to score there. That bad kick, I think it was by Schultz, that come out this side.
Yes.
Geelong then got the ball, and I was wondering what they were going to do, whether they were going to play with the time the way it was, whether they play the ball or whether they play for time. They actually found space on the far side again. Again, they keep finding that space. Then that kick in board, and it was marked, as we called it, it was a good mark.
And Geelong have had 40 marks this quarter.
Yeah.
To highlight what they're trying to do with that.
Yeah, and that's what they're trying to do is get Collingwood to come to them.
1 minute before three-quarter time. Geelong by 11, and they've got it again in the middle. Dangerfield has the ball, spilled to him. Gets the centre break, kicks to half forward. Rowan the target, Moore knocks it away from him. Loose footy, 55 out from the Geelong goal. Dempsey, first one there for Geelong. Hand pass to Rowan, kicks to the hot spot, homes the target. Harrison breaks it up with a spoil. Centre half back for the Pies, he's tackled, lost it, comes out to Humphreys, shoots goalward, misses everything.
Hit the belly of the ball, that one. He tried the banana, which, as I said before, he's so strong in his left foot. I'm surprised he didn't go on the left.
Yeah.
I mentioned the cartwheel that Nick Dacos almost did before when he was being tackled. He was ripped down by the collar by Jeremy Cameron. Almost, we were talking about American football before, almost the horse collar tackle. We'll tell you more about that at three-quarter time.
Long kick from Noble up towards the wing. Darcy Cameron following up his own work at ground level. Kruger, he was clipped on the way through by Stewart. Free kick.
Yeah,
Jack Henry a little sore in back play. Lauren Borden.
Jack Henry's pretty sore. Doctor's coming out to him. It was about a left thigh that he was having an issue with.
He's had a lot of foot issues as well. Hopefully no issue there. Kruger the free kick on the wing. He's a raking left leg. Goes long up towards half forward. Off the hands of the pack. It comes down for Humphries. Tackled by Hoskin Elliott. Strong tackle. Carries him out. Throwing to come.
Just off the SMS, guys. Mark in Canberra says Cameron should get a week or two for that one-handed sling tackle on Dacos. Is it? Did you guys see anything wrong with it?
No, the first thing I saw was I've seen players get done over through it this year. I'm not suggesting it should be.
I didn't think his head hit the ground personally, but
No.
people will accuse me of the bias there. But
That'll do us right on the boundary throw-in as Cameron knocks it away. The umpire's actually called a free kick here, umpire Robert Finlay, and it's going to go Darcy Cameron's way. The man on the mark's about 60 out, so we'll take something we've never seen from him before, Darcy Cameron. We have to kick it 70 metres after the bell at right half forward.
And I think that is for a ruck infringement, as in a third man involved in the ruck contest.
So Darcy Cameron's got it. Take his best Malcolm Blight impersonation here from long range. Kicks a torp. Didn't quite hit it. Lands about 15 metres out from the goal. So three-quarter time, Geelong by 11 points. Cats win the third quarter as they did the second, 3-2. And Geelong 10-9-69 lead Collingwood 8-10-58. The Pies actually hit the front in that quarter before Geelong kicking the last 2 goals to wrestle back the advantage at three-quarter time. Shannon Neal's got 2. They both came in the opening quarter. 3, in fact, for Jeremy Cameron. My apologies. 3 for Cameron, 2 for Neal, 1 each for Manor, Stengel, Dempsey, Myers and Close. Meanwhile, for Collingwood, Jamie Elliott has a couple, as does Joe Richards. And then we got singles for Lipinski, DeGoey, Crisp and Hoskin Elliott. Your thoughts on the SMS, 0437 774 774. And coming up next, the thoughts of Mick Malthouse and Cameron Ling. Friday Night Footy on ABC Sport.
G'day, Patrick Stack here from ABC Sport Daily. If you love sport...
And the thing is with Novak, you don't want to give him any extra motivation, and maybe the Wimbledon crowd has given him just that.
And great conversation.
Anyone who's played will know that there's always rumours about what the other team's getting and what the strong clubs can afford to pay.
Then you'll love ABC Sport Daily.
I've got to eat humble pie and say, well done, Gareth. Congratulations. Now go and win it.
ABC Sport Daily. Get it on the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Reaching for it, Neal. No mark, hits the deck, falls through to Cameron. Cameron got moved to ball, and Jezza shows us what he can do. Hooks through his third.
Cameron gives off the handball to Josh Dacos to Noble. Short kick. Elliott leads up and marks. He'll poke it over the top and to Goey. He's got it 40 out, 45 degree angle, right half forward. Geordie to Goey. We know he's a big shot taker. He's a big shot maker. It keeps Collingwood coming in the game.
3 goals last week without Essendon touching the footy. He's looking for his second here. Decides to lay it up. Elliott upstairs brings it down.
Superb, Jack Crisp.
Yep.
Superb.
So comfortable in the air. Jamie Elliott onto the shoulders of Humphrey to finish his work. Pops it through and returns Collingwood to the front. Hand pass to Mo. Slick hands to Koning. Almost mowed down. Gets the kick inside 50. Stengel clean. Drops the footy. Regathers. Goals. All clear. Geelong back in front.
So he'll stab it short. The kick is a good one. And Ollie Dempsey bobs up to take it 40 out. Slightly improved angle.
Probably a look in the air.
Here comes Dempsey. Past the arc of 50. And he shows us exactly why he's a rising star. A goal right when the Cats want one.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Huge game in the context of the season. Geelong playing to make it 3 in a row and knock on the door of the top 4. Meanwhile, for Collingwood, if they lose, it would have been 3 in a row that they've dropped. And they'll fall further adrift of the top 8 in their premiership defence. A huge quarter of footy coming up. It's been hot straight out of the gates. Geelong kicked the first 3 goals inside the opening 4 minutes. In fact, with their first 10 disposals of the night, at that stage, Collingwood had only 1 disposal. It was a soccer to Nick Dacos. They didn't have a single possession out of the hand at that stage and already found themselves 18 behind. They worked their way back. We've had 4 lead changes thereafter, and at three-quarter time, it's the Cats by 11 points. Cameron Ling and Mick Malthouse on ABC Sport.
Mick, that quarter felt like 2 really clear, distinct styles at work. Collingwood dominated the contested possessions, but when Geelong were able to get the ball back, they clearly wanted to control the ball through kick and mark and had over 40 marks.
Yeah, it's quite
similar to what Essendon had a heap of marks last week. So we're starting to see a theme where teams want to take away Collingwood's opportunity to bring that frontal pressure and that chaos footy.
Yeah, you're spot on, Lingy. It's just that's the first quarter that Collingwood have actually, any side's dominated the contested football, and you know Collingwood are always going to be up for that anyway. But as I said to you yourself there, I really can't pick which way this game's going to go. I know, look, I'd like to have a 10-point, or what is it, 11-point lead. That's handy. But it doesn't. That can be going in the first 5 minutes, as we know. I'm just not sure. There's so many ebbs and flows, and there's so many good bits of play. Then there's giving the ball up, and I think the ground's got a bit to do with that. Simply because I know we're great grounds these days, but it's a bit slippery. So we've seen a couple of Collingwood players fall over when they're just about to mark the football. We've seen Geelong players as they're going to pick the football up. Who's going to kick the goals? Can Cameron? He's kicked 3, and interestingly enough, they've really trusted Quaynar on him. We'd pointed out about the captain in Darcy Moore. Just doesn't seem to be having any impact on the game whatsoever.
It feels like at times he's had the responsibility for Tyson Stengel and has lost him at times, and I don't know if that's then affecting his ability. Well, do I stay with Stengel? He's so dangerous, or do I come and help and try and intercept Mark, which he's so good at doing? A little bit caught in between, and that's probably been Geelong's thing. They have managed to score at times where it looks like they're against the grain of the game, and the momentum's a little bit with Collingwood, but they found a way. They kicked 3 goals that quarter to 2 and got this lead heading into three-quarter time.
Lauren Borden's on the boundary, Loz.
Ollie Henry's taking off his jumper for Geelong, so he'll be heading on as the sub for the Cats in the fourth quarter. It hasn't been confirmed who's coming off. It looks like Shannon Neely's taking off his strapping, had a bit of an injury to his neck, and I guess it's a little bit of a like-for-like going into the forward line. But Ollie Henry to start on the ground for Geelong in the fourth term.
Thanks, Loz. And Reef McInnes, the Collingwood sub.
Reef McInnes doesn't look like he was out there. Sorry, I've just got to check with him on the bench. But, I'm just watching Shannon Neal, who's going around and having a chat, and a little bit of commotion on Geelong bench. But I'll check on Reef McInnes for you.
Thanks, Loz.
So who's come on for Henry?
Ollie Henry, so Shannon Neal's off.
Shannon Neal, yeah, right, okay.
Collingwood, of course, the masters of coming from behind at three-quarter time, but not so much this year. Have they got another one in them? As Darcy Cameron knocks it down to Stewart, hurried kick forward, and Maynard takes the intercept mark. Geelong by 11 points, final term underway. Maynard gives it to Noble, long kick to centre-half forward. Number of bodies throw themselves at it. Kruger goes over the top, trying to break through the tackles long. He's held up by Jack Henry, and a ball up. Centre-half forward for the Magpies, coming home to the punt road end. Collingwood have lost their last 2 games, trailing at three-quarter time in consecutive weeks.
Clearance coming from Stewart. Pokes a kick out towards territory on the wing. Picked up there by Ollie Henry, the former Pie. He then follows up with a smother on the Darcy Cameron kick. Gathers the footy. Handball a turnover though. Josh Dacos with it. Gives it to Pendlebury. Forward of the wing. Kicks into the pocket for Collingwood. Over the head of the 2-8s there in Schultz and Kolodjasny. It bounces out and the throw-in to come.
I say that, by the way, with Collingwood. You are expected to lose the majority of games. You do trail at three-quarter time. The AFL average this year is 90.6% if you lead at three-quarter time.
96%?
90.6. So 9 in every 10 should win, leading at three-quarter time. Collingwood have won 2 of the 7 they've trailed this year at three-quarter time.
From the throw-in, out the back, Nick Dacos gathers, gives it to side bottom, and he kicks the goal! Maybe they can still party like it's 2010. They start the climb back. It's 5 points. 10-9-69 plays 9-10-64. 90 seconds into this final term. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Well, that's off a half-back line. He has reinvigorated his whole career, I reckon. He was getting a bit... On the wings, he was finding less and less of the football. On the half-back line, he just plays. He's not hunted. He plays the ball, sets up beautifully. When that ball went out and went into his hands, it was going to be an inevitable result. He just does not miss from there. And that's good. That's really good play by the back line. Again, just very aggressive, bring the ball forward, keeping it into their forward line, Collingwood.
First goal of the year for Steele Sidebottom. Of course, you mentioned his different role. And 4 behinds previously. He goes and stands at centre-half back here. Back to a one-score game again. Geelong by 5 points early in the last. Coming through sharp is Tom Stewart. Grabs the footy, drives it to full forward. Quaynor standing tall takes the intercept mark. as Rowan and Cameron unsuccessfully fly for it for Geelong. Kicks hurriedly out to Lipinski. Collingwood want to keep it moving, that chaos game. Lipinski to Noble, back to Noble. Ugly soccer kick back inboard. Geelong win it back. De Koning gives it to Dangerfield. Crunched in the long tackle. Pies soccer it up over halfway. Bobby Hill wants to keep it moving. Guthrie has other ideas. Kicks down to half forward. Side bottom spoils, but straight to Rowan. Centre half forward for the Cats. Kicks to Cameron and he marks. And Jeremy Cameron's got it. 35 out. True centre half forward. And a little spike from Steele side bottom didn't quite work out there.
Gee, it was a crucial turnover at halfback. Was it Zach Guthrie?
Yeah,
who flipped it back the other way because Collingwood had the runners forward, and then once it flipped back, Geelong had options everywhere.
Right. It's interesting. There's another change of opponents for Cameron.
Jeremy Cameron from straight in front to settle it down. Cameron's drop punt misses. And the point makes it 6 the difference. 3.5 gone, final term. Geelong 10-10, Collingwood 9-10. Miss from directly in front, early stages, final term on ABC Sport.
Quickly down the southern wing go the Pies. Quaynor floating a ball towards half forward. Kolajasny drops it. Schultz gathers for Collingwood. Handball out in front of Hill. Wide out half forward. Cuts back infield. Goes with the check side into the pocket. Bouncing ball for Holmes. Gathers for the Cats. Handball to Stewart. A cool head. He'll poke it to the back pocket. Mark taken there by Bowes. They can go short to close. Cats by 6 points.
Night of their famous 14th year premiership reunion since 2010 as Mick Moldhouse was part of the celebrations pre-game. The Magpie Army trying to get involved here and sensing the occasion. Geelong trying to calm it down with the kick mark game.
We saw this clearly in the third quarter. Over 40 marks for the Cats. Just going back into it again, wanting to control the footy and take away Collingwood's ability to bring that frantic frontal pressure and create a turnover.
Cameron Ling alongside Mick Moldhouse on ABC Sport. Humphries now the exiting kick out of defence. Ollie Henry flies for it. No mark. Spills down to Josh Dacos of Collingwood. Handball to Maynard. Kicks along the boundary line and Hoskin Elliott marks. 70 out half forward for Collingwood. Geelong lead it by 6.
Taking his time, he'll set it up into the pocket, looking for a marker. Shoots in from the side. They go down like 9 pins.
Yeah,
Free kick picked out. It's going to the Pies.
Kruger got pushed out of the way. Big push in the back, but behind that, the collision between Stewart and Schultz, yeah. Both players really saw.
Yeah, Schultz just feeling his face for blood. They had a massive head collision. Banged heads.
I think both players will have to come off for the concussion protocols.
Torso to torso, but also forward to forward.
That's a really silly decision by Colin Jasny to push there. That was just clearly when you've got umpires that always follow the play from that forward line position. So they offer now for probably 20 minutes, is it? Is that what happens?
Assuming they both enter the protocols, and
this room. So they're both basically out.
Kruger on the approach, tight angle, left forward pocket, left footer, pushes it across the face. So it's back within a kick. 5 points, Geelong's advantage. 6 minutes played. Final term Friday night footy here on ABC Sport.
Collingwood haven't made their change, so that's not going to disrupt Collingwood.
Lauren Borden on the boundary, Loz.
Well, Reef McInnes was unused. He's just taken his jumper off and it looks like he'll be subbed on straight away, so they don't have to wait for that 20 minutes to get a player on.
It's not a bad tactic, Mick, if you're going to lose 15, 20 minutes anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Have you particularly when you know you're going to bring him on at some stage, and it's forward for forward.
Geelong hurriedly work it down the wing, slides out the back to Ollie Henry. His old teammate Noble's out after him. Hand pass goes back to Dempsey for Geelong. Handball to Myers. 70 out from goal for Geelong. Hand pass to Atkins. Kicks inside 50. Bowes runs into the hole and takes the mark. And Jeremy Cameron was tracking that footy as well. Just cleverly pulled away, opened up the space. And now Bowes has got it 15 out straight in front.
He's been impressive, Bowes. He hasn't got a lot of metres. So a lot of his possessions are either short or thereabouts anyway.
We're seeing a close-up of Tom Stewart on our screen. A nice little split right on the eyelid.
Looks like the eyelid, doesn't it?
Ouch.
Ooh.
Jack Bowes has got to kick this. Their second set shot from straight in front in the quarter. Bowes converts this time. Cats back out by 11. And a crucial goal just to calm things down for the Cats. 11-10-76. Collingwood 9-11-65. 7.5 gone final term. Friday night footy on ABC Sport with the coaching icon Mick Malthouse and a 3-time premiership cat, Cameron Ling.
Yeah, Mick, Jack Bowes has been a really great find in the midfield for the Cats.
Yep.
I think most people knew that he was a pretty talented player, good player. He's been building some form with the Cats. But as a midfielder this year, he's just continued to get better and better and can go inside, but also can play on one of those outside roles on a wing or maybe a half-back, half-forward type role. So he's been a great find as they try and almost transition this midfield to a new look.
Yeah, I think I've been really impressed with him. It's the first time I've had a really close look at him under this sort of pressure.
Are there any rabbits left in the hat for Craig McRae and Collingwood? De Koning taking it out of the ruck, gets a handball away. Holmes onto it on the logo. Handball forward to Blitzarves. Back to Holmes, looks into the pocket. Floats a kick deep into the pocket. Stengel a lot of it. Doesn't take the mark. Frampton there for Collingwood in their back pocket. Handball to Josh Dacos. He'll stop, prop, kick infield on the 45.
That's a great kick.
Under so much pressure, Mick.
But that's where the ruckman runs. They're very predictable, Collingwood, particularly good at where their teammates are.
Darcy Cameron, hand pass to Nick Dacos, goes back to Moore and the switch is on. Out the southern side, kicks for Noble at full stretch, can't take the mark, has time to mop it up. Long kick up to the front half. Humphreys and Richards clash in the air going for the footy. Spills down to Lipinski, hand pass dangerous. Knocked back inboard by Dempsey. Richards can't gather. Now inside the centre square. Clark does his hand pass and turnover. Quain off for Collingwood. Handball out in front of Lipinski. Drops to ground. Pack forms around him. Umpire says, I'll have it. And a ball up on the southern wing. Geelong by 11 points. Almost 10 minutes played. Final term on ABC Sport.
So even his stoppage here, Petty Dangerfield is supposed to be on the ball. He's just getting there now. It's
some tired players, Mick.
There's tired players, but also you've just got to get there, Lingy. You've got to bust your gut to get there. Collingwood had 4 there, and Geelong had 3.
Blitzarves takes it out of the ruck. Quick kick to half forward. Markov there for the Pies. Takes the defensive mark. Kicks really short to Quainor. Centre half back here for Collingwood. Cats lead it by 11. Goes to Markov again, who moves it to Josh Dacos. Wide out, members side of the ground. He'll come infield with his kick for Crisp.
This is where they cut you apart, the Pies. They're good at using the ball through the corridor. They play a lot at the MCG, so they know virtually every part of it.
Crisp kicks to centre half forward. Dangerfield back into the pack. 3 bodies hit the deck. Bobby Hill keeps his feet. Hand pass to Elliott. Shoots goalward. It slides across the face and bounces out of bounds. Throw in deep forward for the Pies. Just repeating those subs. So 3/4 time, Shannon Neal out of the game. Tactical, Ollie Henry in. And for Collingwood, after Schultz and Stewart collided in a marking contest, Schultz has been subbed out. We don't know the outcome of his concussion test, but they haven't waited the 15-20 minutes. Reef McInnes into the game for the Pies.
Darcy Cameron palms it down. Tui's there, puts it on his left boot, floats it out wide. Maynard punches it out. Right there with Myers, thrown to come right on the elbow of 50 in the boundary line.
And the other thing we don't know is we assume Stewart's entered the concussion protocols, but we also saw he seemed to have a split eyelid and was getting that patched up. So we don't know which part Stewart's in at the moment, in blood rule or concussion protocols.
Cats by 11. Throw in half forward for the Pies. Long trying to get out of handball. Chris picks it up, loses it in the tackle. Long goes again. And Blitzarves throws his boot at it, tumbles a socket to the wing. Moore takes it quickly, Rowan right there with him. And a ball up on the wing, great southern stand side of the ground, Lauren Borden.
Just on time, Stuart, he has had his eyelid patched up. Then the doctors have watched the vision of the head clash, and now they're chatting to him now and getting him to almost reenact it a little bit, so I'll keep an eye on him.
Thanks, Loz. As Cameron grabs it out of the ruck, that's Darcy Cameron. Quick kick forward, but straight to Duncan of the Cats. Sweeping Polly Farmer, hand pass to Myers. Kicks to half forward, outnumbered Ollie Henry. Ball comes to ground. Manor for the Cats, collects. 35 out, open goal square. Kicks and hits the post. Skids through on the bounce. Makes it a 2-goal game. 12 points neat. Geelong's lead 11-11 to 9-11. It is Geelong by 12 points as many minutes gone in the final term.
Josh Dacos with a kick up to the wing, reaching up. Hoskin Elliott arriving late. Kolodjasny out of play, throwing alongside the interchange gates.
You put stitches inside an eyelid?
I wouldn't want to test it.
I don't want to think about that, though.
You can.
It's only an eyelid.
At the ground, Nick?
Or is he going to have to sleep
No,
with
that's
his...
an eyebrow.
That's an eyebrow. We're talking right on the
The extra eyelid.
Yeah. I'd want to be in the plastic surgeon's office for that one.
Darcy Cameron taps it down for De Goey. Don't argue. Now he kicks to half forward looking for McInnes. Humphreys brave again. Drifting back. Defensive marks and a half back for the Cats. Geelong lead by 12 points. 12 and a half played in the final term. Friday night footy here on ABC Sport.
Loz has got a great view on it, but it certainly looked like the cut was on the eyelid as he put his eyelid up and opened his eye. You could see blood sort of trickling out the side. Shocking place to get a cut. Tom Stewart. He's out of the game for now, and Geelong lead by 12 points. 13 gone final term as Myers gets it from Humphreys, comes wide to Atkins.
The only thing I'll say about this, Lingy, when they go that slow, they set up the back line.
Short kick to Myers, short down the wing to Clark. Geelong in possession, 13 gone final term. They lead by 12 points. They're going inside 50 again at the city end of the ground. Camped underneath it, Moore in from the side. Dangerfield can't mark. Falls to Darcy Cameron, gets it away to Maynard, knocks it forward. Close collects. He's tackled. Great tackle from Crisp. Holds him up, ball up, half forward for the Cats. Lauren Borden on the boundary. Loz.
Tom Stewart's actually about to come on now, so he's chatting to the assistant coaches. It looks like he wants to go on without a head injury assessment, but you can see he's got a bloodshot left eye.
Zach Guthrie gets the footy half forward for the Cats, kicks into the pocket. Ollie Henry, the former Pie.
Well, he's fair dinkum, he's just pushed that Collingwood player right out of the play. I'm not sure. I'd like to see that again.
So deep in the right forward pocket at the end where the Pies fans are congregating, the city end of the ground. Played for the Pies, wanted to go home to Geelong and shows them what they're missing. A cool left foot snap. And Geelong lead by 18 points. An equal game high. They led by that margin after 4 minutes when they kicked the opening 3 goals of the game. 12-11-83. Plays 9-11-65. Mick Malthouse, Cameron Ling.
I love a bit of character and a bit of gamesmanship in footy, Mick, but turn and give it to the Collingwood.
Well,
didn't he?
Yeah.
Well, last year he gave them the Caddies or...
Yep. And then he got mowed down by Darcy
in the goal square.
In the goal square. He's played Collingwood twice and lost both those games since crossing over.
He also was at Collingwood when Geelong won the flag, and then he was at Geelong when Collingwood won the flag. So
what are you saying, Benny, that he's
saying that's unlucky,
he's a jinx?
It's been at the right clubs 2 years in a row, but just the wrong way round.
Stewart's back on the ground in this centre bounce.
Incredible.
I'm surprised by that.
So no official concussion test for Tom Stewart back out there. Collingwood going forward though and chasing the game. De Goey the centre break, kicks to half forward. Elliott outmarked. And College has the intercepts for Geelong at half back. 15 gone final term. The Pies got another shot in them. Geelong have the footy and they have an 18-point advantage. Back to Jack Henry at fullback, comes wide to Tui. It's been a good game all night. Left jaws on the floor in the opening stages when Geelong kicked 3 goals from their first 7 kicks of the night. Tui back to Duncan. Now in the back pocket for Bowes. Short measured kick to Blitzarves. The kick mark game, Collingwood have got to mount him up. Blitzarves goes long down the wing and skidding through. Dempsey takes the mark. Hand pass to Stengel. Inside 50, kick coming up. Top of the goal square. Rowan leaps for it. Moore punches it away. Down towards Ollie Henry and it's whacked out of bounds by Maynard. Boundary throw in forward pocket for the Cats. It's their game at the moment. 16 gone final term. Geelong by 18.
So that's certainly worked well when they've done it like that, Mick. They've gone slow, then quick.
Yeah, absolutely. If you go slow and you don't know what you're going to do with your next kick, then the opposition have got a full wall in front of you. So it is that quick play, but it was very well defended by the Pies. And they had that was coming in on Geelong's terms.
4:50 stoppage for the Cats. Tapped down by Darcy Cameron, straight to Manor. Wrapped up, ball up. Saw a stat pre-game. Under Craig McRae, Collingwood have won about 9 out of 10 games when they keep the opposition beneath 87 points. They're on 83 at the moment. Geelong, here comes Maynard. Running away from the back pocket. Shanks his kick, it tumbles out. Umpire will say spin it in. It's half-back flank for the Pies. They trail by 18 at the moment, Collingwood. Geelong in the lead 17 minutes into this fourth.
I reckon when that ball goes near the forward line, Lingy, that's when Stewart's dropping off and coming back to help out the back line. And that extra mid comes up from the forward line, so it's not so obvious.
Boundary throw in. Blitzarps knocks it forward for Geelong. They got a bit of pep in their step now. Collected by Nick Dacos. Tackled, lost it. Cats scoop it up. Manor. Hand pass away to Clark. Goes by hand off his backside as he falls over to Josh Dacos, and his handball ends up out of bounds. So when you think about it, Collingwood have kicked 5 goals after quarter time. They've got to kick 3 in a row in the last 8.5 minutes here to win it. And they probably need an extra score on top of that. It's Geelong by 18. They're the favoured way from here, the Cats. An equal game high lead, 18 gone in the final term. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Feels like time an issue for the Pies as Darcy Cameron hooks it to the back. De Goey soccers it on, follows up, gets it on the logo, coughs it up by hand. Myers there for the Cats. Handball to Close in the middle. Back feeds a handball back to Humphreys. He can stop and kick forward of the wing for Clark. Takes it on his chest. Geelong by 18. Stabs it short to half forward. Myers. Usually a good kick inside 50. Nothing he likes. Waits a kick to the pocket. Cameron on the burst. Takes it on his chest. Big Jez.
Sometimes when no one in the ground knows what you're going to do with the ball, it can be a weapon, because Myers went 3 different ways and then pulled the kick, and in the end it looked superb.
I'm not 100% sure that Cameron knew it was coming out either.
Wide out, right half forward. Mark set, 5 metres in. Cameron's 45 out. Hard up against the boundary line. He'll go with the long snap. He'll curl it just a little too much. Misses narrow. There's 3 for the night, Cameron. We've had a few more. They lead by a handy 19 points.
New game high. As wide as it's been all evening. As side bottom from the kick out goes wide out towards half back. Crisp competes in the air, spills down, and then Crisp follows up. Hand pass to Darcy Cameron, hat kick forward, turnover. The pot shot didn't work there as Jack Henry takes the intercept mark for Geelong. Short to Clark, and Clark retreats to Guthrie, and Geelong can just calm this down in their back half, as you expressed throughout, Lingy.
What about, I can see the sign on the Collingwood bench. I think they were just holding up. It's got a football on it with a big 35. What does that mean? Just give the ball to Dacos.
Give it to Nick. I don't mind that one.
How's that as a sign they were holding up?
It's not a bad ploy.
Dempsey with a high kick towards half forward. Rowan launching at it, spills down to Blitzarves, dumps it on the boot, kicks to full forward. Quaynor and Cameron out the back it goes, coming through Maynard. Quaynor gets back, picks it up on the last line for the Pies, gives it to Harrison, off to Noble.
Noble has got to go long to a one-on-one. It's Kruger and Jack Henry. Jack Henry has it skim off his knuckles and out of bounds on the wing. Lauren Borden's on the boundary. Loz.
So Shannon was subbed off for Geelong a little earlier on. He's gone down to the rooms. The club said he's just having a shower, but there has been a lot of discussions between club doctors and the officials bench with the AFL doctors as well. So it's just one to watch a little bit and see how that one plays out.
73,435 the attendance. Another exceptional roll-up. Big-time clash at the MCG. Dangerfield from the stoppage, kicks inside 50, a tangle between Quaynor and Cameron, and a free kick for Quaynor.
That's outstanding by Quaynor. Yeah. He's been locked in one-on-ones all night with Cameron. Cameron's kicked 3, yes, but not all on Quaynor. He's been exceptional.
Time running out for the Pies goes to Noble. Noble kicks down the wing and long marks. Geelong by 19 points as we tick into time on final term.
Here's the aura waning as Noble sends the Pies to half forward. No mark taken. Jack Henry at the spill. Cats back in possession. Kicks up towards half forward. More there with Ollie Henry. Ollie Henry gets it out the back. Paddles inside 50. Dispossessed, wrenched off it, maybe without it by Moore. Lipinski soccers up to the wing. There to gather though, Zach Guthrie for the Cats. He'll twist and turn and kick backwards. And Kolajasny happy to take it. And they can take a little bit of time out of this game here, Corb.
It's theirs to lose from here. The Cats 19 up, 5.5 minutes to play.
32 marks already for this quarter, now 33. So we said it was over 40 in the third quarter. Essendon did this to Collingwood last week. Super high numbers conceded by the Pies, and Geelong just chipping it around, going lateral, and then waiting for something to open up.
Spoke about the comparisons between the pair in the pre-game, of course. Collingwood living the journey that the Cats had last year, missed the 8 in their premiership defence. They were both 0-3 to start the season. They were both the oldest team in the competition in terms of age, average age across the board. With 7 games to go, Collingwood were 9th, Geelong were 8th.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the Cats missed the final, and Collingwood still have destiny in their own hands here. But if they lose tonight, and at the moment it's headed that way, They'll have to win 4 of their last 6. And the only team they play that's not in top 8 contention on the run home is Richmond. So tough games, including Brisbane, Carlton and Sydney to come on the run home for the Pies. Geelong by 19. Now the kick up the halfway from Stewart to a pack on the wing. Spills down towards Myers. Hand pass to DeConey. Handball to Dangerfield. Brushes aside Maynard. Bursts away. 60 out. Kicks deep for Dempsey. Lands short. And Lipinski marks at fullback for Collingwood. Cats by 19. Time on final turn.
Interesting enough, that ball was, well, wait for the play.
Humphreys comes in to spoil it. Half forward, for the Cats. He'll get it back from Dempsey. No, it's gone out of play. So a throw in to come. Left forward pocket here for the Cats. They led it by 19 points.
Just Dangerfield's run through there. He had another bounce at him.
And our runner had Brad Close next to him running as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Could have run it through, broken 50 and probably kicked from 40 on the run.
Yep.
From the throw-in, both rucks miss it. Spills out towards Stengel. Hacks it out of midair. Rattles it into the behind post. Out of bounds on the full. Made fair contact on the volley, Tyson Stengel. A lot of soccering tonight. There might have been a bit of Euros being consumed by the players.
When there's a big tournament on in soccer, there's a lot of soccer played at footy clubs, so I'm not surprised.
5 a.m. Monday morning, England and Spain in Berlin.
Don't forget tomorrow night, Corby. I know what I'll be watching tomorrow night. The Aussies against
Wales.
Against Wales.
Game 2, of course, of that series in the Rugby Union. Pies working up to halfway. Turnover. DeConey, hand pass away to Manor. The Cats superbly have controlled this final term. Looked like they were given a bit of a fright early in the quarter. Looked like Collingwood had their game up and going, and the Cats have steadied with that goal to Bowes and then Ollie Henry from the boundary line. And from that point on, Lingy, they've just protected this 19-point lead. And the kick mark game in the back half that they've done so well after half-time. Bowes now the contest, kick to half forward, and Dangerfield rips it out of the air and takes the mark at right half forward for the Cats.
And it's something Collingwood will have to adjust to. So up to 43 marks this quarter, Geelong. And the reason, again, just to repeat, why teams are doing it is they want to take away Collingwood's frantic pressure, which creates those great turnovers, and then Collingwood go flying back through them. When Collingwood don't have the option to do that, it takes away their their main part of their game.
And the grunt of the game. Yeah, it's just everything's in slow motion.
They've lost only once when he's played this year, Patrick Dangerfield. He's dropped punt, sails goalward, but misses near side. About to go 7-1 Geelong when Dangerfield appears. Cats by 20 points, a game high at the 25-minute mark of the final term.
Be third on the ladder as well, the Cats. Side bottom goes up the pipe. They have to chance their arm now. Nick Dacos there to give it to Markov, to DeGoey, to Richards, back towards Markov, and they've coughed it up, the Pies. Rowan dumps it on the boot, tumbles it to Stengel, and he'll pop it through. His second. And the Cats are going to down the Pies and move to third on the AFL ladder. They lead by 20 points. 12-13-85, plays 9-11-65. Sorry, 13-13-91, plays 9-11-65.
Well, Collingwood were forced to just try anything. I mean, the time's against them, the scoreboard's against them, so trying something down the middle of the ground, trying to create, and Geelong just sweated on. I think it was Gary Rowan with the terrific pressure, and then the hack kick forward. Stengel finishes it off, and the Cats get the victory, and what's going to be a huge victory, but it's also going to be a big talking point about the fact that now it's Essendon and Geelong back-to-back have played a certain way.
About 130, 140, is it?
Yeah, 140 marks, I think, last week for the Bombers. I'll check it for you, but and then Geelong have done the same tonight.
Yeah.
Might be their season in a nutshell tonight. Hot start, gave up some ground in the middle, and then came home with a wet sail. It may pan out that way for the Cats in 2024.
Now Geelong were getting virtually everyone behind the ball or at the ball.
Secondary ball up in the middle, DeConey down to Clark. He's tackled, and umpire says I'll have it.
So marks last week was 139, Essendon to 89 Collingwood. And tonight, Mick, sorry, keep calling, guys.
Stewart, hand pass out in front of DeConey. Ball hits the deck. Stewart goes and wins it a second time. Hand pass misses his intended target in Atkins. Side bottom grabs it. He's tackled, ball up again inside the centre square.
143 to 71.
Yeah, double.
So clear tactic from both teams, and it's worked really well.
Yeah, it certainly has.
Pies season in jeopardy. They'll fall further They had a touch of the top 8 from the restart. Stewart, hand pass away, went straight to Nick Dacos. He gives it to Crisp, kicks inside forward 50, and McInnes.
Should be 50.
Bursts out on the lead, takes the mark, got a shove thereafter. Umpire says no 50.
He's taken the mark, and then there's a clear big shove in the back. It's got to be 50.
Yeah, the surging game, Collingwood will get you on the surging game, but they find it difficult to stop teams marking the football between back line and to about the centre line.
The 73,000's thinned out somewhat as Reef McInnes, his first kick of the night for the sub, and Darcy Cameron marks uncontested on the behind line. There's a mix-up there as the Cats defenders look at one another. The Pies need a miracle. Darcy Cameron at least hooks one back late. Pops it through for a goal. It's Collingwood's 10th. Geelong, though, out in front. 13-13, 91. Collingwood 10-11, 71. The Cats by 20 points, 28 gone. Final turn, Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Well, they get the consolation goal there, the Pies. Darcy Cameron, I thought he was pretty good, Mick, but then he also made a really good point. Sam de Koning's also been
I think de
really
Koning's
good.
been really... And I mean, for a player that's played basically as a young key back, they've only shoved him in the ruck in the last couple of...
Last 3 weeks?
Last 3 weeks. And he's keeping a premiership player out in Stanley. I can't see Stanley getting back in the side the way he plays, because he plays not only is he can jump with the football, he gets a lot of the ball around the ground. In fact, he's probably been one of their highest possession-winning players. It'd be interesting to see what he's had for the whole match. He's up here somewhere.
Yeah, 22 touches, Mick.
That's brilliant. Really brilliant.
Kruger in the ruck, palming it down. Tom Stewart's there, though. Picks it up for the Cats. Handball towards the wing. Side bottom attacking the footy. Sockers it away. It spills out towards Atkins. Geelong back with it. Off to Tui by hand. And he spots up Myers. So he says, let's just calm it down.
Just checked with the bench how long to go.
They're in control. They lead it by 20 points, Geelong. He goes short to Jai Clark. And Chris Scott has seen enough. He's off to celebrate.
Leaves his seat at the controls. He'll be pretty happy tonight. And two-time premiership coach. Kick inside forward 50 from Clark's. Picked off by Moore. He takes the intercept mark. He goes out wide to Bobby Hill. And Geelong will make it 3 in a row. Well, Collingwood have now dropped their last 3. And for the last 2 premiers, their seasons are trending in opposite directions. Geelong by 20 points.
We are Geelong, the greatest team of all. We are Geelong, we're always on the ball. We play the game as it should be played, at home or far away. Our banners fly high from dawn to dark, down at Gardenia Park.
They were playing catch-up straight out of the gates, Collingwood. Geelong, with their first 7 kicks, had scored 3 goals. They led by 18 points after 4 minutes before Collingwood had had a single kick or a single hand pass. They worked their way back. There were 4 lead changes in the middle, but ultimately Geelong finished right over the top. They end up kicking 3 of the last 4 goals in the game to win by 20 points.
The greatest team of all. We are Geelong, we're always on the ball. We play the game as it should be played, at home or far away. Our banners fly high from dawn to dark, down at Gardenia Park.
At least for now, at the end of round to 18, Geelong look like they're headed back to a familiar place, and that would be footy in the spring, where they've so often been over the last 2 decades. While for Collingwood, their premiership defence is on the ropes. They got 6 weeks to try and pull it back. They still need to win a further 4 games. Gee, there's a whole lot to pull apart out of that. We've got 40 minutes to do it right here on ABC Sport. The initial thoughts of Mick Malthouse and Cameron Ling.
Well, Mick, it was a highly important game for the Cats to win. I mean, Corbyn's point's a really good one. Collingwood now are possibly facing not making it, but I feel they're too good for that. I reckon we witnessed tonight 2 very good teams going at it. It had finals-like qualities to it. Collingwood have got to fix up, obviously, how they handle the tactic of teams controlling the footy and their inability through opposition just taking marks to bring that pressure and that swarming surge footy that they want to play. So they've got a few things to fix up tactically.
Yeah, it's a real energetic game style.
Yes.
It's rip and keep going, blast it forward. We said about kicking the ball off the ground. It's a great tactic. I just think it's underutilised. Get that ball, take possession, or not. You don't have to take possession, but you take ground off the opposition, and then they've got to bring it back. And if you can keep surging, but if you halt it by, and it's got to be really concentrated. The thing is, what Collingwood have been able to do through last year is when sides started to try to bring the ball back around the ground, they cut them off by pushing right up on them. Going one, and they'd know that the third or fourth kick had hit the deck, and then they'd capitalise. Right now, Geelong tonight, in particular, I thought they did it better than Essendon did it well last week, but I think Geelong have done it better tonight, is that when they use the ball, I'm just looking around the ground now and seeing guys in the yellow who are circling the ground. Now, there's security. Now, if I put a ball in one of their hands, one would go from this wing position to half-back, cut across, it's all, and it's soccer stuff, because a couple of times last week, Essendon tried to kick the ball over the first player and was intercepted. Geelong just went bang, bang, bang and used them until they got the other side of the ground. Now, if they couldn't see the next one up the line, they'd come back. And Collingwood didn't go up to them. And I reckon that's where Collingwood can get better.
Can get better at that. Just a quick, I'm just noticing this on the screens, Corbs. So Bobby Hill ended up with the footy, the last one, and he went to kick the ball, and the siren went. He halted his kick and kind of half slipped, and Pseudo did the splits. Ooh. He straight away grabbed for his hammy. Kick. And I mean, he's out there with the group, he's walking, he's not receiving medical attention. Just something maybe to keep an eye on coming out of the Collingwood rooms, whether or not Bobby Hill felt something right at the end of the game, because as we've said so often throughout the game, throughout the night, that's been the hardest thing for Collingwood. They get a couple of players back, Jamie Elliott, those types of players, but they're losing a couple at the same time. So they would hate for anything to have happened to Bobby Hill. They're right. It wasn't even the last kick of the game. He didn't even kick it because the siren had gone.
He's just having a little cuddle with Jamie Elliott. Big smiles on their faces. They walk off the ground at least. So the Collingwood Magpies disappear down the race. And we will get Lauren Borden to check in on that. So Geelong by 20 points full-time over Collingwood. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Mick, I know you got to bounce very soon, but can you just give us a bit on Collingwood about their run home from here? So they play Hawthorn next week.
No guarantee.
They were the only team they didn't beat in their premiership year last year. The Hawks beat them late in the season.
And think about the game in Adelaide. They got That's over the line by a kick.
That was back in round 4 and gathered around by 5 points. Richmond, that's really the only soft touch on the way home that they should win. Then they play Carlton.
Yeah.
Sydney.
Carlton, by the way, should be Scott Pendlebury's 400th.
Yes.
That'd be a big night.
Sydney at the SCG.
Yeah.
Brisbane here at the MCG, where the Lions don't have a great record. But again, these are you're playing teams that are in form, and Collingwood aren't. And then Melbourne in round 24, where if they want to play finals, they probably need to beat this version of the
well, Melbourne might also be wanting to win the last game to get in the finals too. That's third. They've
got to win 4 of them, by the way. They've got to win 4 of their last 6.
Yeah, we said 13 would do it.
Yep.
Are they good for another 4 wins? Well, we think Richmond, probably Melbourne. I reckon the others are right in the balance. And the thing is, if they can beat one of those sides, they deserve to be in the 8, and then their credibility will be, look out, because here we come. McStay will play next week. That's pretty obvious. How he will go psychologically, coming back off a knee, I always reckon it's 24 months, one physical, the other one mentally, but it'd be interesting to see how he goes. By all accounts, he's worked his backside off, so he'll add. I think Elliott will be better for the game.
Mick, they only had 41 inside 50s.
Yeah, I know. That's a danger when you've got Dacos getting 30 plus possessions.
Had 44 last week.
Yeah, De Goey, and De Goey 24. Josh Dacos 23. Josh Dacos has gone off the boil a little bit. Scotty Pendlebury didn't have a lot of the football. Did early, but not later. So they are in a little bit of a bother in regard to getting a lot of the football. Just got to remember, last year, to me, the only side that they technically should have beaten in the finals was Brisbane. Melbourne had 64 to 40 odd inside 50s. Just absolutely botched so many of them. Next week was GWS. I mean, Toby Green got his head screwed off. I think he had an operation to put his head back on. And that was only 25, 30 metres out. then I reckon they would have been very stiff to being beaten by Brisbane, even though they got close, because I thought they dominated Brisbane. But so there's a lot of things that says that Collingwood aren't a dominant side, and they need to absolutely stick to a game structure that says we're going to bully it forward, going to get it forward, and we're going to put massive pressure on, and we're going to make the most of every time it goes in front 50. Lingy, you said about 40-odd. This time last year when they were playing really great football, they got the football in there and held it in there. So therefore the numbers might be distorted in regard to we get it in there, but they scored last year. This year it seems to be just sneaking out a little bit. There's not as much fanatical pressure.
The Cats are about to head off the ground, so they were just waiting for the last of their TV commitments, and the Geelong fans that are here and have made the trip up the highway, and they'll leave pretty happy. They've all rushed around the narrow race closest to us, which the Cats are using, and they disappear down it now. The Cats by 20.
Lawson Humphries was doing that interview. He had 23 touches, 13 marks. I know he's involved in keeping that possession down the back there, but for a third-game player, he looked composed and high quality with his skills. Amazing that he was found from the Waffle reserves.
Yeah. As Ben said, obviously Fremantle and Essendon still to play this weekend, but provisionally the Cats up to third on the premiership table. Let's head into the winners' rooms with Lauren Borden. Loz.
They have just started making their way in. Paddy Dangerfields are leading the group in. They're kind of just filing in in a pretty simple manner, not too much hooping or anything like that. Shannon Neal's about to join them, so he was subbed off. He's in his tracksuit, in his Geelong jumper, his hoodie, so he's joining the team in the circle as they make their way in. I think Sean Manor might have a GoPro on him that he's taking into the circle. That is what he's doing. He's got a nice close-up shot of Jeremy Cameron there. But they'll all join in now, get the final members of the team in to sing the song. Pretty business-like singing of the song there after a few wins in a row. They're starting to join in together. So a nice little GoPro footage that Sean Manor will have from that one as well.
You mentioned Shannon Neal, I think, in that last quarter, Loz. So he's in his civvies for that theme song.
He's in his shorts, his team shorts, and his team hoodie and a hat, and he's got his runners on. So he went and had a shower in the last quarter. We just need to check in with Geelong about that and about that injury as well, if there was anything more than just the knock to the neck.
That's his personal range that he's designed with the club too.
Okay.
The Scratch Project, it's called. He's got a real interest in that, so he's designed a whole range, and he's just repping it in the theme song.
I noticed the players wearing it out in the warm-up and was thinking, gee, that doesn't look like official club merchandise, but there you go.
No, that's Scratch.
That's right. There you go. Is that his nickname
Yeah,
as well?
Remember the Scratch and Neal was the redhead Cats player in the 80s, 70s and 80s?
Yep. Yeah,
they now call him Scratcher.
There you go.
You know, sometimes they're not real.
Did anyone try to attach the Scratcher moniker to you?
Or Bluey? No. I was always Lingy. Or Bluey McGrath was there at the same time, so I wasn't going to get that. But no, Lingy, it's pretty simple.
Yeah. I can see what they've done there. Yeah. Cameron Ling with us on ABC Sport. Mick Moldhouse is off to the Collingwood Premiership function. They won't be too happy. I did think it was an unusual choice. One, that it was the 14th year. So they missed out during COVID on their 10-year anniversary of the 2010 Premiership side. But then if you were to pick any game at any time, you'd think, well, the other options are, we've waited 14 years, we can wait one more year and make it a 15th year anniversary. It would make a little bit more sense. And maybe we could pick a game where we didn't play a team that beat a side in the same era in a grand final, and yet they chose to pick the Cats, who, of course, beat them in their premiership defence. They were the only side to beat Collingwood in 2011, and, of course, your Cats, Lingy, did it on 3 different occasions. They choose that game tonight, the home game, and unfortunately for Collingwood's premiership team of 2010, they'll be a little disappointed.
They will be a little disappointed. People like Nick Maxwell, who we spoke to before the game, Alan too, the sensible ones, they'll take the game to heart. I reckon there's a group of those guys right now. The game result wasn't going to worry them too much. I think they'll be having a good time regardless.
Yeah, it won't ruin their experience too much. I would have thought. 20-point victory. Your thoughts on the SMS 0437 774 774. Corbin Middlemass alongside Cameron Ling and Ben Cameron on ABC Sport. Lauren Borden is in the winners' rooms. The story of the night, it was a dramatic start. Geelong kicked the first 3 goals from their opening 7 kicks. The only possession Collingwood had at that stage was a soccer off the ground from Nick Dacos, so they didn't actually have the ball in hand at all, and they were already 18 points behind. They fought back to lead by as many as 7. Early in late in quarter number one. There were 4 lead changes in the middle, and ultimately Geelong were too good down the stretch. They finished all over the top. And in the end, what did they kick here? 5 of the last 7 goals in the game to put it out to as wide as 26 points at one stage. It finishes 20 points after Darcy Cameron kicked the last goal of the match. So Geelong by 20 points over Collingwood. Ben alluded to a couple of times Scott Pendlebury's comments at the start of the night. Just to pick up on that, here's a little of what Scott Pendlebury told us pre-game about some of the troubles that the Pies have been having in recent weeks.
I think our team defence has been something that we were trying to claw back, even not just the 2 games that we've given up recently, also probably ever since sort of the Bulldogs game. So we've been working on it. There's just aspects that we're getting wrong, and like good sides do, they're challenging us in that aspect. So we feel like we've learnt the right lessons from Essendon, and hopefully we don't let Geelong control the ball as much as we did Essendon last week.
Cameron Ling, you spoke about it during the match. I mean, that's what we saw from Geelong over the course of the evening. 145 marks.
Yep. It's something they need to address, because clearly they had a desire to stop Geelong controlling the ball like Essendon did. So Essendon last week, 139 marks to 89. It's how you do that. And the fact that so many times when Geelong had taken a mark at half-back wide, they were able to look across, and there was a clear intent to just control it, to take away the chaotic play of Collingwood. And they had options to go to, either the slightly backwards lateral kick, or if that one was covered, there was one slightly forwards on the 45-degree angle that they were able to pick off, and that then drew somebody to stand them up. And so their mechanism about how to take that away is something that Craig McRae and the team have got to work on, because you can have all the intent in the world and say, hey, we've got to stop them marking the ball, but you've also got to have strategy and tactics as to how that's going to happen.
You need a scheme to do it, don't you?
You do, and you've got to give up something. So it means if you are going to have an extra player stopping the lateral or the 45-degree kick into the corridor there, it means you're probably a bit skinnier on numbers for the long kick down the line. I think the fact that Essendon and Geelong have shown that controlling the footy like that is something that works against them, that maybe they do have to give up something. But Geelong's professionalism in that second half was just absolutely outstanding. It was a close game. It was a hard-fought game. It could have gone either way. We looked at half-time. And then Geelong just slowly, minute by minute in that second half, took total control of the game.
So what could Craig McRae and the match committee at Collingwood do?
Okay, well, I think you've got to be prepared to accept that, okay, maybe we don't get the +1 down the line for the longer kick, and we trust our defenders, Darcy Moore, Billy Frampton, whoever it is, one-on-one, and we swing a number more towards corridor, lateral, and say, you are not going to just kick mark the ball 45 times.
Yeah.
We are going to take that away from you, and if you kick long down the line, occasionally we might get outmarked. It might not be perfect, but more often than not, we're going to bring it to ground. And then the ball is back.
ourselves in to bring it to ground.
Yeah, and the ball is back in the situation they want, which is ground ball, frantic. Even if the opposition pick it up, they can bring some heat, pressure, create a turnover, and bang, the game's back into a more ballistic style rather than being controlled like Essendon and now Geelong have done.
Off the SMS, Rick says uncontested marks Geelong to Collingwood 139 to 68. So there's some more numbers around that. The uncontested marks. Tim from Wodonga. Did the Scott brothers put their heads together to work out Collingwood?
Wow, good point.
Yeah.
Great point. We've been saying Essendon and Geelong and hadn't actually twigged on that.
They would have to share notes, surely.
And I've talked to Chris about this, where they have a really conscious thing of not talking too much footy when they're together, because they don't want to accidentally drop something in their own team. But I know they still talk about football occasionally. When something works for one team, they can perhaps use it when they're playing the same opposition. So, yes, great point by the listener there. Sorry, I forgot his name.
That was from Tim from Wodonga. Thanks, Tim, for that. Geelong by 20 points. They're up to third on the AFL table. Let's get into the winners' rooms with Lauren Borden. Loz.
I'm down here with Mark Blitzarves. Thanks for joining us post-game. What a hot start that you got out to. 3 goals in about 3 minutes. Did you feel on from that point in the night?
I was on the wing, so I wasn't doing anything really. It was centre bounce and then straight into forward 50. No, it was nice. Good start. Great from the guys around the ball. But yeah, we knew Collingwood were going to wrestle it back, and hard-fought game. We tried to have a sort of the battle of the corridor, and to get the win like we did that was fantastic.
What do you think at three-quarter time when you are playing Collingwood but you're up by 11 points? How do you manage that when you've probably spoken about it midweek that they will come back at some stage?
Yeah, of course. No, we're really confident. We've got to play our brand of footy and just get the game on our terms. So, we knew if we matched them in the contest around the ball, we'd get good looks going forward, and we did. We probably could have made a bit more of the opportunities we did inside 50 in the last quarter, but it's really handy. We're loving our forward line, and late you see kick it to grass for Tice. He's just so good inside 50 on his own one-on-one. So, great win.
And we've asked you about the red wine before in the celebrations. It's changed a little bit now. It seems to be, it might be a game of chess. You might be ripping out the chessboard. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on there and why everyone's getting around chess?
I'm too mentally fried to play chess right now. I'll have a ball of red instead. But it's just something we've decided we really enjoy it. A couple of the guys are pretty good at it, and the majority aren't. But it's just a good little social thing, and just something different around the club. Whether we have a coffee and do that, or between gym sessions, it's nice.
Are you the chief organiser as well? What goes into making sure everyone's playing the right opponent and progressing through the tournaments?
I've just organised the chessboards. Mum made them, so we just randomise the teams and randomise who's playing who, and go from there. We try and Zach Tui's the best, so we try and make sure he gets the hardest run, but he's too good.
That's incredible. I'm sure there's some more questions to come from upstairs from Cameron Ling, Ben Cameron and Corbin Middlemass.
Blitz, congratulations on the win. A fantastic performance. We've been talking a lot about the similarities between last week's game, Essendon Collingwood versus tonight's game, and the control of the ball by you guys and the marks. I think you end up with 145 marks to 75. Was that a real focus, and seeing the way Essendon were able to take that control of the game last week again off the Pies?
It did help, yeah. I suppose we just wanted to try and control the ball as much as we can and set up our attack. We weren't holding the ball off them for the sake of it. When we thought we could go forward, we did, and give it to the runners. I'm just looking at Maxi Holmes now. He's had a great game and getting some handball receives when we can do that. But I suppose to control the ball allows us to set up the ground well. And but the other thing was Collingwood defended well and probably gave us that deep D50 one. So there was a few marks that they were probably happy to give up, and we took a few of them. But maybe in the end we had a bit more energy to attack, which was nice.
And Blitz, can you talk us through around the midfield and the midfield battle? So, and this is not to embarrass you here, but Darcy Cameron has 58 hit-outs. Between you and Sam, you end up with 19. As I said, it's not about that. But you win the clearances by 7. How does that come about? How can you lose hit-outs so dramatically, but win clearances and be so important for the result of the game?
I think our mids, we've got a good system going. The mids around the ball don't expect Sam and I to get some really nice hit-outs to advantage. We just want to try and fight and scrap and bring the ball to a predictable area and let those guys do it. And I think we've got a good system that if we do lose a hit-out badly, we still have good cover around the ball. So, it's fantastic. Saw Stewie late in the game come forward, get some nice clearances, and if we can sort of match it around from the hit out down and the follow up, that's sort of mine and Sam's strength. We're happy with that. So I thought the mids were great tonight.
Part of that control down half back, which we loved watching from up here, was third gamer Lawson Humphreys. He ends up with 23 touches, 13 marks, looked really composed and controlled. It felt at times too that the team was happy for him to be the spare and the loose and take on that responsibility. It must be nice for him to be able to come in and have such an impact straight away.
Yeah, it's amazing. He's a really composed character. As a 20, I think he's 22. Nothing phases him. He takes his footy, even though it's his third game. He's just really composed and comfortable out there, and he's great below his knees. And it was a bit slippery out there tonight, so we sort of wanted that, I suppose, smaller defender to be spare. And he's coming forward. He's great, composed with the ball and his foot. He's a nice user, so it was really good for him.
Mark, it's Corbin Middlemass here. Congratulations on the win tonight. Mark Blitzarp's with us in the Geelong rooms. If you look at just your wins and losses on as in cold, hard numbers the way they present at the moment, you would think, gee, lights out at the start, won their first 7 games. What on earth happened in the middle? They had a 7-game stretch where they only won 1, and now they've won 3 in a row and all of a sudden up to 3rd on the table. How would you best explain as to what on earth went on either side of the bye in the middle there?
I'm not sure. We played some good teams. It's a close season. We're sort of working on our structure, and we try and improve each week, and we try and get better each week. So, we had some good games early, and then had a bit of a form slump, maybe lacked a bit of confidence. But this group, we're still continuing to work hard and stay constant. We don't think we're on top of the world, and we don't think we're going too badly as a team. We just want to stay consistent, and that's our approach with every week of training, and then hopefully we can continue to ride this momentum.
And just one on what Collingwood's experiencing at the moment. So you obviously lived that journey last year as the hunted every single week, and that the numbers are so comparable, where you started 0-3, they started 0-3. You both got the oldest list in the competition in your premiership defence. You were in similar spots on the table at this stage. I think you guys were 8th, they were 9th, and ultimately we know you didn't end up playing finals. What is it that's so challenging about a premiership defence that I guess Collingwood's experiencing this year?
Well, I suppose I've only done it once last season, but you want to have a healthy list. That's probably for one. So I think I've had a few injuries. It doesn't help. I don't really know, to be honest. I don't know, mate. I'm not sure.
Mark, we'll see you. That is hard to comment on.
I'll give you an easier one, Mark. What's the red that you've brought up as we let you go?
I've got a Hentley farm. It's called the Beauty. Nice little Barossa.
Hopefully it's exactly that. Mark, congratulations on the win. We'll see you next Saturday night back at the Cattery.
Cheers, guys. Thanks very much.
Mark Blitzarp's in the winners' rooms, the Cats by 20 points. And we'll get an update from Loz too, if we can, on Shannon Neal to see how he's progressing, and also over in the Collingwood rooms, and particularly the watch on Bobby Hill, as Lingy told us, right on the bell. So the Pies drop a 3rd straight game. Geelong win 3 in a row. The Cats up to 3rd on the table with a 20-point win over Collingwood.
If you need some catching up, it's been a fascination of mine since we learnt last year in a post-game interview with Mark Blitzarps that they actually decant a little bottle of red after a game, the Cats, and a few of the senior players, so old is the Geelong team that they enjoy red rather than a post-game beer or something of the like. But they sit around and
take the cork out at half-time, depending on how the game's going.
Correct. and Chris Scott comes in and apparently will have one with the team. I was stunned. How does that happen? What's the culture around it at the Cats for that to happen, Lingy?
I think it's always been a maturity of the group, and that doesn't necessarily mean age maturity. It just means an approach. It's an idea that these people are adults. They are absolutely elite athletes, so they treat their bodies incredibly well all week and during the week, but they're adults. It's okay to sit and have a glass of wine and have a conversation and have a chat and realise that they do all this work to hopefully win a game of footy, and they're wrapped and over the moon. But if it doesn't quite work and they drop the game, well, they can still sit and enjoy each other's company a little bit. Probably be a bit more dejected and things to work on. But I think the fact that they've kept repeating it, even when Corbs, you said they'd lost 5 out of 6 or 6 out of 7, whatever it was, that we're not going to, we don't overreact when we win, so why should we overreact when we're losing? It's about calmly working through this. And that comes, and I'm not saying it's you start drinking, but it comes down with that mindset of, well, it's okay. What is one glass of red going to make or break a player or a team? But just as, I will add, just as importantly, those who don't want to, don't. There's no people. Hey, you've got to come in here and we're all going to get on it. It's just some players like that wind down of, let's just sit around and have a chat. And, yep, we enjoy talking about our wines. And that, for me, it was, especially interstate. I couldn't go to, if you play a night game, you're interstate, I couldn't go to bed sleep straight away. So I would go and grab half a dozen like-minded players, and we'd grab a room, and usually with the docs or the physios or whatever, and I'd have 2 beers, and we'd watch the Tour de France, or we'd watch some cricket or some Wimbledon or whatever it might be, just to chill out for an hour and a half, and then eventually go to sleep and be much more sort of relaxed. And ready to get some quality shut-eye.
Yeah, a bit different than the corner of a nightclub or something, isn't it?
Yeah, those days changed. Early on in my career, the first thing you packed on an interstate trip was your jeans and your nice shoes. But we got a little bit more mature as the years went on.
We got about 13 minutes to go. We'll get an update from the Collingwood rooms and more from Lauren Borden in just a moment. What I was getting at with Mark Bledsoe is probably a clumsy way to try and ask it. I was referring more to, I guess, his experience in a premiership defence rather than what the Pies are going through. But the similarities are obvious, aren't they, in terms of the team that's getting hunted by the rest of the competition. You spoke about it in the pre-game, Lingy, banged up as well, not being able to get their best team out there, and that the Pies are living that hard at the moment.
Yeah, and probably, and I don't mean to be disrespectful to these guys, but maybe 5 players from tonight, they ultimately would prefer that they're not in their best 23 yet. Yep. They're getting valuable experience and will stand them in good stead for the future. But if you take those 5 out and you add back in 5 really fit, high-quality players who might have played in last year's premiership or thereabouts, it's got a different look about it. Being banged up but being forced to play, forced probably isn't the right word, but almost needing to play, means you're chasing and you're more at risk. And that risk might not happen with a soft tissue injury in that very game, but it might be 3 weeks later. Just something goes. So really, really hard. It shows how those teams that do win back-to-back are very good. We couldn't do it. Yeah. Even the team I played in, which was incredible in our title defence of 07 to 08, but then ultimately we probably were just coming off our best, and Hawthorn were rising, and they get us. And just as much Hawthorn, I think, missed the finals the following year after that. Collingwood weren't able to do it against us, and so many times. And you've obviously got those top Hawthorn teams and then Richmond being able to do it. And Richmond did it in a different way. That's not a shot at them, but the COVID year was a different year, a shorter year, shorter games. It is so hard. Melbourne couldn't do it. They went out straight sets 2 years in a row after they won it. So it's tough.
I reckon the other thing that gets forgotten in Geelong's premiership year too, probably because of how they ended up winning their prelim and the grand final, that it felt like there was this huge gap and they were this dominant team. The regular season was excellent that year. That it was so tight in the competition for spots. You remember the Jamie Elliott goal late, which ultimately kept Carlton out of the finals, and the final that these two teams played in the quali was a humdinger.
That was the game, wasn't it?
And so the season was incredibly tight, and in the end we got a couple of blowouts towards the back end, and Geelong were rightfully the best team. But really this is 3 years in a row where we've sat here and we've said every single week, how good's footy? You don't know who's going to make the 8. It's there every single week, and I guess the fact that we haven't had a dominant team year on year probably speaks to that as well.
Yeah, and speaks to now the depth and quality of the competition, which I think needed to catch up to itself. When we had the Suns and the Giants come in, it was spread a little thin, and those at the top could stay at the top a little bit longer, and those at the bottom couldn't top up with real top end talent because some of it was going to the Giants and the Suns. But now that's all filtered through, and we've got this super strong depth again. Even North are now dangerous in games. West Coast and probably Richmond a little bit. Maybe that's because of health with Richmond. Some injuries. Pseudo easy beats. I shouldn't say that, but pseudo. Whereas the rest, like Freo a month ago, were cooked. Justin Longmuir was having a crack at the team, and quite rightly so. They deserved it. And now they're going to finish this round in 3rd spot on the ladder. It is so tight. It is such a quality competition right now.
Geelong by 20 points, full-time over Collingwood, Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Corbin Middlemass alongside Cameron Ling and Ben Cameron. Mick Moldhouse was with us earlier in the night. He's off to enjoy the 2010 Premiership celebrations. Lauren Borden is down in the rooms. We'll get some reaction from the Collingwood group in just a moment.
I've just followed up with the Pies around Lockie Schultz. There are reports that he was concussed, so we'll wait to hear from the Pies. I think John Ralph has tweeted that he does have concussion. I've also followed up about Bobby Hill. Yep. So you mentioned he maybe just hurt his groin at the very end, so we'll endeavour to update you on that.
Grabbed at his hammy more so.
Oh, hammy,
it was it was a strange one. He went to kick, and then the siren went, so he went to pull out of the kick and just slipped a little bit and just grabbed at his hammy. And, when you see a player do that, you fear the worst immediately. But he then walked off fine and seemed fine, so hopefully nothing more to worry about.
Let's go to the Collingwood rooms. Lauren Borden's down there for us. What do you got, Loz?
Thanks, Corb. Yes, I'm just down in the Collingwood rooms. The players are off having their showers and some have left already, but some family and friends are around here. It is a concussion for Lachie Schultz, so he didn't pass his concussion test after knocking heads with Tom Stewart. Obviously, we saw Tom Stewart didn't go in the rooms to have a HIA or anything like that, but that means that Schultz will miss against Hawthorn for the Pies. No update yet on Bobby Hill. He was walking around the rooms okay. I just saw him in his tracksuit, but apparently he did have ice on his leg just before when we were in the Geelong room. And then Shannon Neal is a throat concern, so no further update on him either after he was subbed off at three-quarter time, with Geelong just saying it's a throat concern for the moment.
Thanks, Loz. Appreciate that. So there's the latest from the Collingwood rooms and a little update on Shannon Neal as well.
Just another one that they've been replaying on the host broadcast. It was, I think I was calling at the time when Tom Stewart ran through and sort of just clipped Nathan Kruger. Now, he did have a chat to the doctor at the ensuing break and did end up playing on, but I'm not sure if you've seen a replay, Lingy. Is there any concern for Tom Stewart there?
I think the fact that he gets him high, it'll be looked at. He doesn't go past the ball because, in fact, the ball is in front of both of them. Kruger's slipping, so that's why he ends up, I think, with the head contact. But any time there's head contact, the MRO takes a really close look at it. I don't think so, Benny, with that one. But, I mean... I think
I mentioned Isaac Heaney.
I made my points very clear in the pre-match that I didn't think Heaney should have been suspended. So I don't know is the answer to that one, but I feel not.
Pies premiership defence is on the ropes. They drop a third straight game. Geelong have made it 3 straight wins. Off the SMS, Brett from Sandhurst, who I imagine was in the stands tonight, and there'll be a number of people on their way home, perhaps haven't been with us the whole night, Lingy, but talk in the stands at the G that fans are absolutely fed up with the umpiring, especially the holding the ball. Fix it, or crowd and membership numbers will decline. There was 73,435 here tonight. We've seen this huge evolution really in football worldwide. We spoke about American football. The numbers are up in the EPL, and maybe post-COVID, this tribalism and getting together, Ben, I think you described it as earlier in the year, and perhaps that's part of it. We've certainly seen big numbers here in Australia as well with our game. It was an obvious talking point, wasn't it, particularly at half-time? And the one that we're referring to in particular is when a player is tackled and has one arm being held. They have the other arm free. We saw Nick Dacos tonight on his knees. And basically what the umpires are asking our players to do is to drop the ball immediately in that scenario.
Yep. And that's the one for me that really got me grumpy. Because... So if a player is standing up in that situation and he has one arm free holding the ball and one arm pinned, yes, absolutely agree. If he can, he has to drop it onto his boot and swing his boot and try and kick it. So that is an option open to him. I can live with that a little bit, but I cannot live with the Nick Dacos one at all because he can't kick it because he's on his knees. It's actually impossible. He can't handball it because he has one arm pinned. He has had 0 prior opportunity. Therefore, it is either blow the whistle straight away and let's just call it a ball up because we know he's got no other option, or we're saying to him, hey, mate, just drop the ball.
Yeah.
Just drop the ball and do something that you have never been taught to do. It is not instinctive to do. We don't want juniors doing it. It's just drop it and let it go. I don't want that. I don't think anyone wants that. And there's been a bit of this call to, oh, no, let's not have umpire bashing or anything like that. From the second-tier competition right down, I couldn't agree more. But this is the elite competition in in the entire world. It's Australian rules football, the best of the best.
It's a billion-dollar industry.
They're highly, highly paid, billion-dollar industry, careers on the line, hopes and dreams on the line. We've got to get the umpiring right, or better than what we're seeing right now.
Can I just say, the issue, though, Lingy, so you're absolutely right. If one arm's pinned and you got the ball in the other arm, and they're saying, look, make an attempt to kick. The problem I see with that is that's when you end up with circumstances like what we saw with Alia and Jack Higgins earlier on in the year, where a player is trying to kick, they're getting wrenched by the tackling player, they're on one leg like a flamingo, and they get tackled to ground and they hit their head. So I'm not sure we really want them doing that either.
And the umpires will say in the way that they're being told to interpret the rules that all of those decisions were correct.
No, they won't say that. I don't think they can explain away the Dacos one.
I think they will. I think they'll basically say he should have dropped the ball there.
And if they can explain it away to be correct with the way they're being told, then what they're being told is wrong.
I agree. That's, I think, more the point, that we need to actually have a proper conversation about holding the ball. I went to a seminar at the AFL recently where all the umpires were there and everything else, and this was really the contentious point that they tried to stress as much as they could, that basically without prior opportunity, incorrect disposal doesn't come into it. So if you don't have prior opportunity, you can just make an attempt to get rid of the ball however possible.
Yep,
so
and it can go anywhere.
If Nick Dacos is on his knees, he can pretend to throw his leg at it and drop the ball. As long as the ball comes out, the umpire's saying, hey, if you haven't had prior, it'll be play on. What they're saying when you have one-arm tackle is your prior opportunity is now, it's gone. You lose your prior opportunity if you have an arm pinned, which, again, where do you leave a player who's on his knees in that moment? But
yep.
The Pies are saying cramp for Bobby Hill.
Okay,
and concussion for Lockie Schultz.
Thanks, Ben. That's the latest out of the Pies rooms. We got about 2.5 minutes before we get out of here, but just a little shout out tomorrow, of course, all our coverage across the network. So for those of you in Victoria, the coverage will start from 12 noon tomorrow, and of course in South Australia with AFL Saturday with myself, Mick Moldhouse and Luke Ball. We'll have all the wash up from tonight, what it means for Collingwood and for Geelong. 11 a.m. coverage starts in South Australia with SA Grandstand. You will get AFL Saturday following that, and of course in WA it'll be your Saturday morning staple with Sports Talk. Jeremy McGovern, who's made the long trip this week across the Nullarbor, is going to join the guys tomorrow, so you'll be able to hear that from 10 a.m. in WA tomorrow. All of that available, of course, through the ABC Listen app. Just look out for the AFL button, and you can